Welcome, welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of Whick TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Today, we are going to be talking about edgy jokes, dehumanization, and whether or not influencers, public figures, etc., on our side, the anti-Trump side, have a responsibility to behave well in public settings. As most of you are aware, after the Texas floods, Destiny put out a tweet saying the following: I heard God killed those kids because they were using NordVPN promo code Destiny to get around the Texas porn ban. This is not the first time Destiny is engaged in such dark humor. Asmongold recently made a comment that he thinks such statements and jokes are counterproductive and work against his goals. So we're going to talk about it today. Is this humor a good way to expose Republican hypocrisy and raise awareness of issues? Or is it undermining the work of opposing Trump? How dark woke, quote unquote, should we go? Does when they go low, we go lower help us or hurt us? And we've got quite the cast to talk about it, including the man himself. We're just going to go around, quick opening thoughts, and then we'll get into the meat of it. We're going to start with counterpoints. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it's not about dark, edgy jokes in particular. Obviously, we all like a good fucked up joke every now and then. That's not the problem. The problem is what is gained and what is lost. Also, the hybridization of alt media and mainstream media. That's the real question here. Just as an example, I did get it confirmed that roughly billions of dollars were spent on advertising in the 2024 election, and roughly $100 million got spent on newspaper ads by the Democratic Party in 2024. Democrats are scared of alternative media. The reason why they're scared of alternative media is because we have people like Vosh jerking off to kitty horse porn. We have people like Hassan, hanging out with terrorists, and we got Destiny talking about dead kids in Texas and how they deserve to die because they were jerking off to, porn with using a VPN. So this is the kind of shit that is going to push normies away. It's going to push the mainstream away. It's going to push those dollars away. And so as a result, it's not whether or not you can make fucked up jokes. I don't give a shit about that. What I give a shit about is we got real work to do.
Okay, Destiny, answer for your crimes.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much of a downside unless you let there be a downside. I think that conservatives are allowed to have humor. I thought comedy was legal again. And I think that the big issue with Democrats being scared of alternative media is that they're scared of like any environment that they don't have like optimal control over. And I think they dramatically overestimate how much the public gives a fuck about edgy jokes. I think it has less to do with edgy jokes and more to do with who has the power in the situation. And so if you have the power, it's unironically like what conservatives used to say, find out who you can't make fun of, and then you'll find out who controls you. And for a lot of things, yeah, conservatives can just make the most insane jokes ever and be fine. And Democrats have to be like tiptoeing around every single topic. I think it's funny to make jokes, and we should keep making jokes. Fuck them.
Okay, we're going to talk about it, I'm sure. Not so erudite. Kyla, please.
Yeah, so I wanted to have this conversation because I care about real political outcomes. I think if we claim to be evidence based, left leaning commentators who want to fight misinfo and push for positive change, we need to be honest about what works. So it's fine for advocacy to reflect our personalities. But if we just do something because it feels good, it's probably important that we don't confuse that with what's effective. And what I would argue for is we don't have to be maximally effective at all times, right? I would never advocate for that necessarily. But the evidence typically shows, whether it's psychological theory or basic behavioral science, that shame and being super nasty typically is a bad motivator for change, particularly for people who view you as the outgroup. And so, in my mind, if the goal is to move people and actually shifts hearts and minds, we need to make sure that we're being mindful of like how we're coming across, right? If we want to claim moral superiority, well, then we can't be doing things that make us look morally more questionable. If we think that scorching or going scorched earth and dunking leads to progress, we should probably stop kidding ourselves. It probably doesn't. And I think one of the things that I think is Stephen's strength specifically is his ability to kind of be that token liberal in conservative spaces. I think he's been effective at being like that one liberal where they go, this guy's pretty reasonable, which essentially introduces a fundamental binary paradigm shift for a lot of people listening. And I think that that's really important to do. And my suspicion is that this type of joke, while I don't really care about edgy jokes in and of themselves, my suspicion is that essentially this joke was more offensive than it was funny, and you lost a whole bunch of social capital with people that I think you could be more effective if you maintain that social capital with. I have a feeling that my criticisms of Soy Pill and Steven will be somewhat different. So right now I'm angling them more at Steven, but I'm sure as we talk, there'll be stuff that is more directed at Soy Pill. So yeah.
Oh, we'll get to Soy Pill in a second. Soy Pill, speaking of the devil, go ahead.
Yeah,
Answer for your
so
crimes.
I thought Destiny's joke's pretty funny, but somehow the right wing was able to capitalize this and shift the conversation from horrible policy by Ted Cruz and the right wing got a bunch of people killed to, oh, some guy was mean. So we're letting the right wing drive this outrage machine. They don't fucking care. Marjorie Taylor Greene can call us all pedophiles. She doesn't get repercussions. The only reason we're allowed to do it now is because they're blocking the Epstein file release. But vibes do matter, and look at the vibe conversation. Like, Kamala didn't lose because she was too mean. She lost because she didn't go on these podcasts where she could be more authentic. Joe Rogan, Theo Von, Nelk Boys, and they tell Holocaust jokes, rape jokes, like all sorts of wild shit. Like, it's this idea that, oh, well, you're not authentic enough, but also you have to be prim and proper and perfect, because if you don't, like, you're not cool. I'm not arguing for there to be no policing. We can call it illegal things like calls to violence, sex crimes, but why waste our time complaining about optics to some arbitrary amount of voters who care about optics over policy? I'm willing to change my mind. I don't know, Kyla, you might have this. If you can show me some data that says, oh, voters left the Democrats because of crass humor and meanness, but I've heard far more people say they leave the left because they're policing too much and telling white men to sit down and be quiet. So I say, let the white boys have their summer. Stop wasting energy clutching your pearls at fucking nothing. Save it for educating people on policy that actually matters. We tried to go high. When they go low, we lost 2 elections doing it. They're going to find outrage regardless. It's a waste of time.
Okay, and with that, let's open the floor. Go ahead, gang.
Yeah, so
Sure.
actually let's go ahead and you tell me, number one, which part is funny. I'll tell you which part is funny to me. And then also tell me where we're talking about Ted Cruz's policy, because that's part of your rebuttal, is that there's this 3,000 IQ appeal to hypocrisy understanding baked into the tweet. So let's see if we can find that through some literary analysis. So I heard God killed those kids. Okay.
Wait, do you want
Because
me to
they
tell
were
you why I think
using
it's funny?
NordVPN. I'm not done yet. Oh, you think that's funny?
No, do you want me to tell you why I think the joke is funny?
In a second. So
Well, we already
they were
heard
using
the tweet. You don't have to
NordVPN
read it all
promo
slowly.
code Destiny.
Let-
Hold on,
let-
real quick.
Let him go.
I
Let him go, please.
just want to explain the promo code. As much as I hated this fucking joke and it pissed me off, promo code VPN was fucking hysterical.
Yeah, that's
Like,
the part I
objectively.
thought was funny.
That's the funniest part of the fucking joke, right?
Okay.
All right. Now, to get around the Texas porn ban, gross. The girls who got killed were 8 years old to 13 years old. Okay. Now, where is the appeal to hypocrisy amongst conservatives, and where's the explanation of like Republicans canceling funding for ARP for doing the siren in this area?
Well, so you're attacking 2 different arguments in the same breath. One of them, you're saying that somehow edgy jokes must also be calling out hypocrisy. I don't think that's necessary. I just think
No, that's the
being
Steel Man
authentic.
position that DGG is doing 100%.
Well, I'm not DGG. If you want to talk to DGG, talk to them. I'm talking to
Well, you just did it.
Well, no, I'm saying that edgy jokes are fine, and we should also be calling out hypocrisy from the Republicans. You don't need to do these things in the same breath. But second of all, if anything, if I'm not mistaken, did Destiny not go on Piers Morgan and then defend attack the hypocrisy to like a whole crowd of millions of people? Like, that is a conversation starter, as much as you might not like it.
So Stephen, that's an important question. Did you think that you were going to become is this an avant-garde marketing strategy? Did you think you were going to get an invite from Piers Morgan? You're like, I'm going to tweet out about dead kids jerking off to porn, and this is 100% going to result in people inviting me onto their shows?
Possibly. I would just like to clarify one part of the joke, though. You said that it was gross that they were underage and it was a porn joke. Well, that was why God was punishing them. If they were adults that were using NordVPN to watch porn, then God wouldn't punish them. So it wouldn't make any sense, would it?
No,
Connor?
God would
Okay.
still punish them because
Number
Can
one.
I just can I
Pornography.
Wait, quick.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
answer the question, because did I know I could find it? I don't know. Maybe not. I generally at this point, when it comes to edgy humor conservatives, I don't necessarily make these jokes with like this some huge grand master plan in mind. I just think liberals need to be way less fucking soy about making fun of conservatives for retarded shit. They've like moved the window of acceptable behavior so unbelievably far in one direction that at this point I refuse to be policed by actual subhuman degenerate filth about what we can or can't joke about when they make the most unhinged degenerate jokes ever. And I have seen absolutely zero evidence whatsoever that this go low, go high, whatever bullshit has ever worked ever for liberals. It seems like all of the most popular moments have usually been when they're kind of roasting the other side a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. And it feels like liberals are the
So
ones that have
hold on.
the
Is that
most
why
negative
Beto
reactions there,
O'Rourke
so-
won? Is that why Beto O'Rourke won in Texas? Was because he was being so hardcore when he said that I'm going to take away your AR-15s? Was he giga chatting in that moment? Was that a popular take that he had?
I don't know, but the most popular take I remember Beto O'Rourke having about weapons was when he said something about like "fuck your AR-15s." There's a big deal.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So obviously you can be giga chat about good things and you can be giga chat about bad things, and you can get punished for being giga chat about bad things and rewarded for being giga chat about good things, right? This stands to reason.
Yes, I don't know. That wasn't really a joke he was making, though. He was just saying a swear word, no?
Yeah, but you made correct me if I'm wrong, but you made the argument that the time that Democrats have most succeeded is when they haven't been soy, when they haven't been milquetoast, and they've stand on business. Well, I feel like Beto O'Rourke stood on business in that moment.
I don't think they've ever gotten credit ever for being like kind and nice to conservative stuff. I just don't know.
I don't think we're asking you to be kind or nice. I think you could have been incredibly abrasive and made the same point.
I'm just saying that in general in general on the Democrat side, this like call to being kind and compassionate and empathetic and understanding. I just don't know if like Democrats have ever gotten credit ever on that.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody calls you pussies. Yes.
Yeah, I want to give Kyla a chance to get in. She was trying to get in earlier. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I just want to make sure to reframe this because even Soapill's opening made it seem like this is about edgy jokes, which is understandable because I think for Whick, it's about edgy jokes. I'm not totally sure. I just want to be very clear. I don't give a fuck about edgy jokes. I don't give a single rip. You make as many edgy jokes as you want to. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. What I care about here fundamentally is our predisposition in how we are willing to talk to the opposing side. And I think that that is something that is decaying, not just amongst leftists, which had never existed, but I'm seeing it decay within liberals. And I think that that is harmful to our cause, right? So in the case of like Steven's edgy joke, okay, well, yeah, unfortunately, it was way more offensive than it was funny. It was a little fancy, it was a lot offensive, and it was made more offensive by the timing. So it flopped to even the point that the left didn't like it, right? But again, I don't really care. I'm not interested in just policing people's edgy joke. What I'm interested in is thinking about how we talk to and engage with one another. For example, Soypill, the way that you talk to Tally on that panel, I think is part of the problem. I don't think that this is how you are ontologically all the time, but I think this idea where we talk to people of opposite ideas, we go as aggressive as possible, and we try to tear down not just like who they are, but their humanity. I mean, some of the statements that I quoted from you saying, I think were like pretty shitty, right? It's not just about you're being a little bit mean. It's this entire orientation which says if we want democracy to work, we have to be able to talk to the other side. And while I'll be the first to say that I think the right is full of crazy people and assholes, they're crazy people and assholes that we have to be able to talk to and convince to our side. And I'm not seeing that like the smug nastiness or scorched earth policy that I would criticize Stephen of with, say, like maybe a Tectone or an Asmongold is going to be effective for polling particularly moderates and undecided towards our position.
Yeah, hold on.
Real quick, just as a real quick thing on that. Isn't that exactly what Trump did with the entire tech bro movement, though? Like, didn't he pull in a bunch of people, like record high Hispanic voters, record high tech bro people, Elon Musk, like with the most divisive and vitriolic and toxic rhetoric ever? Didn't he pull in a ton?
Yeah,
of
sure, but people are stupid.
But are we assuming, hold on.
I want to back up Erudite.
No, that's a terrible
Let Kyla finish, please. Let Kyla finish.
The issue is you would have to submit to me evidence that it was him being a fucking asshole versus Kamala, A, getting switched last minute so they didn't even know who they were voting for, and B, on top of that, her entire mantra was essentially, let's keep things the same when people desperately wanted change.
The point, Kyla, the point isn't that it's attracting voters necessarily. It's the point is that it's clearly not alienating all these moderates, that they're still voting for him in these record high numbers. Like, this isn't poison that's going to destroy the Democratic Party and their chances of winning.
Yeah, but Tally is the person that's winnable. I watched the Tally bots live and learn bully session.
Tally is stupid, and I don't care if being nice to her is going to win her over. We should be educating her on policy. That's a completely different conversation.
Soypill, regardless of whether or not you question Tally's individual intelligence, democracy is about appealing to stupid people.
And there's a big difference. Hold on, counter, just to be clear. No, because you don't know my position.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Let Counterpoints finish.
All right, let him strawman me for 5 minutes, and then I can give my real position.
No. I'll take about 1 minute. And on top of that, I'll be very precise with my language, which doesn't have anything about your character involved in it, okay?
Okay.
What's funny is Tally is in a red state, but she's a blue person. She did not think that her vote really mattered, and what she wanted was to do a protest vote, effectively saying the Democrats are not catering to me as a part of the base, and I am your natural supporter. And your guys' reaction to that so far hasn't been, damn, we lost kind of like a progressive, liberal, Jewish girl. What are we doing that's so off-putting? Your entire perspective has been struggle sessioning her and calling her a fucking idiot. Which, by the way,
Well, hold on.
other moderates
Straw
are
man,
going
I
to
called
see
her a
and they're going to be
retard,
like, well,
to be
fuck
clear.
you too.
I called her a retard, for to be clear. And second of all, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be
Cool.
advocating for educating people on what policy affects them and how they should be voting
Just to be
differently.
clear,
But
Tolly's
clearly,
in a blue state.
if this person is so adverse to learning about the consequences of policy that whoever was mean to her last, or whatever kind of perception she has of which party is nicer or less adverse, like that's what she votes on, why would I waste time on this person who's in? Hold on, let me finish. I let you finish your stupid thing. No, so when she is on a platform and the topic is, hey, Tolly, what do Democrats need to do? That's when I'm going to come at you. Like, my channel is about reaching out to Trump supporters, which is a very different thing. I understand the point of compassion, the point of letting them speak, and understanding why they voted so we can change them. But when these pundits are out here saying the dumbest shit ever, displaying their lack of intelligence, I'm going to come up and I'm going to be mean to them, because that's my authentic feeling, is that they're fucking retarded. They need to shut the fuck up. That's a very different conversation than trying to convince a swath of people to come over. And these things can be done in parallel.
Okay, so I want to acknowledge what Whick said, which is effectively that she was in an overwhelming blue state, so she didn't think that her vote was going to matter, so it was the opposite of what I said, but the point still stands. All right, so here's my fucking frustration with this, okay? So I get exactly what you said, and on top of that, plurality of tactics, all right? So if Steven wants to be fucking edgy, you want to have debates, and then you want to be nice to some people but mean to some people, I totally understand a plurality of tactics, okay? But what I'm saying is there's something so fundamentally obvious that should be acknowledged by every single fucking Democrat and isn't, which is effectively on October 7th, 2023, you had tons of progressives, not just leftists, saying, well, you know, Palestinians live in an open air prison, so what was Hamas supposed to do? While there's people getting raped and murdered on Twitter, and then a bunch of Jews go, oh shit, my progressive coalition, my multi-ethnic, multi-religious coalition actually views me as subhuman and laughs when fucking my people get murdered. What the fuck?
Yeah,
and they got so turned off, they moved away from the Democrats.
The issue here isn't about edgy jokes. The issue is that legitimately a lot of people on the left supported Hamas terrorist attacking Israel. I think that was the issue.
Well, no shit. That's why I brought it up in my intro.
Yeah, but that's in my intro. I said no calls to violence, dude. That's like kind of outside the scope.
This isn't an issue of like edgy humor. This is an issue of like really incompatible policy positions, I think. I think the issue when it comes to this like weird like joke or rhetoric policing is you've got like, I don't know enough about Talia, but was that her name? Talia? Tali?
Tolly. Yeah.
Tolly. Okay. So I'm not saying she's an extremist or whatever, just because I just don't know her positions. But it feels like when talking about her, it's the equivalent of like soy pilled, or the soy pill over here is like somebody who speeds occasionally in his car, and Tali is like kind of sort of wanting to support the mob. And then, you know, we've got the soy pill speeding in his car, and we're like, well, she's just not going to side with you if you're a criminal. And it's like, okay, I just don't think speeding is that big of a deal. It's not really about the speeding. It's the fact that how are you aligned with the mob and complaining about one side speeding? That just doesn't make any sense to me. That's soy as fuck, not in the soy way.
No, I think that...
Okay, hold on. Stop. We have to stop framing this as an edgy joke issue. Maybe that's Connor's issue. I don't know. And this isn't even a moral issue to me, to be super frank. What I'm talking about is effectiveness. I do not think that super divisiveness is what is effective. I don't think it's what's been effective for Trump at all in any way, because he lost in 2016 despite getting smeared aggressively by the Democrats. He still won, had a weak presidency, and then Joe Biden won because everyone was sick of how divisive he was. And then he won again, but again, in large part because we had an incumbent.
I think Biden won because of COVID. I think COVID fucked the whole world up and everybody's mad, but it's like Trump literally tried to steal the presidency and like
I
didn't
agree.
lose as bad as anywhere as he should have, and then he won again. And Trump is like probably the most divisive president or person, period, that I've seen in, I don't know, my lifetime. So it just seems like the divisiveness is not a thing that scares people away from your movement. I just don't know where that idea comes from, because especially if you look at the big group of people that vote for him, white people, like what's the reason they cite the most for wanting to be with Trump? It's like wokeness, which seems to play right into divisive and edgy jokes.
Well, actually, part of the issue is wokeness is something that you guys don't really do. Maybe Soy is leaning into it. I'm not really sure. Wokeness is generally this like PR policy of canceling and like purifying people out of our group to say that they're not good enough. That's calling everyone a racist and all these sorts of things. It's a thing that got you banned off of Twitch, right? And it's a thing that if Soy Pill went on TikTok for 1 second, it would get banned him off of because he uses edgy jokes too, right? So wokeness is incredibly divisive and it is driving people away because people fucking hate it. And so when I'm talking about being mean, I'm not saying don't be mean. That's never been my position. I'm clearly mean to people all the time. What I'm saying is we have to be mean effectively. And I don't think scorched earth is effective policy. In the case of your joke, it was funny. And I bet you if you gave it 2 weeks to breathe, it might have actually landed super well. Unfortunately, it didn't because the offensive level was higher than the funniness, probably because of the immediacy of the event happening. Unfortunately, right? I'm not saying don't make those jokes.
That analysis can't ever be applied to anything for conservatives, though. Why do we have?
I don't give a fuck about
analysis?
Conservatives winning. I don't care about them winning.
You should care about it because you're saying you care about political effectiveness. They just won both halves of Congress. They controlled the Supreme Court and they won the presidency even with a popular vote. So clearly, what they're doing is effective. So I don't know how we can say, well, I don't care what the conservatives do.
This is what's
But is what's
bullshit
effective
about
calling
your point.
people rats? Is that what's effective?
I think that's what.
Well, and also,
people like
Stephen,
about
this point is
What do they
bullshit.
like about Trump? They don't say the policy. They don't know any of Trump's policies. They don't say.
Well, hold
on.
on. This is total bullshit, and I'm not going to let it slide. But I'm calling bullshit right now, okay? So number one, I've had DGG in my fucking comments for the past fucking week because I've effectively had my milquetoast criticism of the fucking take or whatever. And what they've all said is like, well, look at how mean Tectone was. And look how mean and stupid Asmongold is. And look how mean and stupid Donut Operator was in reference to the Palisades fire. And so I go and check the fucking tweets and they go, fuck you, Biden. So where's the direct analog to this specific behavior where you're making fun of fucking dead people?
First of all, it wasn't just fuck you, Biden. One was a fuck you to a request for FEMA funds, I think. Another one was blaming Biden and calling him old and decrepit for not, for he didn't go to either Texas or California or something. Another one was like making fun of
so
LGBT
is that
people
equivalent?
and DEI. Is it the exact
Is that
equivalent?
equivalent to mocking the dead?
Tasteless. What is the?
Is that equivalent to mocking the dead?
Well,
I don't give a fuck about mocking the dead. I'll make fun of the dead right now. I'm talking about other people who care about that shit.
One at a time.
An equivalent to mocking the dead would be all of the Democrats, or not the Democrats. It would be Tim Pool and others who are making fun of the one dude on the street in New York that got stabbed to death in front of his girlfriend. Who are like, this is exactly the kind of thing that these guys vote for.
Or the wildfires where they celebrate it when they're all burning.
Hold on. This isn't about being equivocal. This isn't about being equivocal. This isn't about being equivocal.
This is bullshit.
No,
I'm not going to
we
let it
have
slide.
to have a higher standard. We already hold ourselves to a higher standard than Republicans. They have no morals. Have you not read Lauren Southern's book? You have people unironically taking money to peddle false information. It's only the right that has done bad things. But the issue is which
no, you guys are missing the point.
Political effectiveness. Which one is it then? Those are two different things.
Hold on.
Well,
and
you're
before we move on,
that we
I
should
want
do
to
whatever
issue
the
a
Republicans
challenge.
do because they're already doing bad stuff. And I am saying, I don't know if these are the standards that we want to hold ourselves to. For example, if it is, why don't you just spread a bunch of misinfo and start paying for bot farms? That would be way more effective.
The question is whether we want political effectiveness or moral standards. I think there's a different morality about making fun of people versus like lying about stuff. I would argue that these are two different things. But the question is just, are we talking about political effectiveness or are we talking about like having some go high when they go low road?
So hold on. No, I want to make one point and I want to challenge the audience, okay? Because what I'm hearing is turnabout is fair play. And so what I'm looking about is turnabout. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So if you want to come up with other egregious behaviors that the right wing is engaged in, I'm going to agree with you. I endlessly bitch about the $9 billion rescission package that's projected to kill 14 million people. Trust me, I care way more about that than I care about Steven's fucked up joke, okay? However,
moral
that being said, if you're going to say, I'm not done yet, Erudite,
I'm
thank
sorry,
you.
you're yapping.
I'm not done yet, Erudite,
falling
thank
apart
you. I'm not done yet, Kyla, thank you.
Okay,
I'm not done yet, Kyla,
Let
thank you.
Counterpoints finish.
I'm not done yet.
Counterpoints finish.
Thank you.
Land your
All
plane.
right, thank you. Anyways, so I challenge you, send it to my DMs, send it to my email, show me where these alt media pundits have been shitting on the dead people in the Palisades fires. Send it to me, please.
Kyla, now it's your turn. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. I shouldn't go aggro on Connor. He's my debate partner. So the issue for me is that moral standards can be part of a political effectiveness, particularly if they're your espoused moral standards, right? The left typically has stood on some level of moral standards. We think that we're better. We're not trying to steal elections. We're not trying to spread misinformation. We're not trying to take away people's rights. That's the standards that we stand upon, which is why it would be really ineffective advocacy if we say all these things and then there's evidence that we're doing the opposite. This is why MAGA is in an absolute blowout right now, because one of the standards that they cared about was like truth and justice, particularly around the Epstein files, and Trump is completely caving to that. And it is causing a massive Republican fallout. There is massive schism going on as a result of them not standing up to some of their standards. Now, I agree that the Republican standards of being a pundit is not the standards that I want the left to have, but that's because I think the left is right. I think reality leans left, and there are certain standards that I don't want to fall to. And one of the standards, for example, here is one that I actually don't think Republicans fail very hard, which is how we talk to people who we disagree with. Typically, when I go into Republican spaces, they're going to say a bunch of stupid information and they're going to spread misinfo, and at worst, they'll be bad faith. However, if I go into leftist spaces, as you personally know, Stephen, as Soy Pill, I literally just go on TikTok once and debate people, and I'm sure you'll experience it. The leftists are fucking deranged. They're super nasty. They try to destroy your career, and they morally condemn you along lines and values that you hold, like not being a racist. And so we keep losing in these ways because in part, we allowed the leftists to set the tone of what the left looks like, which we should have never agreed to
Kyla,
at
can I
all.
interrupt you? Because
But in
you've
converse,
made
no,
two
you don't get to
completely
interrupt me. No,
incongruent arguments right now.
But in
You're going so
converse,
far.
in converse, yeah, it's a two-parted argument. Sorry, Soy Pill, if that's hard for you to keep up on.
I can do one at a time.
The second part is how we engage with those who are opposite. Some of the most, I will just say this, at the TPUSA event, every single conservative that came up was super excited to see Destiny. They're like, he's so good, he's so smart. But man, I wish we wouldn't make fun of dead kids. And all through the canvassing events, do you know how many people came up to me who were conservatives who were polled because of your red pill arc, where to this day Myron Gaines respects you because even though you disagreed with him the entire time, and even though you were harsh on it, you were not nasty and you didn't go scorched earth, or you didn't do this like smug condescending shit that like leftists and I think Soy Pill think is based. That was effective. It just was effective. And I think that there is mounds of evidence to support that.
Okay, so
I'm still here, just turning
so
off
two
my
things.
camera.
Let's go to Soy Pill.
Yeah. So
Soy Pill and then
two things.
yeah.
One, and on one side of your mouth, you're saying, hey, the left is losing because we're policing and we're woke and we're calling people racist and we have these standards and it's driving people away, which is what is happening when people are complaining about Destiny's joke. Oh, you can't do that. That's crossing a line. And this is exactly what I'm talking about in the beginning when I said there's an authenticity problem where people look at like a Dean Withers and a Harry Sisson, and you just saw him maybe on the Adam Friedland show. He wouldn't say retarded because he's like, I can't do that. That's my democratic, handlers won't let me say the nasty words. And that's why no one fucking likes them, because they're lame and manufactured. Meanwhile, you've got all these people that Trump, went on their podcast and he appeared authentic to. And that's the reason why people say they like Trump, is the being authentic and saying what you feel. And you can say, oh, I don't want to go down to that standard. But in the same breath, you're saying, well, we shouldn't steal elections. We shouldn't spread misinfo. Obviously. But that is not what is happening right now. What's happening is people are policing jokes because, oh, they're too edgy and you're too mean. And when you say there's a way, hold on. No. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I thought we weren't interrupting, Kyla. I thought it was don't interrupt time. Well, you have to get to my arguments. Oh my God. I don't know how many times do you have to interrupt me before I can finish my sentence.
If you keep strawmanning me, I'm going to interrupt you to correct your
I
perception.
know you're not. I know you think I'm criticizing you.
And stop saying jokes.
I'm sorry.
That's not what I'm saying.
Why are we here, Kyla? Was it not because of an edgy joke?
I literally said at the very beginning that might be Whick's issue, and but that isn't my issue. And then I gave an entire argument.
I'll say it's my issue.
Okay, it's counter. Okay, so you I guess shouldn't be here for the topic of the joke thing. You should be here for the how do we talk to people. And obviously, I agree with you. By the way,
I texted Whick and I said explicitly.
Let me explain this. It's all connected. These jokes is how we treat people. They feel that you're laughing, but it's true, right? If someone is making a joke, right, about something that someone deeply cares about and they get deeply offended, this will drive them to act against our interests, right? So why do this? what upside, what gain is there? So her take, Erudite's take on political effectiveness is tied into the topic as a whole. That's why she's here.
Right.
Anyway,
And I'm
and
saying
I
that
will-
edgy jokes are part of
By
an
the way,
authenticity
fucking
that
weak shit to have to appeal to the name of the debate.
I'm not
so that
calling
you. Can get a
you.
fucking
I'm not
sick
saying you're
young.
losing.
You
I'm not
said,
trying to
"Why are
dunk on
you
you,
here?"
Kyla.
Which is
No,
so
oh my
fucking
god,
annoying.
Kyla, please. We're friends. I'm not
Even
actually trying to
jokes
dunk on
aren't
you
my
for that. I'm
problem.
just like,
It's
obviously, we're talking about
dehumanizing and
something
being
else.
nasty. Then talk to me.
Okay, so I'm talking to you. So yes, the dehumanizing, nasty, edgy jokes are part of an authenticity that you can see in places that appeal to young voters that are swinging away from the uptight policing Democrats that you are calling a problem, and I agree, is a problem. The over-policing, the wokeness, the left stuff. And just to be clear, I don't think that just dunking and saying, oh, you're racist, you're stupid, is like, oh, it's based, we should always do that. The reason I did that to Tali is not because I think that's how you should talk to all Trump supporters. It's when they speak on an authority where they're saying, well, we know what we should do. This is very different from understanding how you can win people over. And this idea that like, well, I have to be infinitely curious about why Tali, this fucking moron, decided to vote for Trump despite being gay, being Jewish, and having all of these things on her, but she doesn't have to be at all curious about why I might call her out about that, why she should vote for a Democrat, is insane. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And we should be spending it educating people like that on policy and how it's going to affect them, because that's the only way you're actually going to have political effectiveness, not policing jokes. I think it's a waste of time.
Okay.
Sure. So the first thing that you pointed to was a dialectic, right? You said on one side of your mouth, you're saying that we should stop like canceling people out. And on the other side, you're now essentially policing me for how mean I'm being. I'm talking about a dialectic here. I'm talking about the intolerance of tolerance, right? In the case of purity woke scolding, I think it's bad because I think it derails from the actual ideas. I think it typically targets people that it shouldn't be targeting because it's endlessly looking for new targets. And I think it kicks out people that we align with fundamentally. I am not sitting here and saying you're not left or you're ontologically evil for these things. I'm saying you're ineffective and it's betraying our own moral standards that I think we have erected and I think we should stand to, which is that we want to engage with each other and we want to be able to talk to the opposing side.
Yeah, but
I
these
think
things
that
aren't
that's our
mutually
value.
exclusive. That's what I'm saying. And also, can you please, like, because I don't have data on this, and this isn't me like calling you out, could you show me where there's this like swath of voters that are turned off by this and didn't vote because of it, versus, which I think there's probably more data for, who is saying, well, I'm looking for an authentic Democratic Party, which I think edgy jokes like this, as much as you might say, hey, they're ineffective, I think they're much more effective,
Never
especially
said
to a
edgy
younger.
jokes are ineffective.
You-
Never said
that's
edgy jokes are ineffective.
Okay, well,
Let's give it to
whatever
Counterpoints.
way you want to describe
you want to
it.
talk? No. Well, if you want to talk to me, just ask me my opinion, right?
Can you give
What
me
I
the
would
what
say
when I
is,
repeat this so I don't
dropping
say it wrong?
retard. Well, it's not just don't say it wrong. It's understand my position.
Right.
That's what I'm
So
asking you to do.
you say political effectiveness. This joke itself was offensive. What about it was not politically effective? And then I will use that language every time I reference it. I'm not trying to strawman you. I'm literally just trying to repeat what you said. Sorry.
I'll tell you, talking about prepubescent kids jerking off. That's probably the least politically effective aspect of the joke.
Wouldn't it be schlicking in this case because they're mostly girls?
So to be clear, there's not going to be political data that you're asking for. In large part, I think Blue Rose openly, actually, David Shore talked to me about this, and I asked him why he didn't include like wokeness as a reason why people voted, and he was like, well, our list of 40 things was just kind of arbitrary fundamentally, and he agreed probably it actually should have been included. It would have been interested to know. So I don't have this data to give you, or people like, well, man, Dustin was really mean this one day to me, so that's why I voted for Trump, right? What I do have is psychological theory, right, about how people work. And what we're talking about here when we're talking about changing minds is we're talking about changing fundamentals or deep things to people's worldviews. And these are really, really hard things to change, as anyone in psychology can tell you. And what I'm saying is that while edgy jokes can be useful because it code switches to young people that you're chill, that you don't give a fuck about the PC shit, and you can make a joke and roll with it, the problem is that when you're smug, condescending, and nasty all the time, what it does is it doesn't code switch to anyone. Typically, people don't like condescension at all. In fact, that's why I think on your panel, people were more mad at you than Sansal, who was saying put Republicans in gulags, which is way more extreme than anything you were saying. It's because you're being smug the whole time. So it rubs people worse. And in general, shaming people for deep intrinsic beliefs doesn't cause people to change. In fact, there's a dearth of data that there's a large amount of data that shows it causes people typically to become defensive and move more towards their original position.
Okay, so my position is not we should be shaming people in mass to change their votes. So I mean, if you want to engage with my position, we can do that too.
No. Okay, counterpoints.
Yeah.
Please.
So I actually I don't want to be exclusively in political commentary for the next 20 years. Okay. And I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera while I talk just because my toddler is refusing to leave the room. So, anyways, the point being that I am about political efficacy insofar as we're trying to figure out how to combine alt media and normal media. Okay, that's what we're trying to figure out how to do. We're also trying to figure out how to get mainstream politics to talk to alt media political people. Okay, and what's happening is we're talking about this fucked up joke, and I am here to police the jokes a little bit, and I'm bringing it up. And Steven's probably the most successful person here. And he's like, lol, wouldn't it specifically be female style of masturbation? And I'm telling you, that's the exact kind of fucking thing. It's funny. I'm not going to say it's not funny, but that's the exact kind of thing that if I try to book with a mainstream person and I say, oh, hey, I have this guy. He's huge in alt media. He's got tens of thousands of listeners. He's got millions of post-recorded views. He wants to canvas. He wants to be active. Can we do an interview together? And then if somebody takes that clip and they blow it up, they're going to be like, isn't that the guy who talks about like prepubescent female masturbation? And they're going to say no. So you're right. I do want to police your jokes a little bit.
Well, is the problem then them saying no?
What's the worst part that would make me unbookable? Do you know what it is?
Well, I would say probably your abrasive personality and sex dramas.
No, I would say it's the fact that I'm on the left. You're not about abrasive personality and sex dramas. Andrew Tate was like the leading red pillar for 2 years, and the conservatives.
That's actually a half decent point.
And he was invited into the White House, by the way, and like that's not stopping any of these people from getting invited on shows. If anything, the problem you're describing, Connor, is that the left needs to be less uptight about who they invite on shows. Which, by the way, they're pivoting to. I don't know if you've heard like the Washington Post story from today, but they are realizing that like disowning people, over policing for this kind of stuff is a waste of time and it's not working.
And I think the big issue is
I'm
that,
on your guys' side.
people don't like condescension, or people love condescension. They just like it when it's on their side. People absolutely do. You can see a billion people looking at Trump and everybody else being condescending as fuck to their political adversaries. People like it. They just don't like when it's directed at them.
Side. It bolsters your own side, but that's not effective in pulling the opposite side, which is what you guys are saying.
Won by pulling the opposite side. The goal shouldn't be how do I appeal to my diametrically opposed political enemies at all points in time. At some
it should be
point,
how do I appeal to moderates? It should be how do I appeal to
moderates?
moderates?
Yeah, no shit. You're pissing off moderates.
People that like can go out and vote. How about appealing to like your own party members that are like, these are Democrats that feel demotivated as fuck and don't like to actually go out and do anything because our whole party is just living constantly in the criticism of conservatives who have never in their lives considered criticism from the left.
Stephen, part of why you're effective is because you can do both. And what I'm saying to you is that I'm
not a politician, so there's like a double. It's careful. I'm not trying to get elected, so there's like a different type of thing that I'm
sure,
going for.
but you're going to rally behind politicians, and that's going to get you're very effective at getting people politically active. What I'm saying here is that, like, I guess to Soy Pill, right? I understand that your position is not to be mean people to get them to change their votes. Got it. My criticism to you on the Tally thing specifically is that when you're mean to Tally and when you talk about her in such a smug, condescending, and disregarding way, you're signaling to her and everyone like her that basically you look down at them as subhumans. None of those people.
I never use the word subhuman, but I do look down on them, and I'm going to be very explicit in public about that. And I think that anger is the same thing that a lot of people who are disaffected on the left, who feel like they don't have people who will go out and say what people like, the same people that say, oh, Trump says it like it is. There's a swath of leftists like, why are these Democrats being so fucking nice to these people that are killing my family, who are stripping their rights away? And I'm like, hey, dipshit, you should not be the authority here. That's very different from reaching out to specific voters. And if people clip that, whatever, but we tried being perfect for 2 fucking elections, and they're gonna clip everything from the perfect party of the most. Wait, hold on, let me finish. These smug liberals who are going high get clipped for the nothing things.
No,
never. We need to be more nice. We need to be more nice, Whick. We weren't nice enough in the Clinton era. Oh, oops, sorry.
Hold on. My only question to you is the Tally conversation is it effective? That's all I'm asking.
No, it wasn't. It was me yelling at someone to be cathartic. No, I'm saying no. I'm saying no. It was not effective, Kyla, at changing her mind.
A TLDR.
Summarize it? Yeah.
Sure. I had Stardust and Short Fat Otaku or Dev on my show to talk about did Democrats and Tally, it's a Whick and Tally show. I co-host a show with her every week. And so our guests were Stardust and Dev. And the subject was, did Democrats contribute to the rise of MAGA and how? And we talked about that. Soy Pill ranted and raved in chat and started DMing me saying he wanted on. And so about an hour in, I let him on, and he started going after Tolly and calling like.
So let me
"Why are
be
you
clear.
even
I went
here?
after Tolly
Why
because
are you
Tolly
on
is
this
someone.
show?"
Tolly
etc.
voted for Trump and was speaking as some sort of like, what should the Democrats be doing moving forward? When she does not give a shit about policy, which she admitted multiple times, raised her hand to say she was a vibes-based voter. Like when questioned about specific things like January 6th, which she acknowledged is bad and knew all the details of before voting, still did not care. So it's like, why waste any time, one, listening to this person for advice, and two, not shaming this person out of the fucking space for having absolutely nothing to contribute and admittedly being retarded. That's very different from talking to a voter.
You already, it's not that different because
It's
Tally's
100% different.
It's much close. Tally is a voter and she's basically
one voter. I
normie.
will shout out
Tally,
any pundit
if you think
what she
that Tally
is.
is like distinctly more stupid than the average voter, I don't know what to tell you.
I didn't say that. I said that she's a pundit, which is different from talking to someone that I'm trying to convince.
She's barely a pundit. She doesn't even.
She's in a public space, and I'm yelling at her for that,
screen.
Kyla. So if I'm talking to Matt Walsh, do I have to be nice to him so that I can convince the Republicans? Is that how it works?
Like Matt Walsh.
There are some people that deserve scorched earth. The issue is you already said it's not effective.
I said that conversation was not an effective one, no.
So why are you defending it?
Because it's an actual authentic expression of my anger at someone stupid being used as a position of authority. And I think it's fine to do that every once in a while. It's not some fucking political poison.
I agree with you.
Okay,
I agree, which is why I said in my opening statement, I don't expect you to be perfect in your advocacy. But if all you have is conservative fatigue and that's why you're taking it out on them, again, it's fine.
Well,
but
cool.
what
Then we
I'm
agree,
talking
because that's
about
not all I
is
have.
efficacy.
Okay.
I'm just curious. Wait, on the Tally thing, would it be more effective to spend an hour roasting the fuck out of her and getting a bunch of other people to laugh at her, or would it be more effective to spend an hour trying to convert her to vote differently when she probably won't? I feel like you just make fun of these people.
She definitely will vote differently. Is my
She
suspicion.
said she wouldn't. She literally said, I actually don't know if I'd vote for a Democrat. After 3 different shows, your show, Live and Learn, and our panel. After all 3, and you guys were nice to her, so why waste time?
Of course. She's literally gone on a circus chase of every liberal getting
They were
in
nice.
Licks
You were nice?
Yes.
Did it work?
I was nice.
Did you change her?
You're right. I was nice.
Did it work?
Yeah, when 4 out of 5 people are bullying the fuck out of you and one person is nice, why would you be like, oh yeah, it turns out actually everybody in this tribe is great. So
let me clear, it's 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6 people were nice to her. Well, you just have your numbers wrong.
I'm talking. I don't want to hear.
My whole point is there are other people like
no, Erudite, still talking. White man, sit down, listen. Jesus Christ. So, anyways, the whole fucking point of this is that you were like, oh, Democrats were so nice over the past fucking 10 years. Where the fuck was that? What the fuck are you talking about? The whole goddamn reaction of the right wing has been to snide, smug, far left dickbags running fucking media for a decade, running social media for a fucking decade. That's why Elon bought Twitter. Not just that, but in 2016, I wasn't going to vote for Trump, but I wasn't going to vote for Hillary Clinton either because jihadist terrorist attacks were happening every other goddamn month. And the Democrats were talking about bringing in 250,000 new fucking refugees.
Yeah, but Connor, you're conflating two things here.
But in 2020, no, I'm not done yet. Thank you. I listened to you for 5 minutes. You can listen to me for fucking 3.5. Okay. So the other thing is in fucking 2020, we had the goddamn summer of love where basically like, not only did we have the COVID lockdown bullshit, but we also had BLM going on and people saying fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. Do you know how oftentimes I see that bullshit where Democrats, regardless of all the fucked up shit of Trump, again, I can list all the fucked up parts of Trump better than you can. Summer of Love, Chaz Chop, sweeping for jihadists, sweeping for BLM is still brought up, and that's not good behavior.
Yeah, none of that is anything we're talking about regarding mean comments. If you want to talk smug
yes,
pearl clutching,
you said
that's
that you were on your best behavior for a decade and it didn't work. Don't gaslight me in real time.
Why is saying fiery but mostly peaceful is mean?
For 10 years,
fiery,
and everything I listed was your best behavior.
Calm down.
No, I won't.
Okay, let's take a deep breath.
You're fucking lying to me. Don't lie to me.
Okay, fiery but mostly peaceful. That's Democrats being mean.
It's Democrats sweeping for the BLM riots of 2020.
Is that being mean? Is that what we're talking about?
In the entirety of all we have the fiery but mostly peaceful from the one CNN.
Yeah, the Chiron, yeah.
The Chiron, that one thing.
Okay, hold on. Gaslight me and then I'll gaslight you right back.
Hold on. Just to be clear, we're comparing that to the entire
subhuman conservative apparatus claiming that Haitians in the United States were eating cats and dogs, and that message got repeated by the president of the United States of America on a debate, and then it was repeated by the vice president, J.D. Vance, and he said, I knew it was a fucking lie, but it gets people talking. And now you want to hold us to some standard of, well, remember when that one CNN during the BLM riots had the thing in the background? It's like, fuck that bullshit. Make fun of dead kids and fuck all of it. It's
Hold on.
Wait, the argument doesn't need to be that Dems were wholly imperfect and that Republicans are bad. Republicans are way worse than the Dems have ever been. It's just annoying when you guys are being like, the Dems have always played it high. 2016, Hillary was not playing it high.
Can you name one not high comment that she said? What was dirty? She said basket of deplorables, right? And they're still holding that over. Like that's the worst thing you can point to.
The entire campaign was smearing him.
Every political campaign is smearing him.
Hold on.
All of the news. The news.
That's being okay. Wait, no. Wick. Yeah, wait. This is no. Yeah, what is this? Okay, we're talking about going low. Is
you're
this
making a mistake? Soy Pill, you're making a mistake. It's not just about what the politicians say. It's what about your side says. It's what about your culture says. And you would have to have not lived through that time if you thought the Democrats, I'm talking about the people, I'm talking the rank and file, treated Republicans or even moderates well. A lot of people disowned their families, right, during that time because they thought they might be voting for Trump, right? They literally won't talk to their families. They literally excise people from their friend groups. It was a huge issue.
Yeah,
Wick.
I don't disagree with this, but the problem is I guess we're going to keep conflating these different parts of what is being mean, right? But this whole strategy you just talked. Hold on, no, excising your family, by the way, is a very mature thing to do if there's crossing a line that you think they shouldn't cross, and I've done it before, and that's very different from, hey, you're a fucking idiot, no one should talk to you, you don't know how to vote, which I agree turned some people off in 2016. I know a lot of people who were turned off from the Dems by that, but when I'm talking about they go high, we go high, they go low, that is a very different strategy. That is, hey, these people are smearing and calling names and like dehumanizing, and we're not going to do that. That is what the Dems have been doing up until about like the weird comments from, or maybe like Joe Biden saying, will you shut up? You know, this is what we're talking about. And then, yeah, you can talk about the populists. Obviously, they're going to be way more, edgy than the politicians, but the politicians of the right are going low every single time, and it is not hurting them.
Okay, I have a relevant point. I want to make it before anybody else fucking gets in. Don't piss on my leg and fucking tell me it's raining, okay? Kyle Rittenhouse specifically. I already know that this is a perfect point about Democrats misbehaving very badly in reference to this because Steven recognizes this point. All the progressives, all the fucking libs, and the mainstream media establishment, and the president of the United States himself ran with the narrative that a 16-year-old kid grabbed an assault rifle and committed a mass shooting against BLM fucking protesters and killed 3 black people in Kenosha, Wisconsin. But as soon as you watch the fucking video, it's obviously not true.
Okay,
now
Connor, I don't disagree with you. Can I back you up? Wait, but I can back you up. Here, let me back you up.
Let him finish, please.
The reason why I respected Steven so much was because he was willing to pursue truth over what was convenient for his political side. I actually stopped respecting Vosh as much because he went exclusively with what was convenient to his political side. So if you guys start engaging in that behavior, I will lose respect for you. Thank you.
What did Biden say? Didn't Biden say that he would respect the court's decision on the Rittenhouse case?
Yeah, he did. He also retweeted out a video calling him a white supremacist mass shooter.
Right. So, but hold on, let's be clear.
Hold on, wait. It was like it was implied with the way that the compilation video, but like the fact that you just said that is crazy.
Do you think that it matters that the president of the United States calls you a white supremacist mass shooter? Obviously, it does.
I think that if you're going to obsess over a single video that was made, that he retweeted on his account, and you're going to claim that like, oh my God, this was so horrible, and ignore the 50 trillion insane things that Donald Trump, the president of the United States, the leader of MAGA and the Republican Party, says daily, that's a standard that we're never going to win. Which is why we even make fun of dead kids and everything else, because you were never going to appeal to people like you. It'll never work. You'll always be able to find. You'll always be able to find one person. You'll always be able to find one bad person on Twitter, one bad lawmaker, whatever, one bad person that says anything. And then meanwhile, Republicans are like rapid firing out the most insane things ever. You want to talk about Rittenhouse? What about George Floyd?
Okay, Steven, you've gotten lazy in your argumentation. I'm not that guy. I talk about George Floyd. I talk about Trump. I spend 90% of my time. I spend 90% of my time criticizing the fucking right because they've lost their fucking mind.
This isn't about you.
Huh?
This is about the electorate.
Yeah, it's about you. It's about you.
It's about the electorate. I
about
a conversation about the electorate.
No, it's about you.
What is
you.
it about me? I'm voting for
It's about
probably
you.
no
You're
matter what.
engaged in
be
bad
honest,
behavior that I think is ineffective and counterproductive, and I don't
And what
like
I'm
it. That's
saying
why
is
I'm
that
talking to you.
conversation,
And I'm saying
the
that if you look at
conversation
overall
is
rhetoric in this
about the
country,
tallies.
It seems to be that everybody on the Republican side can be the most degenerate fucking people they want, and they don't. It
I'm
doesn't
not
seem to be
giving them that
effective for them.
permission or license.
But it works.
No, it doesn't. It's destroying the fucking country.
It works for their party. It works for them to win elections.
So then why don't we just start doing misinfo? Why don't we just start doing misinfo?
Because I think misinfo is bad.
Yeah, so is like treating other
Edgy
people like they're
jokes?
subhuman.
So
I didn't
is
say
shitting
edgy
on
jokes, you
eight-year-old
stupid
condescending
motherfucker.
Being
Nobody's-
condescending to somebody is not a morally horrible thing to do. It's just
Nobody
rude.
fucking said it was,
Then
Steven.
why
Keep
are you
up.
guys lying?
Because I'm talking about efficacy.
We're not talking about
Misinfo.
efficacy to forsake morality. The difference between being condescending or telling
Part of
mean
our
jokes is
morals,
different than
I
lying.
thought, is that we can actually talk to the other side and engage with them and not go scorched earth all the time. I thought
That's a
bipartisanship
preference. It's not
was some of the
immoral
value.
to-
Yes, they are more deplorable in every single way. I will just grant this to you
Wait, but
every single time.
Kyla,
But
how
what
can
I'm
you-
talking about, don't fucking interrupt me,
Why?
is Connor and Tallies, who are people who are don't like the right. They think it's despicable. Maybe not Tally. Let's just say Connor, who are informed, are looking at the left's behavior and also find it deplorable. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, can't we just tweak that?
No.
We are already good
No.
at policy.
And if Connor's not
We're
going to vote
already
for
good at
us because of
policy.
that, he's a fucking moron,
Why?
and I
You
don't think he
abandon those
is.
people.
So
Because they're not worth appealing to. You're better off energizing your own side. If somebody can sit in an area where they look at one guy and they see him rape 500 people, and then they look over there and like, well, that guy he made some rude comments about some woman's bra or whatever. So I think these two things, like, I'm really undecided. You never even waste time with that person. You just try to you energize your own side, or maybe you find people who are genuinely, legitimately in the middle. But if there are people, like I said, I haven't seen the Tally stuff, but if this is somebody who's legitimately like undecided about both sides, this person's fucking retarded. You don't waste your time on that person. Why would you?
I'm telling you, the average moderate is fucking retarded. I'm telling you that the average moderate is.
Why are you saying
most
that?
voters-
Clip it, and the Democrats will never win because you just said that. We're done. Why'd you say it?
Actually, I disagree. I believe that democracy works with retards. I actually think that it does. I think it's baked into the system to assume
No,
that
I
people
agree
are
too.
fucking stupid.
No, I
Okay,
also agree. But
great.
you're saying on one side, Steven, I love that you can go out and be this person who reaches out to people. However, because you made this edgy joke or because you cross a line sometimes, that's like poison to the thing. And it's like, wait, hold on. You're quoting people at events that say they like him, they're Republican, they're conservatives, and they still show up despite not liking the thing that he said. Clearly, it's not the delineating factor.
If you
not
guys
because they
agree
would
with
ever
me-
side with
if
him
you
in
guys
any
agree with
political
me-
agreement ever.
If you guys agree with me, then why? Well, he's walking away now. Why is Steven right now saying, don't reach the retards, abandon them? It sounds like you guys disagree with each other as well. I'm saying we have to reach the retards. Yes, the extremists will never reach. I'm not talking about
no,
embedded
Kyla,
MAGAs
wait.
who will never move. I'm not
Hold
talking
on.
about those people.
But that's not my
I think
argument. That's my
Steven
argument.
just got tired.
No, so clearly, Kyla, I'm not saying don't reach out to people who are retarded because I do think most people are stupid and we do need to appeal to stupid people. What I'm saying is we are not going to waste energy policing our own side saying, hey, there's some unambiguous, like, we can't really tell you how many people this is, but some of them are
policing our own side. I'm not trying to cancel. I'm
You're
not
saying
saying that you guys
policing-
are bad, that nobody should support you.
You're saying don't
I'm
do it. Is
saying-
that not policing?
I'm saying you would be more effective if we actually held
policing
to
you.
the standards that we say we care about. The right is fucked in large part because they've forgotten to have principles. They don't have them. They don't even
How are
begin
they
to
fucked?
espouse
They
them
got-
They're
anymore.
in power right now, Kyla.
They're
What the
getting
fuck are you
fucked
talking
by the
about?
one principle that they held, which was around the Epstein files. It's
They're not
fucking them
getting
over.
fucked. They have
When
no
you hold
government. They're
standards
not-
for yourself and then you fail the standards, the people
they're about-
notice. The problem the Democrats had is multifaceted. Number one, we pretended to have moral standards that we never gave a fuck
How
about
are the
by
Dem- how are the
kowtowing to the
Republicans fucked right now?
progressives.
How are
And
they
number
fucked?
two is that the standards that we do have, which are good democratic standards, we are not always upholding to. We need to be more clear about when we're upholding to them. There are some people
what are our
that we need to go
standards? Our
scorched
standards
earth
are
over,
don't be
but I
mean
am
to people.
telling you, Tectones and Asmongold's don't need scorched earth, and neither do Tallies.
Okay,
Those are
and
not the people.
Can you
The
show
Matt
me
Walshes,
that this
go
is like
fucking
winning
off.
some
Don't
people
care.
over by being uptight like we were for 20 years? Like I don't see
dude,
this happening.
Yeah, Soypelt, there's
Wait,
literally
no,
people
I
in
can
my
give you so
comment
many-
section who stay. I would like to interject. Thank you.
Sure.
So there are people who come into my comment section and they say, oh, I really liked Steven until X. And you know what X normally is? It's either the past fucking week with the dead girls or it's Corey Compatore.
Yep. And are they
It's
switching
the
their
fucking
votes?
firefighter.
Are
What's
they,
that?
are they saying they're going to vote Trump now?
You guys claim God guided that bullet, okay? So I'm just laughing at it.
Well, and by the way, actually, hold on. This brings up a previous point. So you were saying that like, oh, it's just jokes. It's just jokes. And actually, that Soy Pills probably brought it up more than anybody else, saying like, oh, you're trying to police our jokes. You're trying to police our jokes. Excuse me. Correct me if I'm wrong, because this is the malice that most people are identifying, is the fact that you and I both genuinely believe that MAGA is a quasi-fascist movement that doesn't care about the rule of law, the Republic of the United States, or its people, correct?
Yes.
And that's why you don't care that Corey Compatore, or whatever his name is wittingly or unwittingly, he's effectively supporting fascism.
Who's this person? I don't know this person.
It's the firefighter who got shot at Trump's rally.
At the Trump rally in Butler.
I care that a person died. I care that right now, when Medicaid gets shut down, the red states are going to be hurting the most. It's a little bit like, well, you voted for this, but like, I care that people are dying,
Steven,
obviously.
do you care that
But
Corey Compatore
I think you can
died?
joke about it.
No.
Corey, do you care? Or Steven, do you care that Corey died?
I mean, it's bad when people die, but I'm not
Do you think it's funny?
spill any milk over it? I mean, a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you can make a joke about it, and it could be absolutely funny, 100%. Yeah,
So why
that's,
can't
Okay.
we make a joke
What I'm
about
pointing
the
out is that
October
there is an
7th stuff?
underlying
Hold on, no,
malice
stop,
that you are
please.
denying.
Counterpoints. Why can't we make a joke about the October 7th stuff then?
do it.
That's funny.
What the fuck?
What's
Make
that?
a good joke about
what?
it.
The October 7th stuff, right? When Hamas came in, got all those Jews. It's funny, right?
Yeah, you can.
We make a joke.
I just expect people to be fucking pissed off about it and stop supporting you politically.
What was the God? Do you think somebody here is going to say we can't joke about Jews?
Well, no.
No.
Wait, hold on. Soy,
Hold on.
do you think we can make jokes about October 7th? Are you okay with that?
I would never make a joke about a Jewish person. That's not my thing.
I make
Bro.
a Holocaust and October 7th jokes all the
No,
time.
yeah,
What
no,
the
I
fuck do
think,
you mean?
of course they're
Well, yeah,
fine.
of course.
No, who gives a shit?
Jesus.
Hold on. Do you think that the people making jokes about it on October 7th drew people to their side or pushed them away?
Yeah, and
I
is
don't-
there an
no,
undercurrent?
wait.
No. Is
People
there an
making jokes
undercurrent of
about October
malice?
7th
This is
has nothing-
relevant. Is there an undercurrent of malice within the joke?
Yeah, it was the policy. It's not the fact that people like Hassan or whoever the fuck are making jokes about October 7th. It's the fact they actually legitimately 100% support Hamas. That's a big difference.
No
think
shit.
that-
That's why people are pissed off, because they actually think that you don't give a fuck when conservatives die because they're the
Oh
victims
my
of their own
God.
policy. Yes.
Bullshit.
What?
Oh
No,
my
don't bullshit
God.
me. That's literally the
Destiny
point. What the fuck are you
Destiny
talking about?
really thought that God smited those girls for masturbating with NordVPN? Seriously?
No, they
No,
think
no.
you just don't
No,
care
no,
No,
about
they
you're
think that
missing
you
my point.
don't.
You're
You
missing my
think
point.
that they think that
You're missing
they
my
think
point.
that you
They
feel
think
that
there's an
Republicans are
underlying
subhuman.
malice that you legitimately do not give a fuck about these kids. And I'm pretty sure I heard that you don't give a fuck about these kids. I'm pretty sure you said you don't give a fuck.
I'm just
Maybe
tired of the
like
Mott
a-
and Bailey.
and like
I'm
a
just so
general-
tired of this Mott and
There is no
Bailey.
Mott and Bailey. No one
Yes,
here
there
said you
is.
can't make
You're
a
doing
joke.
it. You're doing it over and over again. I am saying being mean loses the middle, and then you guys go, "So you just want us to be nice and not mean jokes?"
wait.
No,
Address
but
this
the
argument.
way
Address
you're
this
being
argument.
mean
Stop.
in
Address
these
this-
specific
address-
instances is alienating people to your effect, like detriment.
Not
of
not
the-
policing, by the way.
Wait,
This
wait,
isn't
wait,
But the
where's
policing.
Republicans are
Where
mean
is
and
the
they
evidence?
won.
I am
We
policing.
don't even know if
Wait,
them being
where
mean
is-
is what
what
made
is
them
the-
win, Stephen. What's
Okay,
more
so-
likely, Stephen? Do you think that Trump won because he was divisive and mean?
Yes.
Or do you
Yes.
think he won
Yes.
because he had 8 years of
Be right back.
campaigning, funding behind him, and Kamala had 3 fucking
What
months?
was the campaigning that he was doing? It was
Being in
mean
the
and
eye of
being
the public.
divisive. And how is
Being in the eye of the
By
public.
What?
being mean and
Yeah,
being divisive.
Jeb Bush was in the
That's
eye
I
of
don't
the
think that a
public
lot
for
of
way
people are
longer
like,
than
yes,
Trump.
this is why I love him. The issue
That is
Kamala has
exactly what they
3
all
months.
say that. What do you mean?
I love
Every
this
single
guy.
incumbent lost. Did every incumbent just lose because their alternative was just mean?
Kyla, have you been to like these Trump rallies where they're all like, "God, I love how mean he is to Democrats." All these shirts are like, "Yeah, Trump that
Yes,
bitch."
of
We
course.
they
And I've
love
been to
it. They
Democrat
fucking
rallies
love
Where
it.
they also love how mean Dean Withers is to Republicans. Yes, partisan hacks love when you're mean to the opposing side. This
Thank
is
you.
obviously
Yes,
fucking.
that's it. That's what we
I'm
agree.
not
Yes.
talking about partisan hacks. You
I
stupid
am.
Matt Bailey
I
fuck.
would rather,
I am talking about the middle. I'm talking about the
is
middle.
not- if you want to spend your time trying to convince those people who are undecided somehow still, then you can do that. It's just not a very efficient use of time. If you want to talk
Was
from
that
a moral
who
perspective, that's
won
fine,
in
but it's not effective.
2020? Who won in 2020? I can't remember. Who was it?
Biden did?
Wasn't Trump mean like the whole time?
Yeah.
Are you
Oh,
saying
so
that we
why
think
didn't-
that
why
being
didn't he
mean is the
win?
delimiting factor
Because
between
COVID
winning and losing?
literally destroyed his entire fucking
Right.
attempt to-
So do you guys? Well, Soypill, you actually implied that the reason that he won this year in 2024.
No, I'm saying
but
being
Trump,
mean
is because
doesn't
he was
lose
mean,
you elections.
That the moderate didn't care
No,
so
I'm saying
much.
no. That
We
is
don't-
not the reason
You
people
have no
win. It's
evidence for
not
that
the reason
claim.
people lose.
You have no evidence for that claim.
What do you mean? He won.
We
That
won-
my point is this is not a thing that's driving away so many people that it loses you elections. That's what I'm saying.
You
Not
have
that it is
no
the
idea.
reason people win.
You have no idea if that's even true. You
He
literally
won.
said
He was
that
mean
Trump
and he
won
won. That
because
is
he
my
was being
argument.
mean. He was
He's
divisive
mean and he
getting
won. My
Trump-
argument is that
he
it did
just
not make
said
him
it.
lose.
Steven just said it. You don't get to run away from this. You guys literally said that him being mean and divisive got eyes on him, which was free campaign money,
sure,
which
yeah.
is what got him to win, and that the moderate didn't mind it.
Okay,
right?
just to be
And in
clear,
fact, they
there's
enjoyed them
multiple
being mean
things
to the
happening,
wokes.
and it is a very
who-
popular thing among his base. That does not mean it is the reason he won, and I'm not saying that. I don't think Steven's saying it either.
Like, here's
Okay,
a really
so
simple question.
stop.
Let's say that Trump
Here's what
became
I'm
more-
asking you.
Wait, if
Don't
Trump became
Mott
more
and Bailey
inclusive with his
me.
That's
rhetoric-
not a
if
Mott
Trump
and
became more-
Bailey.
if-
You're
wait,
just straw
hold on,
manning.
There's a
hold on.
Mott and Bailey.
Hold on.
There's a Mott and Bailey.
Hold on. Let Destiny go. Let
If Trump
Destiny go. I
became
wanna
more
hear his
inclusive with his rhetoric, would he do better or worse?
I think hard to say. I think potentially better, probably better actually. I think the moderates would hate him a lot less. Doesn't he have like one of the lowest
He'd win
ratings
by
of
more.
like?
He'd win by
like-
more if he did that. If he
Yeah,
wasn't
people don't
like a
like him.
He
fucking
has low ratings,
divisive
but among
bitch,
Republicans,
he would win by
massively
more.
high rating. He has a
Yeah,
massively high rating.
among partisan
Yeah,
hacks.
because
But
he's
I'm
a
interested.
hardcore
Again,
fucking right
I'm
winger.
interested in the moderates, in like the 30%, right? So yeah, of course the Republicans like him because he's getting sick dunks on the left, and I think that that's shit. I think he would have way more popularity if he was less divisive and nasty.
And not just
Absolutely.
that. there's
Which
clear evidence for
Republican
this.
in the primary do you think he should have
hold
been
on,
more like?
I was talking. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you. Listen to you for 10 minutes. So we have all the fucking right-wing centrists or whatever, which, by the way, Steven, you said no centrists exist. It was me that you were describing that doesn't exist. But we have Konstantin Kisin. We got his fucking schlubby glasses fucking person. We have Lex Friedman. We have Joe Rogan. We have all these people
Richard
who were
Hanania.
super left 5 years ago, including Andrew Schultz and everybody on his fucking podcast. And what did they do? They used Trump as a fucking Rorschach test. They read in what they wanted to see because the left fucking pissed them off while not paying attention to what Trump said at all. And then they voted fucking right in the last election. So
Why did
pretending
the
that
left
these
piss
people
them
are
off and not the
unwinnable
right?
or that
Why
it
didn't you guys
doesn't
let me
matter
answer your
is
question?
bullshit.
Yes, I understand you.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Why did the left
Bullshit.
piss them off and not the right?
What?
Why did the left piss them off, but the right didn't? When the right is so aggressive on
Because
all
they're
these
white
issues,
men who
Because
want to
it's
tell
vi-
edgy jokes.
It's vibes.
about
It's all
minorities,
vibes.
but
They-
not
Oh,
about dead
they-
kids.
they want to tell edgy
White
jokes?
men who want to tell edgy
That's
jokes
my
about
point.
minorities, not
Yes!
dead
It's almost like
kids.
Yes!
nobody's arguing about edgy jokes. So I feel.
First of all,
congrats.
Connor
You've
clearly is, and he
arrived.
just
We're an hour
agreed,
in,
and
but
he
you
just
finally got
agreed with
here.
us that
I've
clearly
accepted-
this
I've accepted
huge,
Soitel's
these
argument.
people,
I'm trying to police his jokes.
and
Okay,
Connor
Counterpoints
just
is in
admitted.
charge
Hold
while
on,
I
wait,
have
oh
to
my
use
god.
the restroom, so just-
Yeah, Connor just
Counterpoints.
admitted that these people who have these million like fucking people audiences who Kamala did not go on, and that is a big criticism of what she should have done, are people that want to be edgy, that want to be authentic, that don't want to be policed, and these people are now like young voters are swinging towards Trump. So somehow, how this is not a way that we should go. We should not be more like these podcast hosts who are like appealing to the everyman, the more authentic people. We shouldn't do that.
No,
Are you asking me
unironically,
or
what I'm
Connor?
saying
I'm
is
asking
this
Connor, 'cause he
specific
just said
joke,
that.
kind of like Kyla said, was more offensive than it was funny. So it was a bad joke. And by the way, actually, Steven made content about this where he's like, isn't Tectone the edgy guy? Isn't Asmongold the edgy guy? Don't they love shitting on Mexicans getting deported? Don't they love all this shit? Yeah, they do. They're fucking hypocrites. But just because they're hypocrites and they're stupid doesn't mean that you don't have to appeal to them.
But it does, because I can look at how do they grow their audiences? Who's the most popular political streamer in the world right now? It's Asmongold. Where are all of these
people
like,
do you think
incredibly-
you gained by asking or making fun of like dead kids? How many people do you think you gained when you asked if a fucking father of a 12-year-old if his daughter had sex? How many people followed you off of that
How many
tweet?
people did Asmongold gain asking about fucking dressing up as a Pokemon trainer to go to fucking catch illegal immigrants, or laughing about fucking Alligator Alcatraz?
Because plenty
Or
of people hate Mexicans. Most people don't hate kids.
Okay, so then the issue has nothing to do with, I guess, edgy jokes, whatever. It's just targeting it better, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh,
Well, that would be my argument, is that edgy jokes are totally fine. In the case of these edgy jokes, your timing made them more offensive than they were funny, so you took the
Wait,
L.
then your issue is edgy jokes. You can't say I would
My
prefer
issue
an
is
edgy
not
joke
edgy
at a later
jokes.
point in time. That makes it
My
not an
issue
edgy
is
joke anymore. That's the whole
Nope.
point.
No,
Yes.
no, I think making
Yeah,
fun of dead
timing
kids
is
is
like-
always an edgy joke.
Okay, so then then the time that you just said was completely irrelevant. You just don't ever want people to make fun of dead
Nope.
kids.
I literally didn't say that. Do you want me to restate
You
it?
just said
Yeah,
I did.
it was too close to the event, essentially. That's kind of what you're going for.
it made it probably more offensive to people. In the case of this edgy joke that he made, because it was so close to the event and it was quote tweeting people actively looking for the kids, people found it more offensive than they found it funny, which is why it didn't hit hard. I don't personally care either way. I do think it's ineffective in this case. I don't give a fuck.
I'll go ahead and stand on business that as a 40-year-old man, you shouldn't talk about 12-year-olds jerking off. That's my perspective.
Right. So is the issue edgy,
like
too edgy, not edgy enough? Like
eating fucking dogs. You shouldn't talk about deporting people. You shouldn't laugh about people getting killed or denying FEMA funds.
Are you, Stephen? What are you interested in? Growing the biggest audience or being a politically effective pundit? Which one matters to you more?
Yup.
Why are these mutually exclusive? Yeah.
Sure, but which one would you prioritize more?
I don't know at this point in time right now. But I mean, hold on. Are the most politically effective pundits the people that are like doing the inclusive to all people, or the people that are engaging in like the most derisive and the most like condescending rhetoric?
I don't think that Asmongold is engaging in the most derisive and condescending rhetoric. No, I think like the strongest that we have, he's just not. He's being nasty, but it's somewhere in between, right? Asmongold, for example, has some level of like being reasonable, being like, man, it's really shitty when conservatives.
Did he not dress up like a Pokemon trainer to catch illegal immigrants? Is that not derisive?
Yeah,
and then he made the Muslim jokes, and then he walked back the Muslim jokes because he pissed not even Muslim joke.
He does
did
bad
the
things.
Spicy fucking Muslim statement, and then he walked it back immediately because he knew he pissed off a bunch of people because he picked on his
walk it back because he got banned for a week. That was a different.
Oh, bullshit. Some people actually have feelings, Steven. He can actually feel some level of contrition.
You think Asmongold feels bad about offending Palestinians?
Maybe.
No, I don't. I think Asmongold, here, I'll be super straight. I think Asmongold cares about growing his audience. I think the most important thing to Asmongold is growing his audience fundamentally. However, some things I've noticed him say over and over and over again, for example, is he constantly tells his audience to not be racist. Now, I would put to him and say, it's a little hypocritical to go dress up like a Pokemon trainer and chase around illegal immigrants while also saying don't be racist. Feels like this is going to lead to the same thing. I'd be right with you on the hypocrisy of Asmongold. However, he's also doing things like when people were covering like the super fat chick that was talking about men's issues, he like told his audience like I think 5 or 6 times to stop mocking her weight and that this isn't anything about her like beauty or looks and that they should only talk about ideas, right? So I'm not saying that Asmongold is this perfect arbiter of what we should be like. What I'm saying is he's a pretty good example of retarded middle. He's a pretty good example of it. Somebody who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's just kind of like jumping on waves that will make him popular. And the question to me is, will Asmongold ever talk to you now that you've gone scorched earth with him?
Asmongold wouldn't talk to me before I went scorched earth with him. So
what about Tectone?
I have no idea. Probably not as well. Didn't we literally try to schedule something with him and he bailed?
No, he first of all, he bails all the time because he's ADHD as fuck.
So the answer's no. So
no, he has been absolutely willing to come on your show up until the point, unironically, he canceled the show on me, thanks by the way, because of the shit that you said about him. He's been willing to engage with you the entire time.
He was willing to come on the show and kept either missing flights or saying he didn't want to travel to Florida or just didn't do it. So no, I don't buy that for a second.
Okay, that's really handy. It's really handy for you.
Well, what was he planning on coming on supposedly like months and months earlier, but never managed to make his way down or had to cancel?
Yes, he was planning to come on for a long time, and he is a flake, but that doesn't mean that he's not willing to talk to you. And I have a feeling that if I messaged him and we had some level of rapport and asked if he'd be willing to talk to you pre all this, like you mocking him for his dad shit, he probably would have said yes.
I'm actually going to back up Erudite. He talked to fucking Chud Logic. He talked to Chud Logic.
Great that he talked to Chud Logic.
If
I have to play nice with somebody who's going to weaponize their dad's veteran
I'm not asking
military
you to
service.
play nice.
You are. You keep
no, I'm not. I'm saying be nice. No, stop. I'm asking you to be nice in the right ways and mean in the right ways. I think when you are mean to certain people is absolutely effective. When you humiliate people who have extreme beliefs that nobody would get on board for example, when that like Endure guy got mocked by Melina, that was super effective. We were super mean to him and it destroyed his career because nobody thinks you should endure abuse. It's a fucking insane thing to say, right?
Why
when you go after Matt Walsh,
on the Republican side? Why isn't the standard the same on the Republican side?
Because they're awful people, and to be clear,
do you think it's ineffective? Wait. Do you think it's ineffective?
Because they're unironically doing evil shit.
Do you think that it's hurting their political effectiveness when they're mean to everybody?
Yes.
Yes, now.
Yes.
They're getting
I think the
hoisted by their
issue-
own
the issue
petard.
is-
They
I'm
are
not
being
even
hoisted
joking.
by their
Okay,
own
just wait.
petard.
Okay, so you can say this, but just to follow. So a great example of this is the obsession with Leah Thomas. They obsessed over this swimmer girl forever, who I don't remember her. Maybe she was a huge piece of shit. Maybe she was making fun of dead kids and I just missed it. They made fun of her so fucking hard that not only did they get fucking all this trans shit rolled back in all these places, so they actually have like new laws passed because of it. They managed to get her fucking awards revoked at her school.
Yes, because going after vulnerability.
So like, where is the ineffectiveness of their messaging here? It seems like
because
it worked really fucking
all of these
well.
groups that you were talking about, for example, Leah Thomas, people are worried genuinely, and I think you are genuinely worried about this, is destroying fair play in sports. Leah Thomas is absolutely a person that we are under question about whether or not fair play is happening in sports.
Policy. I don't know why you're talking about policy right now. I'm talking about rhetoric.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Can I tell
in
you
the
how
case
they're
of
being
all
hoisted
of
by
this
their own
rhetoric,
petard?
you can't shame
I'll
50%
just put my
of the
hand up.
population, not because it's bad to, but because it's ineffective. Now, to be clear, the reason that they're effective in shaming these groups is because they're smaller populations. Does that make it evil? Yes, I disagree with them shaming trans people, which is why I fight with them about it all the time. However, the reason why they can do it and get away with it and not necessarily lose everyone is because they're not shaming 50% of the population. If you shame 51% of the population who voted for Trump, unfortunately, even if you are right to, and I think you are, I don't think it's wrong that you
Trump
feel
said
embarrassed
that
by it.
Democrats
Stop
are pests that
interrupting
need to
me.
be excised and won the election.
Stop
What are you
interrupting me.
talking about?
Stop. I'm not done.
Okay, we'll keep saying something wrong.
God, you're so fucking impossible to talk to sometimes.
I'm mad.
I'm
Sorry,
done.
you're making me mad. Okay, cool. So Trump said that Democrats or the Republicans are saying that Democrats are pests that need to be excised from the fucking country, and they won. Like, this clearly is not like, oh well, it's because of the small group that it worked. No, it works when they demonize Demoncrats. It works when they demonize every minority. It works when they demonize immigrants. They demonize all these people, and it
over
works.
divisive rhetoric. Actually, they did. Tee ooh woo.
I'm saying it does not. I'm saying
pick.
this is so easy to understand. Hold on, Kyla. I know you're smart. You can understand this. Kyla, please listen to me because you're asking me a question. Kyla,
8 years of advertising,
Please.
and Kamala had 3 fucking months, and our incumbent fell into dementia.
I'm not disagreeing with you, and if you listened to me
lost.
earlier too, you'd know I'd said this is not the reason, but Stephen and I's point is that this clearly is not such a poison thing that it's alienating everyone if you can talk about more than half the country about like this and still win.
Okay.
On
So
my
what
list
I would
of
like to
issues-
say, I've waited patiently. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you. Anyways, so what I would like to say is that you asked for an example where Republicans are actually suffering for their rhetoric. And what I would say to you is it took a fucking decade, but what?
He said, don't say Epstein.
No, I will. I 100% will. Fuck you. Why would
That's just not a very good example.
Hold on.
Rhetoric at all. It has nothing to do with rhetoric. You're going to waste 5 minutes yapping on some most irrelevant shit in the world. Oh my God.
Shut up. I'm sick of your shit. All right. So they primed people to think that LGBTQIA are fucking groomers. They primed them to think that fucking every gay person was a pedophile. They talked about how the demon rats, do you know where I heard fucking demon rats? Demon rats are fucking pedophiles, and they're trying to groom your kids. They're trying to fuck your kids, and they're trying to make them trans and all that kind of stuff. So they did a decade of fucking propaganda about how pedophiles are the most unique evil on the fucking face of the planet. And then Donald Trump tries to fucking sweep the Epstein files, and it finally cracks the fucking base. Finally, there's something that they were primed in order to hate so much that even when their cult leader told them, hey, change your tune on a dime, 180 degrees, half the base said, fuck you, we're not changing.
Right, and Connor, the reason this isn't
my argument that you're not going to use it as an example.
No, the
Bullshit,
reason it's a bad example is because what you just described was decades of demonizing people, being incredibly mean, and taking all these marginalized groups and just absolutely disparaging them, and it working. And then the thing that's breaking is that he's now lying and saying, actually, I never cared about that. Also, Epstein's not a big deal. Not that he stopped being mean.
Why would you want to volunteer? Hold on. So do you think it was evil that they vilified gay people and trans people and fucking other groups in order to be pedophiles for a fucking decade? Was that good or bad?
Obviously that was bad, and I'm not advocating for the same amount of demonization, but that's not...
Wait. When you say good or bad with respect to what? It was effective. It worked, didn't it? How many times? I bet even you were probably...
It was very bad. I'm making a moral judgment.
Were you one of those people that were saying the most effective ad was saying that Donald Trump is going to be president for us and Kamala Harris is going to be president for they, them? Like, well, this is all hateful rhetoric that seemed to have been pretty effective, no?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
it
issue,
was
the
fucking
question
effective
is,
until they got
when is
hoisted by
shame
their own
effective?
petard. Do you want me to watch you guys go charging down the wrong direction for a fucking decade and then have somebody grab your underwear and give you a wedgie so hard that it goes through your fucking asshole and rips your body in half?
Can you
Because if
explain the
want me to
hypothetical?
let you do that, I'll let you do
If
it.
I can steal a Supreme Court justice seat, if I can have both halves of Congress, and if I can have a fucking authoritarian leftist fucking president for 8 fucking years, then fucking yeah, sure, I'll take a wedgie at the end of all of that. Okay, to
No,
eliminate
you've
things like
lost
fucking
your
Roe
morality.
v.
You've
Wade,
lost your soul.
affirmative
You lost
action.
it. Got
Just
it.
like, what do you mean? Yeah, no shit. You think the Republicans are like, man, we sure did fuck up right now, real bad because of this whole Epstein
This
business,
is
man. We
actually
lost
the
fucking
crux of the
everything.
issue. No. This is 100% the crux of the issue. Erudite and I care about people having souls and truth
Stop,
and all
no,
that kind of
pick
shit.
one.
And what
I
you
appeal to
just
the moderator.
said,
I appeal to the
what
moderator.
you just
Are we gonna talk
said,
about political
what you
effectiveness or
just
what's
said,
morally right? He keeps
what
helping
you
people
just
arguments.
said
Pick
is if
one.
you're if
hold
you
on.
win, who gives a shit?
He
That's
can
what
easily
you
argument
just
is-
solve
said.
this. Hold on,
hold on.
Stephen. He can easily just solve this by saying political effectiveness is tied to like
Exactly.
your spouse morals, which is
moral
But that's not.
morality.
But that could go either way.
is
That could go
politically
either
effective.
way.
I
So
agree, which is why the group that only had like 1 or 2 principles, because most people, by the way, when asked about the tariffs before the election, were like, well, Trump's probably lying about that. Teehee, right? Which is actually a number of things that moved a bunch of Trumpers off of him when they're like, oh, fuck, he
Did it
wasn't
really move
lying
anybody
about
though?
this.
Like I don't know.
Yes,
This is moving
yes.
anywhere
One of
near
my
as much as
close
it
friends who voted
I
for
don't know
Trump
how the
was
economy is in a year.
moved. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. One of my close friends who voted for Trump was moved as a result of that and him betraying his own court.
Erudite,
He's
in your
worth
own
it.
words,
Moved.
most people are stupid, and you're smart enough to have smart friends who can be moved on things like explaining policy
Sure,
sometimes.
I
so.
agree that my friends will be moved by different things. However, when we're talking about shame, we have to talk about what's effective, okay? We do have to talk about what's effective. And in the case of when shame works and when it doesn't, shame works when everyone disagrees with the thing that you're shaming. So if I shame somebody for being a pedophile, everyone's happy to jump on board because we all agree pedophilia is kind of not good. There was a really interesting study that came out in Sweden that was looking on the efficacy of shaming rhetoric on human rights violations versus climate change. And what we found is that when we shame people for violating human rights, people tend to jump on board. When we shame people for things like climate change, which is way less, people are clearly not on board with that
Agreed.
one, right? What led is people rallied harder to their climate change beliefs.
I don't know
So
if Stephen is, but I'm definitely not advocating for the scorched earth shame literally every Trump voter, because that's all we have. Because clearly we've talked about a multifaceted approach to this, and you can be mean and edgy and reach out to people, and these are both things that are not diametrically opposed.
I agree, and I think that you do that well many of the times. I think that you do that well. For example, I wouldn't be having like nearly as cogent of a conversation with leftists, right? If I was talking to leftists, I would have to go like way the back up. However, what I am talking to is when you talk to Tally, for example, I think that was a really good example of you failing these principles that we have talked about that you care about.
Well, hold on. My principles are when someone pisses me off, I'm going to yell at them. Sometimes I can restrain that, but when they're so stupid and also have the smugness and condescension that Tally has to go and say, hey, I know what the Democrats should do. Yeah, I'm going to call them stupid.
Emotion you feel.
I think you guys.
Do you think I think that?
Talk about kids masturbating in order to do that?
Hold on.
I think you should be able to
Ask
show.
Pill,
I
not
think.
Steven.
I
Steven
think.
wants to talk.
Connor, I think comedy is legal now.
Can I finish like my line of argumentation, yours, because I don't care as much about the joke?
Sure.
Okay. So I think both of you are too quick-witted to go scorched earth with as many people as you might want to. Now, Soypill, I don't think this is as much of an issue as it is for Stephen. My issue with Soypill is honestly exclusively the Tally conversation at this point in time from what I've seen. However, what I've seen from Stephen is that he goes scorched earth with people way too quickly. And I think he's too smart and quick-witted that he doesn't need to go scorched earth first. And I think it does turn people off of him. I think it makes him less effective as a political pundit. For example, there are so many people that approach me regularly going, man, I really miss when Stephen was like more good faith with conservatives. It feels like he goes off super fast. And then you'll talk to conservatives that you disagree with, like you're still respectful with Myron Gaines, who you think I think you probably think 99% of his takes
I don't
are
know
not
why you keep bringing up Myron when one, we have a respectful back and forth, but two, you will never ever find Myron doing a 2-hour show of like, I can't believe that Dusty made fun of these fucking children. I can't believe he. My guess is he would probably just say like, oh, wow, pretty edgy, bro, and that would be it. So this is not the same type of thing at all. Like this whole like obsession over being offensive is exclusively in the purview of like most of like the Republican lawmakers and the Republican mainstream media and a lot of the Republican alternative media. And it only works because liberals will do it to ourselves too. Like Republicans will be like, I can't believe you guys made fun of this thing, and liberals will be like, oh my God, they're right. That was so horrible that we made fun of those things. And then when Republicans do it, liberals don't even say anything anymore. We're like, oh yeah, it's the 47th.
Bullshit. Fuck
it's the
you.
47th anniversary
Fuck
of
you.
kneeling on George
Fuck
Floyd's
you
neck.
and
That's
bullshit.
such a fucking epic joke.
Fuck
Oh, good
you and
job.
bullshit.
I'm going to be
Fuck
honest,
you and
Stephen.
bullshit.
I'll be
Fuck you
super
and
clear with you,
bullshit.
Stephen.
No,
If you had
Erudite. I'm not going to let him
No,
get away
let
with
her-
that shit.
let
Fuck
Kyla-
that.
let
Fuck you.
Kyla finish. Let Kyla finish her fucking point. And then we can give it to you.
If
Literally
you had the
sit on my
same,
dick for 8 minutes at a time.
if you had the same social capital with Asmongold, Tectone, or Donut Operator as you do with Myron, I have a feeling that you would be able to
You'd be
leverage your
friends with
social
them.
capital now. They would probably cover for your joke a lot more because they'd see you nuance. And most importantly, as MAGA is blowing up right now, if there's any time to pull people away from the right, it is right now. You could leverage that social capital to do so. But because you've gone scorched earth with retarded moderates, you won't be able to do so.
That's fine, but to be clear, there's no world where that is the case. The two people with some of the most political capital on the right were Kyle Rittenhouse and Joe Rogan, and they got blasted immediately when they tried to stray from the party, even if their vote wouldn't have mattered. They got immediately blasted, and they came back into the fold fucking immediately too. This fantastical delusion of if you play nice with them, they'll play nice with you is only true insofar as you're not as much of a threat to them and their audience that you'll actually start converting people over to the other side. They just want you there to look like,
why?
oh, well, he's kind of like a nice liberal, and that's cool, and so we can like be more respectful of them when we vote to take away all of their rights at the ballot box.
But do you know why that the right is hardly ever moves over these days? Is because the left has made it clear, and Democrats have made it clear for the last, fucking 8 years, that they are not welcome and they will never be welcome in the Democratic Party. And they have done this over and over and over again on a personal level.
Yeah,
So
you're
yes,
spending
you
20
have-
more- no, no,
let me finish my fucking point.
waiting
You have
for the
Republicans
American
constantly.
citizens,
You have
good
Republicans.
Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares.
You have
Shut up.
moderates. You have moderates
My turn.
constantly, right? Who are just getting constant shit from the left, like, oh, how dare you speak up of this as a white man and things like that, right? How dare you do this?
We're
right?
not advocating for that.
More threats
Shut
and rape
the
threats
fuck up.
and what
He's
this
the moderator.
than I've
I'm
ever
waiting for the
gotten from
moderator.
Republicans, right? The leftists are going to hate this conversation way more than any rightoid would, right? The leftists are the ones that are going to cancel me. You're trying to cancel me for having you on. It's not the rightoids, right? It's this constant thing. We give them no off-ramp. We give them no place to go. And when people like Tali does come on and say, hey,
What did you just
my
say?
vote is winnable.
Whoa,
That's what
whoa.
she said.
What
My
did you
vote
just-
is
wait,
winnable.
What did you just say?
Bojo
You
comes on and
just
says,
said-
fuck you.
You just said that you're getting canceled more. Yes, by the left. I agree. We should stop doing it. We should embrace all of the hilariousness and the
Yeah,
edginess. I
you're-
agree,
you're on the-
100%. Thank you.
Yes.
Hold on. But Soipel, you already agreed that in the case of Tali, it was ineffective what you were doing.
To
And
try
if
to
you
win
want
her
to
vote,
say-
which I think is a waste of time.
If you want to
Yes.
say, I'm just too tired, I'm too weak, I'm too small bean to be big enough to like be good faith with somebody that just pisses me off, that just hits the
Whoa,
threshold.
I was
of
not bad faith with
intolerable.
her. I was mean to her. Those are very different
You were
things.
Okay, actually, I'll shut the fuck
absolutely
up.
No, zero bad faith.
No. My turn,
Hold
my
on.
turn, my
The
turn.
entire
I've waited.
time.
I've waited.
Okay.
You asked me to
You
wait.
were
Yeah,
insanely
Thanks,
bad faith.
thanks.
I had to
Appreciate it.
stop
Okay.
watching. I was so grossed out by
Okay,
the
so-
conversation, if I'm being honest.
Anyways,
Wow.
so
Are you going to vote for Trump? then?
moderates. Okay.
Canadian.
Who wins fucking general elections? Moderates or fucking extremists?
But your smugness
Your
makes
base,
me not like
your
you.
base.
Just be clear.
That's fair.
Bullshit. It's
I
fucking
don't
moderates,
think moderates are the
dickhead.
ones that win elections. No, it's if your base turns out and
Bullshit.
votes.
You think that 55% of the fucking
basic-
Republican Party is the reason why Trump won?
Wait, you
No,
just
like 100%
target these
of the
groups
people that vote
differently.
for them.
You can do both. You can do both.
You can do both. You can
both.
talk about kids jerking off and you can be nice to moderates and win the moderates.
Yeah.
That's not what
I
I'm
don't know what
talking
they- what do
about.
you-
I'm
wait,
saying
hold on. Can we-
you can
let's define real quick.
galvanize your base and also appeal to moderates. This is obviously true.
Sure.
Okay,
and I think those are
and
two
what
different
I'm
strategies.
saying
But those
is
are two different
Stephen
strategies.
and
If somebody wants to do
Soypill
that,
are
then you can do
alienating
that.
moderates intentionally
No,
so. They're
Stephen,
being
you're
fucking
joking,
dicks for their own
galvanizing anyone
feelings.
to vote for
If
left.
you're going to be alienated by comments like that from the left, but never anything that's a million times said more by the right, then it's not worth targeting. Fuck them.
Right, I don't know what to
There's
tell you.
plenty
People
of
talking
people
about
who are
dead
alienated
kids.
from the
People
right
don't
who
like
are
it.
available
I don't
for
know
you
what
to
tell
scoop
you.
them up, but you're being a piece of shit, so they're not going to fucking listen to you.
I don't think you realize how precarious you have to be with these people if you're trying so fucking hard to make sure that nobody is saying the wrong joke or something to keep them there. And then if you do, the microsecond that happens, then they retreat back to the most disgusting, divisive fucking person on the fucking planet. I don't know what to
Yeah,
say.
isn't
that
it
was-
sad? Isn't it sad that the social rapport that the left has with moderates and with everyone else is so poor that they're literally picking a piece of shit rapist over us because they find us so fucking distasteful?
Kyla, the point
that's
is
my entire
from
argument.
the entire,
that, yes, they are
That's our
retarded
argument,
for it.
though, But
No.
that's our argument.
Yeah, no,
No.
Kyla,
I'm
this whole
saying
time I've been
we should
saying the
figure out
shit
how to
with
be a little bit
Tolly
more
is a
likable.
waste of fucking
but
time.
Is shitting on the other side. That's why people dehumanize people. It works.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, progressives and liberals have been so fucking annoying for the past decade that the American people picked a rapist
Annoying
over
is
you.
different from being mean and being authentic and like actually expressing like a disgust or frustration with people, which you've been doing, Connor, and I think is very authentic. In fact, I appreciate when you yell in this conversation. But if you were up there being like, well, I can't be, if I yell at Soy, then he might not like listen to what I'm saying. No, I'm saying we need to put our energy into getting as many people to understand the consequences of their vote, whether that's for the Democrats or the Republicans, and anything past that is a waste of fucking time trying to tiptoe and walk on eggshells for people like Tolly, who, like I believe she said in that conversation, Kyla, no, actually, after all this, I still won't vote for a Democrat. So no, why the
that's not
fuck
what
should
she
I
said.
waste my fucking
That's not
time?
what she said.
She said she's not sure. She's still undecided, Whick, which is fucking retarded.
The worst part is, I bet you if you were way less heated with her, especially talking to you two ODD freaks, I can't believe I have to explain this, that when people start demanding that you say something,
I didn't
what's the
demand
likelihood
anything.
in that conversation you're going to say
I said
it?
she should
Because
go away.
I know for a fact that Steven still won't admit that he's dressing nicer because I encouraged him to, or that he's got an ADHD test because I encouraged you, because he's too fucking ODD. And I have a suspicion, Soy Pill, that
What
you're
is-
just
what's
as
ODD? I don't know
and
what
if
this
somebody
means.
convinces you to do something, you're going to be resistant, especially in a public situation where you don't like the answer, that you are going to forever.
No, I will
not
always
going
bite
to
the
be
bullet,
heated.
but can you explain what ODD is?
Correcting the record. Okay, the ADHD thing came from my lovely 3-time accuser, Cherry. So thank you. That she was the one that turned me on to Adderall. Number one. Number
That's
two. Okay.
crazy.
Number two.
Crazy.
Number two.
I helped book
the
your
issue-
neuropsych
the
test, you
issue-
motherfucker.
The issue. I don't even think I took a neuropsych test. I just did I got a prescription via telehealth because fuck those. It's not worth it.
Second of all, explain what
the
ODD
issue-
is.
The issue is OD is the name that we give dogs when we kick them violently. the
No,
children
it's
dogs.
not. That's not.
The issue is that if somebody can be persuaded by the other side acting at this like -10 mark, and in order to persuade them to the other side, like you have to act at this like +8, and if you drop 1 point, they're gonna leave. This is not a person worth holding on to. I just think.
But
there's
I am
something else that's
telling
not
you,
aligning there.
no, I am telling you that right now the Democrats' policy is so good and nobody understands it because they hate everything about the veneer of what the Democrats are so much.
And what is
Oh,
an
sorry,
overlap? Wait, Kyla. What is about the Democrats now is similar to what Steven's doing at all?
Nothing. I'm not talking about. I'm not even that interested in Steven's edgy joke, other than saying it's probably
just
not
in terms
effective
of, like,
for its
being
timing.
mean.
Yeah, like this
Kamala and
meanness
everybody
or
else,
this like
yeah, where was the
condescension,
mean-
like
Walls.
Yeah,
Was he
for
the super
example,
mean guy?
when
was Biden the
yeah.
super mean guy?
No, it's the
No.
people. It wasn't
He
the
was- you-
politicians. This is
you
what you
went
don't
high.
understand. People are influenced more by the people who personally attack them than they are by what any politician says. So
Okay,
when
but
you
then at
have
that
people
point,
in
then
their
we lose.
family,
We lose.
in
We
their
lose.
friend
It's over.
group
It's
or
over.
former
Hold on.
friend group,
You have to understand
coming
then that if
after
on
them.
our side, if we can just point to the Republicans and go, look at what the president says, look at what the vice president says, look what the Speaker of the House says, and on your side you're like, okay, well look at this. Twitter user 487,000 just said this, so fuck your whole
it's
side.
not
Fuck
just
them. I'm
Twitter.
gonna
It's
go vote for
people in their
Republicans.
real
That's
You're
what
not
saying.
Twitter user 487. You're not.
No, but I'm
It's
saying that, like, if on the left you can say, like, if we can say on the right, look, they're lying about Haitians eating cats and dogs, and they literally fucking admit it. You go, well, what about that one Kai run where CNN said fiery but mostly peaceful protests? Gotcha. And it's like, oh, well, if that's the standard, like, you're
That's not the
No,
standard,
come
motherfucker.
on.
That's
Come
literally
on.
the
$1 billion
counterexample.
worth of damage and 25 fucking
your
homicides.
career.
That's the fucking standard.
Your
That's the
career.
bad behavior. And you should
Yes.
call out bad behavior regardless of who's doing it. That's the other thing that fucking pisses me off. No.
Trump didn't even acknowledge
Don't
that he
act so
lost
fucking
the
obvious, you
2020
fucking bitch.
election.
No, fuck that. You fucking literally said in this debate, oh, this is the crux of the entire issue is I pushed you enough that you finally said all bad behavior is on the table because the right wing is doing bad behavior. As long as we win, I don't give a
Making jokes
fuck.
about people
That's what
being
you
mean
said.
is not all behavior. There's worse stuff in life than making a mean joke at somebody.
Yeah, we both
No
said we
shit,
shouldn't do
nobody said that.
misinformation.
Nobody said that. Nobody
No.
said that.
No,
They
Wait,
literally
nobody
just
said that.
invented a position.
Where did I even imply that all bad behavior is on the table?
So I'm muting myself because I'm putting on Miss Rachel. So anyways,
Wait, where did I
literally
say that
10
all
minutes
bad,
ago,
where did I even imply that
15
all bad
minutes
behavior
ago,
is on the table?
I'm answering your question. You asked me a question 10 to fucking 15 minutes ago. You literally said, like, as long as it gets me a fucking hardcore left-wing fucking whatever, you were actually excusing a shitload of bad behavior. You might not have used the word
bad behavior or edgy jokes. When am I excusing bad behavior?
Yeah, we both said
Dude,
no
literally
misinformation.
rewind the tape.
We don't want to
Bad
steal the
behavior.
election.
Bad
We don't want to.
behavior.
Rewind the tape.
Bad behavior is going scorched earth on people who don't deserve it. It's making fun of Tectone's dad because he doesn't like your edgy joke. It's, for example,
Tectone brought his dad out to fight somebody to wield him as a fucking veteran or whatever. So his dad is fair game. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it works.
saying that he's just sad because the girls died and he has less victims now makes it fair game because once Tectone's dad was public as well?
I'm saying that if you're going to weaponize your dad to win internet arguments, then at that point, I mean, it's kind of out there. Yeah, no shit.
I'm pretty sure
that he came back at me and he tried to make fun of me and my son or whatever. It's like, oh, it's fair game. You know,
yeah,
I
was fucked.
for my skin. It's not fucked at all.
Fucked.
What do you mean? That was the level that we were at. It's not. That's where we were.
Is.
I feel a little policed right
you
now,
guys
Kyla.
like Mollocks game your way down to hell. Just because you Mollocks game your way down to hell doesn't mean that that's the type of engagement.
In hell. They're already in hell and they're winning down there.
I agree.
They're
and so
winning.
they're not. They're literally not.
Literally are.
What?
Literally.
No, they won the election in the major bet again. Why? Why? Is it because of edgy jokes and meanness?
It certainly didn't hurt them.
Do you think that that's why they won?
I know that Nikki Haley and DeSantis didn't even get a debate with the meanest guy on the planet, so it seems like it didn't affect them too much being mean.
Yeah,
Okay,
was it Schultz or who came on and said that all Puerto Ricans live on an island of garbage, and they actually were able to turn that into a promotional thing where Trump drove around in a fucking garbage truck and then won the election? Like, it clearly doesn't fucking matter.
Yes, left.
Because when Biden said,
These Republican pieces of shit.
No, but
you're screaming about how often Republicans are.
Kyla, but then when Joe Biden, do you think Joe Biden's mean, Kyla?
I don't need this.
Do you think Joe Biden's mean?
You don't need to convince me that Republicans are.
I'm not.
in
No,
hell
this is about Joe Biden.
because
Do you
they're
think Joe
pieces of shit.
Biden's mean? Do you think Joe Biden is mean? Does he? You think?
No.
Okay, so when he says, "Hey, the people who call all Puerto Ricans garbage are garbage," and they use that as a promotional thing for their campaign, and then are able to win off of that, what would Biden do?
That's not what they won off of, you stupid motherfucker. What I am saying to you,
it clearly
is that
fucking helps.
What I am saying, no, it did not.
You
What
think
I am
that? No,
saying
you
is
think that they
despite-
still
let me
post that
fucking
picture?
talk. You gotta let me talk now. What I am saying is that despite how awful they are, despite the fact that their principles are in hell, people still find them a better choice than the Democrats. And I am saying that the reason why the Democrats are so disliked, despite our principles being higher, is because of shitty behavior, particularly because we are the side that says that we're the moral good guys. The Republicans aren't doing that anymore.
Wait, so your argument is we lost because we say, like, the Republicans all were like so much for the tolerant left. That was the reason.
I'll say this again. The reason that we likely lost is because Trump had about 8 years of campaigning and Kamala had 3 months because her incumbency had dementia. And also something weird happened globally that the right and incumbents overall just failed, probably because of inflation post-COVID.
I think we both agree that is such a, you're right, that's such a bigger factor. And like nowhere, especially when Tim Walz and the whole campaign started calling them weird, was that the thing that was like, well, moderates were like, whoa, hold on, you're calling them weird? Like, we're not going to vote.
Mean.
Cool.
Right,
so
again,
there's
I don't need
time
you
to be mean.
I've said this from the very fucking beginning, and I'll say it again so that you can engage with me.
I know that.
So hard about my claims, but then stop saying you just want us to be nice. I've never for a second said be nice.
This is why
I think that this is weird was super effective because it's mean in an effective way. And what I'm saying is that when you're smug and nasty to Tally, it's ineffective.
That was smug and nasty, calling them weird.
Unfortunately,
is calling Republicans weird smug and nasty, Kyla?
Not to the same extent.
What you're like, hey, these people are gross, these people are weird, these people are freaks. Oh, but that's not smug, that's not condescending. Like what?
For your argument, you can do that, but then I don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
I just don't think it's as nasty.
Every single person can understand that if somebody says that's really weird, that it's not the same thing as being super smug and saying things like, here, let me pull up the notes. I think you should be embarrassed. I am only here so I can tell you to go away. It is unconscionable that you are here and talking in any way. Do you want me to keep going about all the nasty
I actually do want
to
I would make more nasty comments knowing how stupid she is now. Actually, keep going.
Okay. Do you think that that's the same thing as calling somebody weird?
No, I would say I'm much more aggressive than Tim Walz.
Glad
But clearly, so what level of smugness and condescension is allowed?
I'm not sure precisely, but what I am talking
Just
about
generally,
here is that there's
weird is fine.
I
Saying, hey, these
don't
people are
know.
stupid isn't.
No,
So
hold
what
on.
is?
You're not going to make me do this thing where I stick out
okay,
a ruler.
I'll give you
I'm
one
not
soy
saying
pill
you
to
have to
talk
give the
about
exact
kids jerking
line,
off.
but like,
That's
what are
the
you
line.
advocating
You
for?
actually are
Because
saying
no,
you're doing
no,
the- you're
That's
doing-
the line. I
you
gave
can
it to
have you can have
I
a
mean,
more
like, at what
ambiguous.
point
Hold on,
does
let me listen. No,
100,000
no,
grains
I'm
of
not saying
sand
that.
become
No,
not
here,
a heap,
let me.
but just a grain
you can
of
stop.
sand.
You can
I'm
stop
not
straw
sure
manning it, and I'll explain it to you,
precisely, but I
Kyla.
can
I'm not
look at
asking
a
for a
heap of
precise
sand and go,
definition.
"That's a
What are
heap,"
you
and I can look
advocating
at a
for?
single grain of
What
sand
are
and
you
say, "Oh, that's a
advocating?
single grain
What are
of
you
sand."
advocating for people like Steven and I who are edgy in ways that you don't like, clearly in some ways, and not in the other ways because you're okay with being mean?
Not the edginess
What
at all.
I'm saying that if you listen, I'm agreeing with you. I understand
Sure.
you don't hate the meanness and the edginess, but then what is allowed? Because it's like, well, here it's allowed, here
Soy
it's
pill.
not, and it's like,
Soy
well,
pill, I want to answer your question.
well, that's
genuinely.
cool, but I'm not
You gotta let
asking
me
you.
answer
So
it, and then
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then hold on.
Don't talk about
Hold
kids
on,
jerking
I gotta
off.
be
There's my
moderating for a
line.
second.
Answer
Hold on.
without saying scorched earth. Good luck.
Okay, we're gonna go. Soy's going to finish his question. We're gonna give Erudite a chance to answer it, and then
Yeah.
Counterpoints. I know
I'm
you're
not.
in, so we're gonna
I'm
get
not
you in.
trying to Loki's wager you into the exact position. You have to say this is the line because obviously you're okay with edginess. I know you are. In fact, you were very nice. You clipped the clip of me saying retarded. That was very nice of you. But when is it okay? When is it not? Not explicitly, but what are you advocating for us to do? Is like, oh, this is like, are we going to call out people every time they cross the line, whatever that arbitrary line is? Are we going to waste a bunch of energy having these conversations every week, every time there's an edgy joke that goes too far? What are you advocating for?
What I'm talking about is two things. I think there's some good general rules I think Connor has outlined. In general, probably avoid children. People don't like children shit. Children
They
are
don't even
super
vote.
special. Parents do. Sorry. People like kids. I don't get it. Kids can be fucking
Yeah,
monsters,
we know.
but
That's
people
why
like
they're trying to cover
kids.
up the Epstein list now, right?
That's true. That's true. They like touching them too. However, in general, I would avoid standing on the graves of dead children, especially within 2 days of them dying. I think in
Yeah, it's better
general,
to swim
you're
over them
always
like donut operator does.
you're
True.
always going to lose that object battle. You just always will. It's never going to be a good stand for you. However, more than that, when I'm talking about like broader, like how we should orient ourselves, I think we need to look at the people that we are talking to, and we need to understand where they are and have a fundamental principle that doesn't say, if you're a Trump voter who's too stupid to engage, I now get to go scorched earth, and anything I say and do to you is okay because you're not worth my time. I think that that is fundamentally an anti-democratic principle, and I think it's harmful to our movement to do. However, I think other people do it worse than you two. Unfortunately, you two were the two called in to do this, right? But these would be my principles. You don't have an orientation towards Republicans, that they are ontologically evil, that if somebody has voted for Trump, that they deserve to be treated poorly.
And
I
I'm
think
not
that you
saying
need
we
to
should
engage-
either.
Your line for your scorched earth threshold is way too fucking low.
Is
It's more about
undecided
punishing
voter
stupid
who
people than
admits
it-
stupidity and is speaking as a pundit of
Yeah,
authority
it's
on a panel.
stupidity.
Yeah,
I
they
get
deserve it. They deserve
Stupidity-
all of it.
Stupidity.
No,
stupidity
I
is
talk to
not
a
the
lot
line.
of stupid
Can't
people.
be.
It's stupid people that are smug and in positions of talking down to an audience of people that I am calling out. And if you want to go back and watch how smug Tolly was being in that, you can, because Tolly's smug too, and that's fine. But I'm going to
She
call
was
it out.
not that smug. She was exclusively smug after you came in swinging, which, by the way, you earned, right?
Which is fine, by the way, but I said she was smug before I even went on, which is why I wanted to come on, because it was triggering me how she was speaking
was
as a
not
voice of
smug.
authority. Well, you
I
can
watched
say
the
that.
whole
All right.
thing.
Well, fine. That's your opinion on it. But the
What I'm
point is
saying is,
that a
my
smug
suspicion-
person
my
condescension or any
suspicion, she
pundit
wasn't-
that is
I'm
stupid
telling you-
enough.
I'm telling you,
Tolly was
she wasn't
perfect on her
smug.
panel. She
The
was
reason
perfect. She
that
did
you
nothing
thought
wrong.
it was
But
smug is because she triggers you, and that's fine if that type of person triggers you. Maybe don't talk to them, because I think you're pretty ineffective with them. Maybe because it's near and dear to
not
your heart, but for
trying to
some
be effective
reason
with Tolly.
you get more mad. You've already admitted it wasn't effective, and if you are just frustrated with conservatives that you want to vent your conservative exhaustion, you can do that. But let's not pretend it's fucking effective for a single fucking second, and let's be very honest about the psychology of behavior, which is that nobody is going to change deeply held beliefs by being shamed in that way. They never,
don't disagree with
ever
this.
will. Okay, great. So that's what I'm
Okay.
asking. Maybe
Okay.
avoid shaming people.
Counterpoints has
well-
wanted to go. We're gonna give it to Counterpoints, or he's gonna yell at me in his DMs. But go ahead. Oh, we can't hear what you're saying. Beautiful, wonderful. This is great. Dan.
Sorry, I'm working with children.
Fair enough. Oh, okay. So I guess he's not going right now. Okay.
Give me
while he-
give me a minute.
While he's doing that, the problem I'm having, and I'll step in here for a moment, is that it seems to be your line, Soy Pill and Destiny, for that matter, is if I feel like it, right? If I feel triggered enough, then it's okay. then I can do this. And I'm saying that it's not okay to just act on any emotion you feel when you feel it, that we
No, we're
should
not
be
saying that
better
either.
because being better.
Oh shit. Well, that is. I've
actually
never
being
considered
better-
that. I thought we should just act on any emotion we feel ever.
Yeah,
I
A
didn't
lot
consider
of
that
people
one.
are
Thank you.
behaving like
That's
that.
so right. Fuck. Oh my god, you're right. We shouldn't just act on any emotion ever. Thank you, Dr. Whick.
You know what? Sometimes people need to hear the obvious because
Whoa.
while they say
Why are you getting
I
so
understand
mean?
this,
Why are you getting
they're
so mad?
behaving
Well,
like they
Wick,
don't.
Wick, do not act on
Maybe
your
obvious.
emotions.
That
Can
was
you
very
lower the
condescending.
temperature
My
just a little
ODD
bit?
is spiking right now, so hard.
Your ODD.
Okay.
Your
Just
obsessive-
reiterating that the line for me is talking about kids jerking off. Just stop. Just don't do it.
Connor,
It doesn't
I
help
don't-
When we say
anybody.
kids,
Connor-
do we mean 16, 18? What are we talking? Are we including time in the womb like they do in Korea, or?
Let's go with Germany rules. I think age of consent is like 14 or 15. So anything
Jesus
under 15,
Christ.
just don't talk about it.
Okay.
Because Germans are pedophiles.
Wait, Connor, I have a question. Someone sent me this, and I actually don't know about this, but I think you have like a past feud with one of our mutuals, and it's like he sent me a video of you saying like I'm pro eugenics or something, and it's like, is that something that is also going to turn people
What?
off? I have no idea about this.
Yeah,
shit,
is that
but, like,
Gibbs? And
yeah,
by the way,
it's
I'll stand on
Gibbs.
business
It's
for that
Gibbs.
shit.
It's
Also, we
Gibbs.
say
Yeah, it's
eugenic,
fucking
by the
Gibbs.
way, that's killing kids, so that's a bad one
No,
for you,
it's
Connor. Good
no,
luck.
it's not. Literally, eugenics means good birth. So yes, I'm for CRISPR. I'm for eliminating genetic diseases. I'm for gene editing, the future of humanity. 100%. I'm
Oh,
for
okay.
good birth.
That's a lot more reasonable than it sounded in the clip.
Yeah, it's not eliminating black people or Jews from the gene pool. It's gene editing diseases out of human beings.
Okay.
Totally fair.
Never mind. True.
Nice try, Gibbs, you fucking dumbass.
He's been spamming.
He's in my DMs too. Okay. Hey.
Okay, let's just go
well-
back to. Could I bring up one thing?
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Tali is,
swipe bill.
if you guys are okay, Tali is very upset.
No,
now.
she's a waste of time. Don't bring her on. Absolutely not.
Bring her
I
on.
brought you
I support
on.
bringing her on.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, but I'll defer
not
to
a waste of
Destiny being
time.
mean.
And
I've
just to
already
be
been
clear,
mean enough to her.
If
Well,
she's a
you're
retard,
actually-
hold on. If she's a retard, do we all agree? Well, swipe bill.
The cheers? Yes, we all agree.
Okay. So you think I think she's retarded for a vote too, just to be super clear. I disagree with her vote. And I think her like grinding her heels in to refuse to say that she regrets it at this point in time is also fucking retarded. And I have this
Cool.
conversation with
Whoa,
lots of Trump
why are
voters.
you condescending? Is she not
However-
going to listen to you now?
No,
Well,
that wasn't
I'm
full
not being
scorched earth. That was
condescending.
just a little bit.
So it's just okay. So we can be a little mean, but not.
Do you guys want to be like
too
slightly
much.
good
Totally
faith, or do you just
different.
want to be bad
It's
faith?
totally different.
Well, the point is, I don't know what you're
These are
actually advocating
obviously
for
different.
because you're
Well,
saying
no,
we
no,
can
no.
call her
Stop, stop,
retarded.
stop, stop,
We can
stop,
call her
stop. You guys are
retarded.
both- You're literally using being bad faith by running away.
Scorched earth here. She was just being a little mean. Okay.
Yeah,
You should know
right.
the difference.
But then what do you? I agree, but what are you advocating for then?
I-
Because you can call her
first of all,
retarded. We're allowed
shut
to
the
call
fuck
these
up,
people
Owen.
retarded, right?
Hold
Shut
on.
the
Don't
fuck
be the
up
coach
for
there.
just
Hold on.
being a pot stir.
Go
Second of
ahead.
all, I said from the very beginning that I don't know exactly where the ruler is, and this stupid ruler argument is fucking retarded, right? I don't know where the heap of sand becomes like not a heap of sand precisely. However, here's a super key difference. I earned social capital with Tally. I'll call her retarded and still talk to her like she's a person and try to hear her side. And what I think is a big issue is that if you think another person is retarded, you have now elevated your position to them. You are the non-retarded person, you are the knower, and they are the unknower.
So you're
and
condescending to
unfortunately
her.
for you, that means you're not punching straight, and you have to act as though that is the case, which means that if you have deemed all these people below you, if they are intellectually and morally inferior, then unfortunately these standards for you are going to be higher. And if you act both as though you are superior and smug about that, everyone will hate you.
So how are
Everyone
you
will
not
hate
being
you.
smug,
Okay,
condescending, and
just
mean by calling her
housekeeping
retarded,
here.
saying you're smarter than her, and now talking to her and being like, "Well, Tali, this is what
I don't
should
think I'm
happen," but
smarter
you're
than Tally. I don't think I'm smarter than Tally at
so
all.
you're also retarded, I guess.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna do-
use retarded to talk about
Hold on.
people's IQ.
This
I
is
think
what we're gonna
Tally is
do.
super smart. I just think
this
that her
is-
vote was retarded.
Okay. No one listens to me on my own goddamn show, and this is getting frustrating. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read some super chats and make a little money today because honestly, it's more important than any of you or the topic or anything else. Then, again, unless anyone but Soy Pill vetoes it, we are gonna bring Tally on because
It's
she has
fine.
been talking
Bring her
about,
on.
like
It's
almost
fine.
this entire fucking show.
As somebody who's better than Soy Pill, I veto his veto because I'm
Whoa.
his caretaker.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
voting for Trump now. What the fuck? Don't be condescending to me.
Let me read these super chats. I'll go through them as quick as I can. Okay, so we're going to speed through them. $5 from Caleb to say humor is more powerful than heady rationalist rhetoric. Enough of the hand-wringing. Pandora's box is already open. Then 20 gift gifted memberships from Grassroots Hegemon. Thank you for the 20 gifted memberships. $5 from Hunter Young to say, for the soys on here, would it be more effective for Crockett to double down on Hot Wheels or to back down like she did?
Double down.
$5 from Fancy Teeth. This messaging isn't for normies. This pulls people from the aggressive far left back from the edge, and it on-ramps centrists to the left. It works. Zetsway for 20. The NordVPN tweet was a banger. Optics are for winning, but what is the point of winning if our memes die in darkness? Also, go look at what any pearl-clutching MAGA said back when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked. Then talk. Solemn Argus, thank you for the Tier 1 membership. Admiral Gibbs for $5. Counterpoints the Nazi. White supremacists trying to police jokes and language is peak irony and lack of self-awareness.
Hold on, I need to respond to that. Gibbs, if I could end your fucking bloodline, I would.
Okay. Yeah, let's fun.
Prove a vasectomy.
But Gibbs is white,
$2
right?
Yeah, sure. $2
Yeah.
from Deadly Sin to say at CP Sandy Hooks they were harassing parents of kids. $2 from Hunter Young to said red pill was effective because Destiny matched aggro. $20 from Grassroots Hegemon to say gender is a social construct. Sex is what I have with Destiny's mom. $5 from Better Methodist to say it's okay to be a tard. $10 from Malik to say put blank in a gulag is funny. Aw, your kids died. Should have voted Kamala is not funny. Jeff Lewis for $7 say I think more people respect a left-winger that's authentic than care about a stranger's dead kids. The medium is a message. $5 from Hunter Young to say civil rights was acquired by shaming and reducing explicit bigotry to shift the culture for enacting effective political capital. I'm gonna only read the $5 ones, gang. Okay, you guys keep spamming the $2 ones. We're gonna up the minimum. Hunter Young for $5 to say Chaz BLM fiery but peaceful is pointed at, but it's all just MAGA hijacked narratives that the weak-willed people here perpetuate. $10 from the Justice 35 to say as an actual elected Democrat in office, I find progressives and joke police divorced from reality. Voters don't give a fuck about your jokes on X. I would 100% have Destiny canvass for me. 300 canvassers are greater than jokes. $5 from the Daniel to say Destiny taking Divanese means he's either feeling amazing or terrible right now, depending on what stage of the high he's in. LOL. $5 from Will to say Whick said, when they go low, we go lower. I reject this premise. Can anyone actually defend that what he said was worse than things MAGA says? And then $5 from Soyadel to say Whick is... I don't know. No one listens to my panel. They just take in the vibes, okay? $5 from Soyadel to say Whick is giving us new content to talk about. $5 from Hunter Young to say Connor acknowledges MAGA is effective because they
What's up, Stephen G?
That are seen as a
What did I
oppressive majority
disappoint you
classes,
with?
That's why they flip with Epstein. $5 from Admiral Gibbs to say LMFAO, Nazi Points doesn't even realize he's being peak hypocrite this whole convo, complaining about edgy being edgy and making kids jokes. Thank you for the $5 Sulak for just a smiley face. $5 from Harvey Marvey to say, has anyone demanded DNA? Oh, okay. We're not going to read that one. $5 from Hunter Young to say NSC says the garbage truck didn't help but defends Tali Vibes, who admits to voting only on vibes, and we need to appeal to people like her, by the way. $5 from Feder Methodist.
Yes.
To say, I've no doubt that everyone on the panel was the smartest kid on their school bus for what that's worth. Let's not mention the length of Soy Boy's bus. $5 from Kyla to say what Kyla is doing.
Jesus Christ, bud. You're making a fucking arm and a leg today. How many more you got?
It's we're almost done. It's infantilization. $5 from Noonian Star to say you can be funny and care about people. Don't let those humorless edits have a piece of your soul. Use code SOYPILL to be based. $5 from Ace to say Tiny needs to stop crying about Trump if he's going to throw out the only means of beating him, aka winning election. And $10 from Jared W to say turns out those kids in Texas didn't need critical race theory to learn about systemic failure. Drowning in it works just fine. $5 from Testicle Johnson. If those kids were so great, then why are they dead? And $5 from Cage to say who's more effective, Erudite, Destiny, or BTC? And then $5 from Ace to say Soy doesn't understand that progs are a small part of the Dem
Love you,
base, and
Deathawaites.
Dems more so than the GOP need independent voters. Progs aren't enough to win. And that said, God, gang, give me more money. I'm going to bring on Tali at least. Okay. Now we can talk. Now the content's back. Tali, cam up. What you got?
Hello, sorry. I was just talking to Deb backstage. We're gonna bring him out too.
Why not? Fuck it.
Who?
Please.
Oh, Deb. Hi,
The
Deb.
Oh my God.
shortest, fattest otaku.
You interrupted our conversation, Wick. How could you?
Yeah.
I told you guys I was bringing you guys on. Okay, that said, let's get back into the conversation, right?
Sure.
Do you
I'll
feel? Yeah,
restate
go ahead,
my
Erudite.
criticisms of Stephen and Swipel since they're different. My criticism of Stephen is that he goes scorched earth too quickly with people who don't deserve it, and he
Oh, one more,
ruins opportunities.
$100. Someone gave me privately. I'm sorry, they gave me $100 to say
Yeah,
this.
fair enough.
Stephen is so deeply wrong here. Before the firefighter joke, his work had real impact, especially for those on the right. For many, he was the only exposure they had to someone on the left who was both intelligent and reasonable. The left is held to higher standards because they chose to hold themselves to higher standards. They don't get to fail because the moment they do, it validates the right's narrative that they were never better to begin with. Okay.
Just to be clear, higher standards, if that means to you about whether or not you're telling a joke, you are so beyond fucking retarded that I don't even know how you got $100 to donate. Unless that came from some government welfare program. It's probably being cut by Trump right now, so congratulations.
That was helpful.
I like the $100, wherever it comes from. So. ahead,
Gotcha.
Erudite.
Okay, so yeah, my criticism would be that Stephen goes too quickly scorched earth, and I think it's to his detriment. I think it loses him a lot of social capital that he could otherwise have, and that he could be leveraging in times when, particularly, MAGA is falling apart. And I wish that you would do better because I think you're probably one of the more effective voices on the left. My criticism of Swipe Hill is specifically your conversation with Tally. I found distasteful, and I was unhappy with it because I think that you generally hold yourself to a higher standard, and I would expect that. Even when Tally is retarded and won't admit that her vote was bad.
Okay, well, I'm much more calm now. So, Tally, what would it take for you to vote for a Democrat in the next election? What can I say to you to get you to come to my side?
There's not just one thing that you could say to me. And I just need to reiterate, I'm not saying that the Democrats should be spending any inordinate amount of time reaching out to people like me. I've declared myself no longer a partisan for the Democratic Party. And so there's a real question, I think, within the Democratic Party of what should the approach be for building coalitions. And you have people built in, the progressives and the more left-wing part of the party, who some of them don't vote, but maybe more of them are more likely to than the moderates, the people who are the disaffected liberals. So I'm not saying that this is anything that the left, that's Connor, I see you shaking your head. I hope that's not what they do. I'm with you, but I don't feel like I'm really truly not trying. I'm not trying to beg to be wooed. I'm here talking as someone who formerly voted as a Democrat and talking about, yes, all the vibes and the cultural things that ultimately pushed me away. I'm not pro-Trump. I wouldn't vote for him again. I just haven't come out and said that I regret voting for him in 2024. I don't know
'Cause
how
you don't,
much
right?
that'll do for anyone. I don't, can't change the past anyway. But I'm absolutely a winnable voter in the future. It's not going to be any one thing that you say to me, Soypil.
No, it's not about what I'm going to say. I'm saying what do the Democrats need to do to win your vote? I mean, like, you're a former Trump voter, and clearly we need to be listening to what you have to say about the state of the political vibes.
Tally, because I watched the content related to this, could I ask you a couple of things about like what was off-putting about Democrats?
Come on.
Or is this where the conversation should go? Like, 'cause I have
No, I
thoughts on
still
the
want to beat them up over their
conversation.
Mott and Bailey. I still want to
Yeah, well,
come at Stephen and Swipe Hill for making a beautiful Mott and Bailey and hiding behind it and being like, epic debate.
Wait, what is
by
the
the
Mott
guy."
and Bailey?
Okay, I keep on saying that being mean alienates the center, and you guys keep saying Republicans are in hell. They're in hell.
Because
They're
our
in
point is that
hell.
Republicans are the meanest they've ever been, ever. And this is the first
Yeah.
time they've like won the popular vote in forever.
But
So
you
how do you reconcile
wait,
those two
but you
statements?
because you've already acknowledged that the reason why they won all of this shit seems like it was a mixture of global trends and acts of God himself.
Not
but
just that, though. It
also
doesn't
being
seem-
mean is effective?
No, Trump did not win because of global issues. The Democrats lost because of global issues. How do you explain the fact that Trump swept with no competition the Republican primary after he lost the last election against the same guy who was supposed to be running again?
Why did he win the primaries? Because he has almost all of the like voices and names behind him because they were sick of Joe Biden. They wanted to get rid of Biden.
Yes,
and
just
he
like
was the strongest
hold on.
contender.
If I say why did somebody
He was
win
an
an election,
incumbent.
and you say it's because they got more votes than the other guy, that's obviously
No,
not what I'm
sorry.
asking.
Sorry.
I'm
When I
saying
say
that
an incumbent,
Trump's
no, I'll
divisiveness
just answer it.
obviously didn't-
The answer is what I'm saying, not because he got the most votes. Sorry, if I didn't make it clear enough. What I'm saying is that he was an incumbent, right? The reason why
He
was
wasn't an
successful.
incumbent. He lost his election. He was
Within
running
the
again. I
Republican
guess he
Party,
was-
stop being obtuse.
When I say
think
incumbent, I don't mean to use if the word is incorrect, I apologize. What I mean is he was the president for 4 years and had 4 to 5 years already of advertising behind him.
Why did he
which
win in
the years of
2016 then?
advertising behind a name is super important.
Why
What?
did he win in
Because
2016?
Hillary Clinton eats babies.
Because Hillary Clinton was so
No.
utterly
Why did he
unelectable.
win the
That's why
primary
Hillary
in
lost. Yes, he
2016?
won the primary. There were way more people.
Because
that
the
advocated for your
moderates
guys'
split the
strategies.
vote. No. Fuck this. I'm not going to have you rewrite history right in front of me. I know because I was fucking furious. Trump had like 37% of the fucking vote, and there were 3 moderates splitting the Republican vote. If those fucking cunts, Kasich or fucking Rubio, had dropped out, then we would have rallied around a moderate candidate, and we wouldn't have this fucking problem, and I wouldn't have to
Trump
deal with the
was a
goddamn
moderate-
Republican Party as it
Excuse
currently
me,
exists.
Trump was a moderate candidate. What are you talking about? Compared to fucking Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio, you're like staple neocons? Trump's policy-wise was a moderate in that primary.
Do you think MAGA is a moderate movement, Stephen?
In terms of, well, now we're moving south on the political axis instead of left to right. Hold on.
Do you
Wait, I
think
don't
that
know why
some
you're-
Republicans
Hold on,
saw
wait,
that
wait.
he was a repellent,
Let Destiny go.
incompetent piece of shit all the way back in
Trump-
2015?
Trump policy-wise was a moderate when he was running in the primary. The fact that he took like a non-committal position related to funding Planned Parenthood, the fact that he bragged about being in Hillary Clinton's fucking wedding photos and shit like that, the fact that he seemed like kind of indecisive or back and forth on like the Iraq war compared to like the hawkish neocons and shit that you had on stage, especially in the form of Cruz and Rubio, he was definitely more moderate than the other guys in terms of policy. He won because he was
Hold on. I feel like you're talking past my point. Okay. Well, maybe moderate is the incorrect word. But there was something called the Republican Party that cared about a republic and talked about the Constitution of the United States and talked about freedom of expression, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, family values, all that bullshit. That all existed when Trump was there. But Trump hijacked the Republican Party with a cult of personality. And some people, such as myself, saw that that was happening in 2015 and thought he was a piece of shit. There were 3 normal Republicans who split the vote.
You said cult of personality. What was that personality based on?
Wait, but we're talking about different people, though, and that's
Why
what
does it
Tyler
matter?
said
No,
earlier.
don't follow through. No. Why the cult of
Why does it matter?
personality? What? Because it was based on being mean and divisive.
And that's appealing to
40% of the Republican Party being dumb as fuck didn't have to do with the original point that we were making.
It's not about being dumb. It's the fact that it's effective rhetoric. It works.
I don't know
So
if
you think
there's
that
a
Trump
point that we
won
should follow down
2016
here. I
because
think
he
we
was
should probably
mean
move
and
to the next point.
divisive?
It
the
works
very
for
least-
certain
Because he
people.
tells
Wasn't
it
it-
like it is.
What? Yeah,
That's
wasn't
the
it way
number
more
one-
effective though because Hillary was like swinging at him super hard and he got to always claim counterpunching? Didn't that help his claims?
He
Trump
literally had his
derangement
audience
syndrome.
chanting "lock her up." No, it was not because Hillary swung first. Absolutely.
What do you
not.
mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? Trump was way more mean in that general election, and I was even asking why he won the primary. He was mean in the
Hillary
primary.
Clinton is a
I don't know
fucking
anything about the
lizard person.
primaries.
She's a
I
uniquely
don't- an
unlikable
act of
candidate.
God, possibly. It sounds like an act of God. Moderates were fighting over things and dropped.
Okay,
out
so
and
I
split the
can
vote.
answer
We're
to the
talking about
2016
different
primary.
people.
Just real quick, Tali, please. The 2016 primary, one of the reasons, the major reason I would say that the Trump won in that is because he's anti-Iraq war. That was why. And he was one of the few people on that stage who was anti-Iraq war.
No.
He was seen as, yes, he absolutely was. And he was seen as
Come on,
anti-
Rick. That's
agree
not the
with you on this.
reason he
He was,
won.
no, that was one of
It
the
is,
major
it is.
ones. He was seen as anti-establishment in the same way that Bernie was.
He was
right?
heterodox.
And he was seen as a firebomb into the system that was going to change it up. People didn't really understand. It wasn't his divisiveness so much. It was that he was seen as
Didn't
an
he
outsider.
shit on them all?
And he was
Wasn't he
Yes.
like super effective in the
He
debates?
was
Like
very
he was, like,
mean to all of them, actually.
Well, he wasn't just mean though, right?
He
He
was
was
just
mean in
mean.
the right way. No, he
Yeah.
was mean
What's
in
the
the
right
right
way?
way.
Shitting on Ted Cruz's wife and by
Oh
saying
my
his
God!
dad was
Hasn't
a
that been my
Zodiac
argument the
killer.
whole fucking time? You stupid motherfucker! I've been saying the whole time that he's been mean in an effective way, not in an ineffective
mean,
way.
though?
Yeah,
The
that's
only thing
why
he
we
did
keep
was go
asking what that
towards
means.
first.
People like when you shit on institutionalists for institutionalist type things.
Like
They
his
don't
ugly
like when you're
wife?
smug and
Like his ugly
condescending.
wife?
They don't like when you shit on
Was
Ted
his
Cruz.
wife ugly? Wait, was his wife ugly?
No, but she made that joke and he got really popular off stuff like that and calling
He wasn't
Rosie
ugly?
O'Donnell fat. Ted Cruz is what? Heidi Cruz is not that ugly. No.
Oh, do they hate Rosie O'Donnell? Is that or the period joke with Megyn Kelly or the jokes about McCain being a prisoner of war? Or,
Like,
like, what are all these
Kyla,
unpopular
Yeah.
I don't want
things
you to
that-
have the exact policy, but that's why
I-
we keep asking you, what is effective meanness? Because you're not against certain meanness. You're okay with certain meanness. What the fuck is effective meanness?
Effective
Probably
meanness
not shitting
is-
on dead kids and joking about them jerking off. That's probably the line.
Thank you,
I've said
Kyla.
it 4 times.
Thank you, Kyla.
Why? Is it because you can't contend with the point that I just made? Is that why you pretend it's a non-answer?
No, I just don't.
Well, so
like,
I'm
like
gonna
you, at
debate
least
with
you have a
you too,
line.
you
I'm
cunt.
not asking you.
Okay, wait. So is beating the shit out of kids okay, or what? Where? If that's the only 2 categories of things that we can't make fun of, what are the?
Come the fuck on. Come the fuck
what?
on. I don't want to do this heap grain of sand argument. I don't know
You keep
exactly
saying heap grain of sand. You're doing the Nirvana.
because you're asking me for it. Because you're
We're
asking
not
me for it.
asking you for an exact demarcation.
When you say mean right and mean wrong, these don't make any sense. We can kind of get the feels for it. In the case of the primaries, my understanding is that the Republicans were shitting on him first. They were making fun of him for not being a real politician, and he shit down their throats in return. He was more effectively mean at their own game, which is why it unleashed it, because he was
You can just
counterpunching
post
in the
hoc
first
rationalize
place.
any meanness, though. Like, how do we go? What's the strategy moving forward? What? Tell me right now. I'll listen, Kyla. What do I do? What am I allowed to be mean about? What am I not allowed to be mean about?
I think the thing
In
that Kyla said
general-
that was the most accurate is you need to pick your targets. So, and again, it's weird to talk about this when I'm talking about myself in theory too. But
I
it's
pick
not
you,
just
Tali.
me, people like me or other people with similar dispositions or whatever who are center left, center right. It also depends on who your audience is, who you're trying to speak to, who you care about influencing. It is true that there are lots of people on the right, obviously, who are totally okay with cruelty. Those are people who you're not trying to win over to your side.
Okay,
Obviously,
well, my
yes,
audience
they're
loved
in
it.
for
They gave me
eating
a
the
lot
cats
of
and the
money,
dog.
more money than
They're
I've
in
ever
for all
made
of
by
that.
shitting on you specifically and having a little 2-hour venting session. And then I went
Listen,
back and I made some
you're
videos
right,
to
you're
apply to
right,
Republicans.
because
Bad.
because the far left actually gets more pleasure out of
Do you think
attacking
my audience is far
heretics
left?
than they do attacking your
Yes.
audience.
Kind
It's
of.
far left.
It's the
Yes, it
narcissism of
is.
small differences. It's more fun to fight
Yes.
amongst people who are closer to you
Right.
tribally than it is to fight the opposite.
And
Because
if we
it's expected
were
that you're going to fight the opposite.
and if I was having a
Okay.
town hall with a Trump voter, I wouldn't do that.
So my advice, again, if we go back to it,
Yeah,
Stephen,
okay.
would be specifically this. I think I've already said it multiple
Can
fucking
we do it without
times.
saying scorched earth?
Yes. No. Sure. I'll drop the scorched earth for today. But also, why the fuck would that even matter?
Because it
Why
doesn't
that?
mean
What,
anything. What does scorched
it
earth
does
mean?
mean something. It
What
does
it
mean something.
Define it.
I can't. I've already told you I don't know exactly
like
where
when
the
the
heap of
lights
sand
go
is,
out.
but it's
It's when
definitely
the
over
lights go
50,000.
out.
No,
Like
stop,
you're
stop,
talking.
stop talking over me. It's definitely over 50,000 grains of sand. I know that for sure. And that's the stuff that I'm talking
What is
about.
the
In the
50,000
case,
grains of sand?
sure, one example would be right after a bunch of kids died, your joke has to be really, really, really funny, and it has to be more funny than it is offensive. Otherwise, it won't
This
hit
is a
well,
mean
and it's
answer. I don't
not
understand
good.
what you're saying. You're not saying anything of it. You're not saying that scorched earth or 50,000 grains of sand. You're just saying that the sand has to be appropriately colored. So then all these jokes are okay as long as they're funny enough? Or what?
To some degree, yeah, that's how humor fucking works. Typically, you decide whether or not a joke hits or not is its
so then
level
this
of
whole
offensiveness.
conversation
It has to
has
be a little
nothing to
bit
do
more
with
funny.
Then this has nothing to do with being too mean or nothing to do with going. It just has to do with being funny enough.
No, in the case of the joke, I'm giving you a specific answer. My answer to you specifically is that your threshold of when you go scorched earth, which I guess, do you want me to describe it? You get super nasty, you go after them, you don't talk to them, you make a bunch of insane comments about them that go viral, and then that person will never want to fucking talk to you again. That's what I mean by scorched earth. The shit that you've done with Asmongold and that you've done with Tectone. My criticism for your meanness specifically is that I think that your line for going scorched earth is too fucking low, and you are losing a bunch of retarded
What should the
moderates
line for
who would
going
be
scorched earth
way
be?
more open to talking to you if you were way less scorched earth in the way that you didn't go scorched earth with the red pill. You never
is the-
fucking did.
I don't even know what you're talking about when you say I never fucking did. There are a ton of these guys that I blew up. What do you mean?
Okay, you haven't blown up Myron, even though he made monkey KKK jokes.
I've kind of attacked Myron before, but I don't know if
Not
like,
scorched
he hasn't,
earth.
I say that his shit is crazy. I don't know what else I'm supposed to fucking like. I make fun of the fact that he says the N-word. He's not really somebody who probably should be able to say the N-word because he's like fucking Sudanese or whatever. Like I don't like.
It's
there are plenty
bad.
of
What do you
red
want me to
pill
say?
guys-
What?
There are
Okay.
plenty of red pill guys that I've gone like super in on. I've gone in on the fucking
Sure.
tapes a ton. I've gone in on a ton of other people. Like what Myron
Sure,
is like
yeah.
totally outside of like my area and outside of like everything that I do. If he was the top streamer on fucking Twitch saying fucking
Sure.
insane unhinged shit, I'd
Scorched
probably be
earth.
talking about him a ton
Scorched
more.
earth. is whatever you need to do to blow up the relationship, whatever that would look like, which there's absolutely, there is absolutely things that you could do.
Make fun of
No,
on the right
it
in any
can-
capacity
no,
whatsoever, because
no.
that's what it takes. That's all it takes
Wait,
to go.
you're
scorched earth on
allowed to
them.
go scorched earth, you stupid motherfucker. I've already said,
what are we
just make
talking
sure that the
about?
people that you go, make sure that the people that you go scorched earth over actually fucking deserve it and have earned it.
Did deserve it. He was never going to talk to me. He was dodging every single conversation. Even when he got banned, he still dodged conversations, and he's making the most disgusting, abhorrent things possible on Twitch. And he's got the largest audience, and he's brainwashing to be fucking mega sycophants. What more would I need for him to go scorched? Does he have to personally make fun of me?
First of all, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what that line would be, but Myron has said way worse shit. Way fucking worse shit, and you have not nuked that relationship.
Because Myron is not in any area that I
not
communicate
nukeable?
in.
Not
I
nukeable?
don't know what I don't even know how many viewers their fucking podcast gets right now.
Who cares? What the fuck? Who cares about that shit? I'm talking about the level of social capital you have with people and how much you're willing to nuke it if they say things that piss you off. With Myron, you always couch what you're saying to some level of degree because you have social rapport and you're interested in maintaining it while criticizing him, which I think is the right thing to do.
You're just wrong. The problem is that Myron is not like a soy fucking pussy. So you look at that and you're like, oh, Steven must not have upset him. But that's not the case. I made fun of the fact that I think his girlfriend had a fucking OnlyFans-ish Instagram. I made fun of the fact that he comes from the wrong place. We say the N-word. I'd call him a crazy conspiracy theorist all the fucking time. Like, I roasted the fuck out of Fresh when he had his whole crazy thing blow up. Like, I've gone in on him a ton, but you don't see Myron freak the fuck out because whatever, we fucking make fun of each other and he doesn't take it personally at the end of the day. Like, that's it. But with Asmongold, if I say fucking anything, it's over. And you're like, oh my God, you went scorched for them. That's his strategy, but you're playing into it. Like, if somebody can be that disgusting and that mean to all sorts of other people and they get that turned off because somebody makes a comment about them, then fuck it. Like, who cares? You were never going to appeal to this person anyway. You're playing their game.
First of all, what I'm saying is that in the case of Myron, I think you've done the right thing. I think part of why you can get away with being so critical of him is because you have a lot of social relations.
What's the difference between Myron and Asmongold?
One of them
will
is
talk to me. I could debate Myron at any point in time.
So Asmongold might be a character where you can never talk to. That's super possible. I don't know if that's true for Tectone. In fact, I'm very confident
he
that's
dodged
not
however
true.
many conversations, and the fact that he's now fucking slurping cum at a fucking donut, you know.
Come on, somebody flaking
tea
after
driver or
saying
whatever.
yes.
No, I'm good. He didn't flake. Why do you think it's so accidental? These people are not flaking, they're dodging. It's obvious. We have Discord. There's a million ways to talk to somebody. I don't know how you believe somebody's like, oh, whoops, I can't travel, or oh, whoops, I can't make the show, or oh, I can't do a Discord. No, obviously the people are dodging, and then they rely on your understanding and charitability to just further that narrative. Well, they continue to act like a fucking insane person, and then the second you say something mean about them, a whole bunch of people love you, like, oh, well, look, it's because you burnt the bridge. There was
sure,
a bridge.
I think.
Can I jump in on this terminally online conversation? Because Kyla, every single time, every single example, it's fine. You've talked enough.
Let Kyla finish, and then you can go. I promise.
Okay, what I'm saying in the case of Asmongold is it's possible that if you had warmed up and gotten a little cozier, that he would have been willing to talk to you, right? People flake all the time. Maybe Tectone was just dodging. Maybe he was actually flaking. It's super hard to know, but I definitely don't think that because he flaked a couple of times and he has some bad takes, that I'm going to nuke the entire relationship and any potential of talking to this individual. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's harmful. I think it's unuseful.
It was literally impossible to warm up to Asmongold any more than we already had. Like, Asmongold was literally about to invite Dan on because of this whole fucking crusade against Twitch and everything else, and Asmongold even flaked on having Dan on. So no, that was never going to happen.
Yeah, Kyla,
intentionally so, not by accident. Okay.
Kyla, my issue is like every example you've had, and obviously this is kind of hard to like, project into the future, but they're all post hoc rationalizations where, well, Destiny got a lot of shit for this tweet, so this was a bad tweet, versus, well, this one really worked because clearly it's working, you still have that relationship. And like you've praised and you've
rationalization.
Well, here's the thing. Well, let me finish. We'll call it something else. Okay, look, the point is how much energy are we going to spend worrying about which eggshell we're going to step on for these people that clearly are able to flip-flop back and forth on very little things versus spending all of that energy into our own side, informing the policy. If you can praise me for calling a congressman, let me finish, Kyla. You didn't let me interrupt, all right? If you can praise me, which I thank you, for calling a congressman retarded, and now he's inviting me out to his town halls, and now like there's clearly not a line. You can't define it. I can't define it. Why even fucking worry about it? Let's go. I called him retarded. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, I'm being edgy in this situation. The point is I'm being edgy in a situation. The point is that edginess is not bad, and the witch.
If you had called him retarded, he would have nuked you. You said, when is Trump going to call you retarded, and are you going to get ahead of it?
Cool.
Which was fucking funny.
Yes,
and
great.
True.
So
it
the point is,
matters.
you can't draw the line. I can't draw the line. You have the examples you don't like. Kyla, please. Please, let me finish. You can't draw the line. I can't draw the line. I'm not going to spend energy wasting time worrying about what the line is when I don't want to spend...
On the largest political streamer? Are we
the largest political... You think, on Asmongold, you think that something I could say differently would make Asmongold start converting his audience to Democrats? You think something that Steven or I could do? What are we to do?
There are things that he could do to warm up and pressure Asmongold by being warm, by having some level of pushback that's still like toned and whatnot, that would pressure Asmongold, who is mostly just audience captured, to have Steven on. I do think that that would have been possible. And getting on those shows, which by the way, because of Steven's fucking comment, he's going to get nuked from most Republican shows because they are soy hypocrites. But also, now you can't talk to any of these people, which is fucking ineffective, which is my entire argument. It's
Holly's back right
stupid.
now, actually.
And if you want to do it,
Tolly's right here.
If you want to do it because you are mad and exhausted with conservatives, you can fucking do it, but don't talk to me about being effective. I think absolutely, Stephen, there are things, you're a smart guy, that you could have done to talk to Tectone.
Which one are we bouncing between? I keep forgetting.
We have already said from the very you're being bad faith, and you know that you're being bad faith. Because you know that I've already summarized the position that there are two elements to this, which is that our moral principles are downstream for political effectiveness, but I am talking right now more exclusively about our political effectiveness, and this is not a crazy take to make. In the case of Asmongold,
Kyla,
there's nothing you could have done. There's nothing you could have done to make Tectone connect with you.
For Tectone, maybe, but probably not. Not now that he's part of the new. Now that he's part of the Texas, sharpshooter group. No, I don't think so.
Why?
But Kyle,
that's because you nuked the relationship with Donut Operator.
Because those people all fucking hate me too.
No, it's because you nuked your relationship with Donut Operator, which is why he won't talk to you because he's now friends and lives in the same city.
Yeah, because I made a joke and he decided he hated me over the fucking joke. Started lying about our real life interactions.
Yes.
Why would I try so fucking hard to appeal to these people? If you want to do it, then knock yourself out. This is.
I'm not saying you have to appeal to them and you have to go to them and you have to grovel. But for example, you could go to Donut Operator in private DMs, for example, be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. You could, there's probably things and steps you could have taken to mend that bridge and have enough
so he can lie.
That the relationship didn't get nuked.
Sure, one question. Can you give me a single example in the past 10 years where a single Republican, either a lawmaker, president, alternative media influencer, or anybody online has ever done this ever? One example.
I don't give... None. I don't want to be Republicans. Wait, what the fuck are we even talking about? How the fuck are we going to say? No. How the fuck are you going to say that we are more morally correct, we are more morally upright, that we are smarter, and that we know better, but also we have to play the exact same fucking game? Really?
Hold on.
Really?
Destiny,
We have to play the exact same game, and yet somehow we're still losing. That's what you're advocating for. You're saying that we should. Yeah, you're saying look at all these awful things that they do.
They make mean jokes. That's the exact same game. It's making mean jokes. Is that what I'm saying? Is that what you believe? Anything? Okay, so nobody said play the exact same game. So I don't know
why the fuck you're listing all of the great evils and sins of Republicans to me. Do you think that I disagree with these things?
No, I'm asking you. You're saying that this is such a politically effective strategy is to mend bridges and try hard to keep relationships with people on the left. I'm asking if there's a single example of a Republican who's winning everything electorally ever doing this ever. One example.
In the case of building bridges, yeah, absolutely. Winning electorally, I would say like
who reached out to who to build a bridge and mend a bridge? When did this ever happen?
Let me think.
Today?
What?
Thomas Massey, he's doing a bipartisan bill specifically on the Epstein shit, and he basically went hat in hand to Democrats.
Didn't Ro Khanna draft that bill?
Massey is on his way. Massey is getting eviscerated and ejected from the Republican Party because he's turning into a never-Trumper. That's the example?
Good. And to be clear, I'm making a moral argument. Erudite's making an effective argument.
Okay. In the case of which Republicans have done this, I suspect that there's actually a lot. My understanding of the Republican network is here's the thing. Tulsi Gabbard is a great example of somebody that they were absolutely willing to build a bridge with, despite her being a long-term Democrat, because she was willing to toe certain lines.
She was not No, Kyla. Yes. She had a history of very right-wing policy, and she flipped all of it before getting pulled over to the Trump. And that's why everyone was saying, you're going to be a Fox News pundit in 3 years, because they knew she was already a Republican. That's a horrible example.
The problem is that prophecy. They're like,
exactly.
If I keep calling you conservative over and over and over again, if I keep
she was making conservative policies, Wick. That's why.
Single content creator who says I left the left, they've embraced.
I'm conservative.
I didn't hear what's the last
Every single person who has said I'm leaving the left has been embraced.
Yeah, because they're useful idiots, and Prager says that to their face.
It doesn't matter, you stupid fuck. They're winning. It doesn't fucking matter.
Oh, so we can be mean, but accept them, and it's fine.
What we're gonna do instead is we're gonna
nuke. Matter they're winning, but then you said morals are important. Which one is it? You can't keep going between both arguments. What is it?
I said it doesn't matter because they are winning. I'm saying that the build bridging.
Are we losing
fucking
because we're
worked
not
for
building
them.
bridges?
Are you
They
fucking
didn't build a
stupid?
bridge. He jumped ship.
They did. Every single person who wants to move
Okay,
towards
if
the
they did-
left,
wait, if
they
did-
embrace
if they did,
warmly.
what part of the
Right.
Republican platform changed to embrace Tulsi Gabbard?
Nothing. They just embraced
they
her,
did
and then
embrace
she
her. Hold
shifted
on.
They
because
don't need
people are
to- you're missing
stupid.
the point.
What are you
They don't
talking
need
about?
They don't need
What
to
are
use
you fucking
policies.
talking
We're
about?
talking about
I'm saying-
interpersonal interaction.
Wait, when the fuck have I ever said that by building the bridge, Republicans are going to suddenly shift their policies?
That's what
That's
building
not
a bridge
what I'm
means.
talking
Building
about.
a bridge is another way of saying meet in the middle. If somebody jumps ships and goes completely
That's
to another
okay.
party, that's not building
What
a bridge.
word would you like me to use for saying not meeting in the middle, but instead welcomes them to their side and are willing to talk to them kindly? And when I say kind, I don't mean nice.
If
didn't
Tali,
really
if
do
Tali
that.
started
You're willing to
promoting, if
respectfully
Tali, if
disagree.
wait, hold on,
You could
Kyla,
just
wait,
match
Tali,
energy. You
please.
could just match energy,
Tali,
and I
if
think
you
that
came
he
out
does
and started
that a lot
supporting
of the time.
70% of
hold
the
on.
Democratic platform, I would accept you, but you don't.
Oh, hold on.
She
Hold on, we're
already
not talking-
does,
hold on,
Soy
stop,
Pill. That's
stop,
the
stop,
fucking
please.
point.
We're not talking. Look.
Then why
the
isn't she
thing
going to vote
is,
for a
You're not,
Democrat?
though.
You guys are talking about policies, and we're not talking about policies. We're talking about how we treat each other interpersonally and how we act on an interpersonal level, and that's going to be far more powerful than any policy you might have. Tali did want to say something, so I'm going to give the mic to Tali. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's like getting lost in all of this here, but I'll just pick up on what you just said. Yeah, it is the way you treat people, and again, it's about who you're trying to communicate to when you're communicating in that way. And so you can match people's energy. If someone is obviously a freak, if someone obviously is mocking death on their own side, then sure, you can do what you're doing to that. You're going to turn off some people, right? You do have to question, do you want to become the other side? I mean, everyone I think was rightfully horrified when all of the people on the right were making jokes about that trans kid who jumped off the bridge, right? And now
Wait,
people
just to
on
be
the left
clear,
are-
you're wrong. You're just totally fucking retarded if you believe that. Who is horrified?
people on the left, people in this
Dickhead.
conversation.
Like,
Oh, okay.
people with
Oh, wait.
conscience.
My bad. Hold on. I
People with a
rescind that. I thought you
conscience,
said people on the right were horrified because nobody on the right gave a
Well,
fuck
she
about
said
it.
everyone was
Okay,
horrified,
right.
which was wrong.
Bullshit.
I rescind my
Bullshit.
retarded comment. Go ahead. My bad.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
when I
Bullshit.
said
Bullshit.
everyone,
I'm still here.
talking
No,
about
no, fuck.
like-minded people here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, bullshit. There are people who have consciences, who are normal, who are not online all the time, who see somebody mocking someone who committed suicide, and they do care.
Those
and they
people
do
did
find
not
it
see that
repulsive.
tweet.
You
Those
thinking
people
that
never saw that
everybody
tweet.
is some dissident right-wing
Is
psychotic
Alligator
freak
Alcatraz
is
in the building right
bullshit.
now? Alligator
It's bullshit.
Alcatraz, where the
Do you
joke
think
is
this
if
is gonna
they
help
swim
them
away,
or
they'll
hurt
get
them?
eaten by
Those people
alligators.
also-
Think-
hold on,
Do you
but
want
those
me to go?
people
Hold on.
don't
Do you want me to
like
go
that.
talk to my
Wait,
conservative
wait,
parents and
wait,
ask
no,
them if they find
hold
that shit
on,
fucking
hold on.
repulsive?
Yeah, wait. People don't like that stuff either. And this goes back to what Kyla was saying earlier. It's like you would have to prove that people were voting, that the disaffected liberals, that the people who held their nose were somehow voting for Trump because they like the cruelty. The cruelty is the point for some people, not for the people that Kyla and Connor are talking about reaching and being open to and just treating like reasonable humans. They are different
But the point
people.
is that well, Connor, are your parents there right now, Connor?
No, they're in South Florida.
Okay. Don't.
Okay,
Stop trying to talk to my mom, you
Alligator
fucking
Alcatraz,
whore.
While you're paused.
Alligator Alcatraz.
Stop trying to talk to my
While you're
mom, you
paused.
fucking
The
whore.
problem is
I
here's the issue. Because this is what I was going to demonstrate if Connor's parents were here. Because Connor's saying, "Oh, well, you want to ask my parents what they think about it?" And here's what I would do. I would go, "What do you guys think about it?" And I'm sure Connor's parents go, "Oh, I think that's really mean." And he would say, "Look at that, I owned you." And then I go, "Oh, just curious, do you regret your vote for Trump?" And they'd go, "No, I would still vote for him again. I'm going to vote for
Wait,
him
but-
for a third term." Fucking
Hold up,
that guy.
hold up, hold up.
And then I
No,
go,
but
and the problem is
even
that
those are
what
different
you can do is
things.
what you can do is you can be cruel for the people that like the cruelty.
This
but
isn't
it doesn't
hypothetical.
it doesn't turn off the other voters who don't give a fuck about it. So
This
what the
isn't.
fuck?
This
not
is not.
happening in
Hold
a
on.
vacuum.
Stop. I want to
It's not-
talk. I want to talk. This isn't hypothetical. Okay. So what ended up happening was both of my parents, they lived in the Pacific Northwest for a few years, and they got exposed to a bunch of liberals and Democrats or whatever. And as a result, they kind of moderated in a lot of their perspectives. And so my dad got into a bunch of contrarian podcast stuff. And so as a result, he did vote for Trump in the last election. But my mother, who's been a hardcore pro-life fucking Republican forever, got so repulsed with what the Republican Party has become that she did not fucking vote in the presidential ticket, which, by the way, people can accuse her of being a fucking traitor for that because she didn't vote fucking Republican. I don't think that she voted for Kamala, but she didn't fucking vote for Trump. So acting like those people don't exist, you're losing those people when you conduct
Those
yourself this
people
way.
don't matter. Didn't Florida vote more for Trump this election than the last one?
Shit, moderates matter. Fuck you.
Oh, my bad. Hold on. I wanted to go with the fucking vote numbers when we could just have your mom as an example. I got to use that legitimately. By the way.
No.
But,
Go
like,
with
what's
the
point?
go with the
Yeah,
fucking
maybe your
go with
mom
the
got
voting
turned off by
numbers.
the rhetoric,
Go with the
but then
voting
more
numbers.
people-
How much of people are independent or moderates who vote in general elections? How often are elections swung by moderates and independents? By the way,
Don't bring up Al Gore. He doesn't want to think about it. He doesn't want to think about it.
Shut up. Everybody shut up. I'm not done. Everybody keeps saying that the Republicans have been sweeping for a decade, but you omit the fucking fact that Donald Trump fucking lost. You can blame it on COVID. You can blame it on economics. He still fucking lost in 2020. So don't tell me that it's been a 10-year Republican sweep. It hasn't been.
I don't think anyone made that comment specifically.
Okay.
But Kyla, wait, I have a question. I've been holding.
I need to hold,
I did not.
Stop.
Wait, Kyla, wait.
He keeps on.
Can I ask you one question while he's looking up the independent numbers?
No. Okay, I just want to be super clear. I don't know why you need to do this, Stephen, because if you're right, you can just engage with what I'm actually saying and not a new version of what I'm saying. I'm not waffling Stephen. Back and forth between effectiveness and morality. I've said from the very beginning that it is pluralistic, right? You can have principles having principles is effective because shared principles is part of how you collectivize, and holding yourself to those principles or failing to do so matters to the group.
What are the principles?
Yeah, but you couldn't define the principles.
Stop talking about kids jerking off.
Are the principles not being mean to people or not bullying people?
No, that's not the principles that I'm asking for. That's not what I've ever said. What the?
Stop talking about kids jerking off.
I have said it
kids
at this
in
point
death is a good line.
so many times. I don't even understand how you're possibly still characterizing.
You could have answered it at the time. They're going to say that. It's the principle.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to grandstand at you too because you're being fucking bad faith, and I don't understand why you need to do this.
No,
if
Kyla,
my argument is so
really
bad,
don't
you don't need to mischaracterize it. Shut the fuck up. You don't need to mischaracterize it as being mean is bad. Also, the argument Trump is mean, so being mean effective is fucking stupid, right?
Okay, because Connor, summarize Kyla's point, and let's see if Connor can summarize it.
I think kindness is effective. The reason I want you to be kind is because I think it's good and I think it works.
So we can be kind, but we can be mean. But like,
Stephen, if you build and maintain relationships that you can leverage at key times, it would be more effective.
2022.
You don't need to be kind. You need
love
to
Trump's hate, guys.
You don't
2016.
need to be, right? But you should be good faith to people who are good faith to you. You don't
kind
need to
doesn't
be
mean
kind.
nice.
You don't need to
Sorry,
be kissing
whatever
people's
fucking
ass.
word you guys
Sure,
want to use. I didn't say don't be mean. When I'm saying kind, I'm mean to people all the fucking time. I'm also not saying don't be be perfect. I'm also failing my own standard regularly. So just to be clear, I'm not talking from a fucking pulpit. What I am talking about is
kind doesn't have anything to do with being mean. What is kind? What do we say when you say being kind?
Kind. When I say kind, what I mean is a more broader thing of understanding them as a person, trying to get into their worldview and engaging in good faith, actually engaging with what they're talking to. And at your best, which by the way, you, Stephen, at your best, is when you steel man, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. When you steel man your opposition, you understand what they are saying and you give them the best version of your argument, and then you dismantle it.
Politics right now. When did the Republicans ever do this? One example.
What? I'm sorry, what the fuck are we talking about? Do you not think that YouTube channels and YouTube debates have any effects on politics?
I'm saying of all of the Republicans, what Republican channel emulates this idea that you're talking about the most?
I've already said that.
Constantine Kissin.
It is seen. It's the center right that, especially leading up to the election, was seen as the open-minded space.
Yes,
an area.
Joe
where,
Rogan's were seen as open-minded. They would have anybody on theoretically.
They would have anybody on when he started hosting conservative after conspiracy theories. When he would
he sure got sucked in by audience capture. I wonder why. I wonder why people like being conservative more than left. I wonder why the fuck that is.
True.
That's my whole issue.
The left's so mean.
When the Flint Dibble guy went on and he was so mean and so aggressive and so horrible, and then Joe Rogan re-brought on the other Stephen Graham or whatever the fuck guy, or Graham Hancock or whatever, who roasted the fuck out of Flint when he literally is dying of cancer. That's the that's the guy.
That was really bad. Joe Rogan is not as neutral as he pretends to be.
And then his
Kyla,
ideal got canceled.
Think about Brett Weinstein. Brett Weinstein.
Kyla, do you think it would be more effective to be edgy and authentic in front of Joe Rogan, or to be like, oh, Joe, you're so nice and we're not going to be mean to you and we want to accept you into our party? Like, what do you think appeals to him more? All the comedians that go on and do edgy questions, or the ones who...
If this is genuinely...
Kyla, because she's obviously pro being edgy and being
But
real.
yeah, so she keeps saying that, and then she can't point to a thing, and then saying kindness is really important, except for when it's not.
Talking about Soy Pill, I've pointed to multiple things. I've talked about his nuking of Tectone's relationship. I talked about the way that you talk to Tally. I have given you
Tally's back. Tally's back to talk to me, Kyla.
The reason you guys need to strawman me is because the reality is that I am not incorrect. If it was the case that the left was so cozy and it was so fun to hang out with, then maybe we would win.
Fun to hang out with is authentic and edgy and mean.
I did have a housekeeping question.
Not because of edgy jokes.
About examples
in
for the
part,
Republicans being nice. When are the Republicans nice? When are they being nice
I'm
to
not
people?
saying that. I'm not saying any of this shit.
Well, is it effective? Because they're winning.
Hold on, no. Dusty's question. I'll answer Dusty's question. On an interpersonal level, Republicans have been on balance nicer to me than Democrats have.
Okay, well, you're not a Republican, so it didn't work very well, did it?
So I just wanted to...
right? And I
did you vote Republican?
And things like that. But unfortunately, not everyone is like Whick. And there are a lot of
somebody
people
who's principled doesn't change their principles because somebody was mean to them. Sorry.
Why are you talking down to Tali by saying her principles changed?
Can I make a kind of a closing statement and then dip out?
Gotta go. So we're gonna give your spiel and tell people where they can find you. I know this is run long, but it's good content.
It's okay. I gotta go take care of stuff. So, anyways, the line that you guys have asked for repeatedly is probably kids jerking off and dead kids. That's my line. I've repeated it probably 3 or 4 times. And then also, I forgot what the fuck else I was gonna say. Have fun ripping each other apart. I parasocially love you. Have a beautiful night.
Okay, go find him. I have a link to his politics channel in my YouTube description. Go click that link and give him a follow. He spent
Bye, Connor. But yeah, so Kyla, so as disgusting as you found my behavior to Tali, she is back now talking to me and is open to a conversation. So clearly it's not so politically ineffective that it can't at least continue a conversation. So what the fuck are you talking about?
If you're just going, hold on, let me respond. If you're just going to be disgustingly bad faith with me, not actually engage in my ideas and not talk to me, I'd prefer
Kyla,
if you weren't here.
I promise
actually,
I'm not being bad faith. I genuinely don't understand what you're trying to say or like propagate. Like it does feel like you're jumping around a lot. I'm not trying to strawman it. It literally, I don't know what you're advocating for us to do.
If you guys, first of all, Stephen has done a really good job of strawmanning me as jumping around. I have not jumped around at all because I've said multiple times 2 things. Number 1, morals and ethics can be downstream of political efficacy. In fact, I think sticking to your principles and values is politically effective. Number 2, I think going scorched to earth, like nuking relationships before you have any chance to build any warmth, is bad for political efficacy. I also think making jokes about dead kids immediately is optically always going to be an L. I have said this over and over and over and over again. And if you guys can't handle that, that's fine. But that's what I'm talking about. And now to soy
let me try to clarify this. Can I ask? No, because you just said 3 things, and now you're going to move on. We need to clarify this, okay? Like I
don't
promise
need you to
I'm trying
respond to my criticism
I'm
of Destiny.
not responding. I want to understand.
He can respond for himself.
Can I understand it, please?
Sure.
Okay. So you're saying that morals are downstream of policy, right? Or policy is downstream of morals, correct?
Effective policy can be downstream of
okay, can be, right. But now it seems like you clearly don't have a hard line. I mean, well, you do. Dead kids are a hard line of meanness. You shouldn't go about dead kids. But in general, you don't have like some
Well, they're not a hard line, right? I already said that. Like,
you just said don't do it!
Jesus fucking Christ. I actually feel like I'm talking to MAGA people right now. I said, when he said it, quote tweeting people actively looking for the children within, like, I think 48 hours of the tragedy happening.
That's what edgy. It wouldn't be edgy if it was 20 years later.
I don't care about it being edgy. I care about the reality that the public reception to it, including even on his own base,
that's what edgy is. You can't dodge away from the word edgy. That's why it's edgy, because it is recent and it's offensive to people.
About black people, but I might not make it right after like a shooting on black people. Right?
But it might be. What if it's really funny though? What if it's really funny?
It's more edgy, and if it's really funny and it hits well, then you will.
That's why it's a post hoc rationalization, because it's only if it hits well.
Just because things are going to be relativistic, it doesn't make it fucking post hoc. Otherwise, your moral system couldn't fucking exist, you fucking retard. Obviously, things are going to be socially informed. If every single person, including on Stephen's own side, is like, yeah, I don't love that. If consistently Republicans...
Don't say every single person on my side, because that's absolutely not true. There are lots of people on my side that also really like the super edgy...
A large percentage. A large percentage. If most Republicans that I talk to that like Stephen and think he's smart cite that as a really hard no-go, I agree that it's soy and beta and loserish behavior on their behalf. However, I am willing to basically look past that because I would like to pull them to my side more than I care about holding their feet to the fire for being mad over a joke, if I'm being completely blunt and honest.
Could you think... Can I ask a good faith question, please?
Nope, you're going to get muted because otherwise no one will stop and no one will actually let me ask my question. Dev,
also, dead jokes are always edgy.
Just Dev, you have said nothing this whole time. Why the fuck are you here?
Well, you pulled me in. I don't know. I was talking. Tali had me talking to her privately. You just pulled me in.
Do you not want to be here?
Oh.
We can. No.
Oh no, I can still be here. That's fine. That's no problem.
No,
I mean, I have been watching this and taking notes. I have a few
tribute is
comments.
what I'm telling you to do.
I have a few comments, but it's
Go
nothing
ahead.
related to what you guys have just said. It's a different thread of the conversation. But if you're okay with that,
Go ahead.
so it seems like everyone here is talking about two different things, because what Soy Pill has done to Tally is a different type of thing than what Destiny has done on Twitter. Because with Tally, it's a single person. You have to approach a conversation with a single person very differently than putting out a public statement towards a larger audience. Which is why the edgy joke excuse works in one of these; it doesn't really work in the other one, basically. I'm not sure if leaning full into the optics conversation. I don't know if the optics stuff even hurts the Democrats, frankly, long term. It might, but like it is like you say, the right seems to suffer no real blowback when they do really edgy or even really disgusting stuff. So I don't really buy the argument that, oh, this is hurting us. This is hurting the Democrats. But at the same time, on an individual level, I think it absolutely hurts long term, if not short term, absolutely long term. I mean, I was friends with Sargon until 2024, 2015 to 2024, and he was not the right winger that everyone said he was in 2015. He became that guy, and he became that guy after leftists got him banned from Patreon.
Okay.
It's like, well, you created the monster, basically. And
Yeah,
I think that's something you should probably reckon
it's
with.
the left's fault. Okay, Kyla, so do we have to make
Yes, it
a
is.
funny calculation like before it happens of how well it will hit?
Wait,
and
are
like
you just not going to engage with Dev?
No, I just don't give a shit whether or not Sargon was forced into being a right winger, and he just summarized things that we've already said. But I have a genuine question that I think might move
one of
the
Sargon's
conversation.
close friends about his
I don't.
okay.
Let me ask you
Well,
this
the
question.
conversation's not about Sargon.
High
It's not about
quality
Sargon.
communication.
It's about if you treat people like Tally poorly, who they will be in 5 years.
They'll turn into a
That's what it's
fucking Nazi rhetoric, super
If you
white
could
supremacist
stop
guy.
that, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, a
If
lot
you
of
could
time
stop
they
that
do.
simply by exercising some self-discipline and self-control and not being a fucking retarded asshole to them, why wouldn't you?
Well, so
Oh
you're
shit!
not.
It's like the meme with the guys in the mine, and it's like the Democrats were just
And
one
he's-
nice comment away from finally hitting gold with Republican empathy. We're so close. Fuck.
No,
We
it's
just
not
need one more
Republican empathy.
restraint.
It's again, we've said it from the
Hold on,
beginning.
it's a simple
moderate.
concept. I'm sorry, but it's a simple concept. If you treat people well, they will respond positively. If you treat
True.
people poorly, they will run away from you, or
I
in some
agree.
cases, oppose you. When you treat people like shit, they're gonna fight you.
So
I
like
don't
when
understand
Trump
why
played games with FEMA funds in 2019 and in 2016, even 2017, after that one hurricane with North Carolina, nobody gave a fuck. Or when he threatened to do it with California, and then Biden came in and he didn't play
did
games with
give a
FEMA funds.
fuck.
Why-
And then
why
Trump
are
came in
we-
and then he played games with FEMA funds again. It's
Why
like
are we
there's
even
definitely
assuming? Why are we assuming that the bases of these two groups are going to be galvanized by the same thing? I don't know why would we assume that Republican bases will be
Right,
galvanized by the
because
same
we probably
thing
assume that
liberal-
all humans are galvanized by about the same shit always. It's typically we're all
Why
kind
would
of
we
more or less the
assume-
same.
Really? Between left and right? I don't know if we should just presume that. Right?
What is
like
the
typically
fundamentally
Actually,
different
well,
aspect of
well,
humanity
for example,
between the left
yeah,
and the
sure,
right?
I'll give it to you. Yeah, typically when we do personality tests, we can like almost perfectly predict the political predilection that they're going to be towards. Because typically, if you're conservative, you're going to have things
back.
like low openness to experience and high conscientious.
So first of all, you
conscientiousness.
absolutely cannot perfectly predict it. The highest predictability is what your parents' political parties are. Number one, okay, you can make slight predictions, sure, but even so, somebody who
Okay,
has
now you're softening it too much.
I'm not softening it at all. Pretty sure the most
Yes,
predictable
you are.
thing is the political party of your parents. I think the
Sure.
political heritability, I think, is the most important thing. But even that, I think, is like 60% or something. Regardless, though, the even if one person might score differently on their big five or whatever, it doesn't mean that you can't appeal to the people more or less the same way. You might do it like with a slightly different group, like an in-group versus an out-group. But I think more or less humans are all kind of the same shit in terms of like what makes us laugh and what's funny. And making fun of out-groups is a thing that most people enjoy doing.
Sure.
I don't know
Okay.
about
Do you
that.
think
I'm
that?
not gonna agree with that.
Okay. Do you think that shame tends to make people move towards you or away from you?
Well, it probably depends on the type of shame. I can probably do either one. It depends on what you're shaming. It depends on how you're doing the shaming.
Sure. Okay. Let's get into the nuance. What type of shaming is effective and when?
I imagine that it probably depends on who the shame comes from. So if it comes from like role models or if it comes from people in your life that you look up to, it's probably more effective. So if you've got a role model that's saying something like, oh, smoking is cool or smoking is bad, it's probably more likely to have an impact on you. Probably depends on the age that it hits you at. So shaming at an earlier age is probably something that would discourage somebody from a behavior more likely than shaming somebody at a later age. Probably depends on the other types of like coercive control that is around the shame. So if you're shamed in like a classroom environment where then a teacher and your social group can reinforce it, as opposed to like a TV commercial shaming you, and then you could turn it off, and it's a little bit more isolated. I don't know. Probably, I guess there's a ton of different ways that it can work or can't work. It depends on the thing.
Yeah. So one of the things that we know as well that shame is very ineffective on things that are really hard to change or like deeply ingrained into us, such as, for example, I'm giving this a lot, being fat doesn't work to shame you. Unfortunately, shaming fat people, if it did work, it would have worked. It doesn't make people want to change their lifestyle enough to get skinny because it's very lifestyle based.
Yeah, but I don't think being fat is a good marker here for
I
who
agree.
you vote for or your political beliefs.
I agree. In fact, I think that being who you vote for is often way more deeply ingrained into your identity than being fat. And so if it's not even effective
Just
on
to be
being
clear,
fat,
that is
why would we
absolutely not
assume
true. That's not even remotely close to being true.
you don't think that being Republican isn't deeply ingrained into a lot of people's like strong political like identity?
Nope. I think that you could. I think it is compared to being fat. Do you think it would be easier to go from obese to ordinary BMI, or to change from Republican to Democrat?
Hold on, I'm talking about how much it's closely tied to your identity, not how difficult it is for the behavior to change.
We're talking about how. What else would we be talking about? We're talking about the effectiveness of changing a behavior, and then we're saying, well, let's see what's more closely tied to a person's identity, or we just bring that up as an irrelevant reason. I thought we're bringing this up
No,
for
tied to an identity. I don't think being fat is nearly as closely tied to people's identity as being Republican, right?
Okay, maybe not, but I mean, like shaming somebody out of a political belief would probably be a lot easier than shaming them out of being fat.
Why?
Because I don't think shame is an effective way to change somebody to being fat, because there's a whole bunch of other systems that are working against a person to make them fat than systems that work with people's political beliefs.
What systems would be working against somebody from shifting from R to L?
It super depends on the environment that they're in. If they, for instance,
Let's give the average environment.
Not like core biological functions that are being preyed upon by hyper sweetened and fattened foods. Like it's not the same.
I think like you could have like friend groups maybe that are keeping you in a certain political thing maybe, but I mean like there are whole groups that can change slowly over time. We saw it with the tech bros and the whole liberal thing. You'll never see that with like being fat.
Yeah, people will often drift in the direction that as you said, their parents voted, right? So like the family group around them is going to be super important for predicting who they tend to vote for, right?
Yeah.
So if you're asking them to shift from right to left, you're asking them to not just unearth one behavior, which is a vote, but potentially to unearth all of their social connections as well.
Yeah, it's hard.
It depends, but I mean, like again, there are whole groups sometimes that shift. Like all the tech bros kind of shifted in this weird MAGA direction, and that didn't require any of them to abandon their friend groups.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to shift your identity, which is why I'm saying I don't know if I'm convinced that shame is going to be super effective.
Well,
okay, yet the Republicans weaponize and utilize shame, and they have for the past 12 years. And they have all of the levers of power right now. So I don't know what I'm supposed to make sense of that as. Are they doing this to their detriment and they can be even more effective?
So people are voting for Trump because he's shaming them now?
He seems to be shamed. It's not about you. You seem to think that it's like there's 100 people going into the ballot box and we have to fight over those 100 people, but it's not. There's 330 million people and like 40% of them don't vote ever. And it's a matter of like, who can you get to go to the ballot box? Trump works on shaming and attacking other people. He'll shame his own fucking party if he has to. If there are people in his party, he's doing it right now with the Epstein shit, or he does it to Massey, or he does it to the Never Trumpers, and he gets them excised from the party. So yeah, it seems like Trump literally operates around like shame and fear.
Yeah,
and it's been really effective for him.
So sorry, you think that shame has been the thing that's been effective for Trump and not something else?
I think there are multiple things at play, but shame and
is it in the top 3?
Seems like it. Yeah, I would guess it is. Yeah.
Really?
Given that he seems to be the most shameful and divisive president in the past my lifetime,
and yet he's like rated as like one of the least popular presidents.
Yeah, but least popular because of how divisive he is. Like he might be the least popular overall because the left doesn't like him, but the right love him. It's like 90% popularity.
Yeah, Republicans seem to like him a lot, like the MAGA people. However, there's a massive schism happening right now where people are incredibly unhappy.
You keep saying massive schism, and that is yet to be determined. We don't know if that'll even be the case.
Can I ask a question?
Wild, first of all,
after they go,
to not call it a massive schism when Trump himself is calling it a pretty major schism. You're right. We don't know the effects. It's possible.
There are tweets, massive schisms. When it comes to voting, we'll look for the massive schisms.
It's not just tweets. Come on. It's people burning MAGA hats. It's people calling for Pam Bondi to be fired. It's Dan Bongino.
Has anybody resigned? Bongino is no longer talking about being fired. He moved back. Now the conversation about whether we're firing Jerome Powell. And I don't think Bondi's going anywhere. And Bovey might leave because he's trying to be nominated to be a fucking federal judge. So it seems like none of that is happening.
I think Candace Owens even came out saying that she might have regretted her vote for Trump, right?
Candace
So like
Owens
there's
is always a wild card. She's fucking insane. She's not like a reliable person on any side.
increasingly Joe Rogan is talking very negatively of Trump as well, right? He's very upset about some of the deportations that have been happening, and he's very mad about the Epstein files. He's way less mad about the
cool that
immigration.
he's finally moving that direction. But if one mean tweet or if one odd statement by Biden is enough to totally change somebody, and it's taken like 6 months of the most unhinged possible behavior from Donald Trump to finally get Joe Rogan to kind of start saying some mean things about him, maybe on his podcast, fuck that shit. What a waste of fucking time. Turn out your own base.
So
Okay,
those people are completely worthless. They're not worth appealing to in any way, shape, and form. Just galvanize your own
That's
base.
not what he
Are-
said. He
are
said it
bases
wasn't
smaller
worth the
than
time.
I'm just saying that if
Our base
your
is smaller than theirs,
hypothesis
we'll
is
lose every
that
time.
bullying people is a bad thing, it seems weird that the most bully candidate in like all of our lives' history is the one who's had like the most political success in terms of at least like winning, votes and shit. That seems to be kind of weird to me. I don't understand. Maybe he just happens to be doing something else really good and that's hurting him, but we can't see it.
Yeah, but we've had how many like historical unprecedented events that led up to him winning back the election? Because he didn't just win it consecutively. He lost it to Joe Biden, right? And then he won it again with, again, major historical events that we've never seen before. In fact, every single incumbent, I shouldn't say every single because you're going to get me on that one. Most incumbents globally also lost their race, right?
Yeah.
So why are we assuming that it's because he's mean and divisive and that therefore it's effective for us to be divisive?
Because it doesn't seem to be hurting him at all. And it seems to be... where's the evidence? Where would
He's
I look
the
to
only
see the evidence of it
president
hurting
to
him?
ever lose an incumbency until Joe Biden. Well, I guess he didn't technically
no, he
lose it.
wasn't the only
He got out while he
president
was
to
still
ever
winning,
lose it.
actually. Yay,
What
Joe
do we-
Biden.
Hey, Jimmy Carter,
what
one
are
of the
we looking at?
nicest presidents ever, actually lost his incumbency.
Yeah, what are we
Gotcha,
looking
okay.
at for Trump to see if the bullying is not working? Well, like, what seems like it's not working? Like, how do we see this as evidence that it has been ineffective in the past?
Well, we can look at people
Okay, so
running
he
away from his
doesn't
policies
bully
almost
he
across the
doesn't
board.
bully the base, right? So he bullies
Correct.
like politicians and stuff like that. That is true, which is different from the type of vitriol that we see from the left, which is again just like punching at other vaguely liberal people who are not as pure as
Sure,
you.
everybody here,
and-
but
and
everybody
things
here.
of this
Well, I
nature.
hope even Soy Pill thinks that that's
And the
fucking
right does
stupid.
that
That's
too.
dumb.
No, I think
Also,
it's
by the
stupid,
way,
yeah.
and this is part of the shit that I get is like why you focus so much on the left, and it's because that's where I spend all of my time and have spent all of my time my entire life. So yes, the right is guilty of all of the same things that we're talking about.
Sure.
But it's like
that statement that you just said.
weird
Wait, can you explain this? I'm just curious, okay? Because that statement that you just said, nobody on the right would ever say that. That would ever say like, oh, the reason why I attack the right so much is because I'm on the right more. Nobody on the right would say that. Why are there so many people on the left like you that would say something like that? Like, oh, I attack the left all the time because that's where I spend all my time at. I'm not like attacking you. Sorry, that came off really aggressive. But I'm just curious, like, what is it that causes this to happen?
I have no idea. Well, I don't know. Who was it that was saying the other day
I
that
can answer it
I
if
think
you
we have
it was Wolf, right?
standards.
The loyalty, priority basically on the right. Is that what you're?
I want
to
to hear.
I'm just
Yeah.
tired. Okay, sorry.
I want
That was
Dev,
basically what I
can
said
you-
in last week's conversation,
ahead.
which is the same conversation as this one. Is that and Erudite, I know you know this because I know that you know Hyde. The right tends to prioritize loyalty more as a value. The left tends to prioritize self-criticism more as a value. This is a personality difference, very broadly speaking, in the two sides, and that leads to basically right-wingers being more loyal even as things start to fuck up, while left-wingers they'll be more self-critical when things fuck up, and so that it leads to you have like more purity spiraling on the left, and you have more circling the wagons on the right. Basically, it's a difference in behavior of the two sides.
Here's something that I really want to understand because
Wait, can I
what
ask my
I would
question?
point
I've been holding it in for like 15 minutes.
to Whick.
Okay, Whick, can I ask a question
Ask
to
your
Kyla?
question. You've been
So-
holding it in.
So this is
Release.
okay. So this is about the whole idea of like these edgy jokes, especially when they don't land, are going to alienate a bunch of moderate voters, specifically people like the Joe Rogans or these like, average, like you said, these kind of dullard people that do have these huge audiences. My question to you is, if these people, if you watch these shows, if you watch Joe Rogan, if you watch the Nelk Boys, they're making edgy jokes constantly. They're mocking dead kids. They're making 9/11 jokes. They're making Holocaust jokes. And if anything, it endears them when people are able to cross like over that line and be like, hey, look at me. I'm authentic. I'm not scared to say this, which is something that people were saying was alienating about the left, that they're too purity testing. So why is it that somehow like there should be any line of edginess that is going to scare away these people who live and thrive in it? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Because in general, even the edgiest edge boys tend not to love jokes at the expense of kids, especially when the kids are like actively still missing and might be dead. Like people just tend not to like that. I'm not saying that that's like some morally good thing or something that's like defensible in a rational way. This is just like how people feel, and you can base that on how people react to it.
This is why we're really confused, because you keep saying it's not about jokes, But then you keep like centering it
No,
on like that particular type of joke. I think the
I've
broader
talked
question
way
that Joy
more
Pill
about
was-
your scorched earth stuff than I have about the joke.
No, but I don't think Soy Pill's thing was what about this one joke? It was like, why can everybody on the right make all of these unholy comments constantly and it's seen as an endearing quality? But then on the left, like you keep bringing up this one thing, but it's anything. You can't joke about anything
They're jokes.
about the
Who
right
finds
on the
They're
that
left.
endearing?
jokes.
Who
They're
finds
jokes.
that endearing?
Well, their
Who finds
audience
what?
does. Their own audience. Their target
their
audience.
base.
Andrew
It's
Schultz
not-
audience, Joe Rogan audience,
Yeah.
Nelk Boys
No,
audience.
I
Yeah,
feel like,
I have
I'm
the
pretty
answer.
sure I've
I have
seen
the
major
answer.
Republicans make like rape jokes about
I have the
about
answer.
fucking
Yes,
autistic
yes.
Swedish girl who's that
Insane.
one Greta Thunberg or whatever about like fucking
Insane.
her when she turns 18
Yes.
or whatever. Like, so I don't
I
understand
agree.
where
I
all of the
agree.
head-wringing
I
comes from.
agree. I agree. What I'm saying is that their jokes are funnier than they are offensive to their target audience. If your target audience is going to be moderates don't really like dead kids.
No, those
jokes.
people make
Just
the
being
jokes.
straight.
Joe Rogan's make the jokes. Andrew Schultz they're making Holocaust jokes, dead baby jokes, like all the
And
fucking
everyone
time. These
still
comedians.
found it distasteful within 2 days. I don't know what to tell you. People aren't super rational.
No.
I'm not
Okay.
saying don't make edgy jokes.
No, it's
I'm
working for
saying-
them.
Hold on. It's
The moderates. The moderates are. It's working for the
because
moderates.
They are making jokes that are more funny than they are offensive, and unfortunately,
How do
the
you calculate
timing of
this
a joke
before this?
matters. Wait, this is
No,
obviously
first of
fucking
all,
true. I
you
can't
said
believe I'm-
never dead baby jokes, by the way. You said no, the time doesn't matter. You should never joke about children. But these people are joking about dead kids in the Holocaust, dead kids in Khmer Rouge shit. Go watch any Joe Rogan with a comedian on.
I
They make edgy
apologize for
fucking
being
jokes all the
hyperbolic. I should
time.
have never say make dead baby jokes. I'm saying in general, the timing of dead kid jokes kind of matters, right? And when dead kids are still actively missing, people don't tend to like it because it's more offensive. That joke has to be so fucking funny to be defensive. And that's how humor works all the
Can
time.
you point me
I
to
know
a
you're getting mad
moderate
about this.
comedian
This is like-
that has been
this is
like,
a
that's
classic
offensive?
Dave
Before we loop
Chappelle-
on this,
I don't know what
before
to
we
tell
loop on
you.
this-
Comedian
This is
different, and
stop.
also it's different. if
Let me
you're
get
a
my thoughts
comedian-
out. Stop. Comedians will tell you this all the fucking time. I'm not even making up this rule. This is just how it seems comedy works. If something is going to be offensive and edgy, which most of us like, it needs to be more funny than it is offensive. It has to be to their
know.
target
The
audience.
comedian
In the
crowd
case,
has literally fallen into the exact same trap that you have, though, where they talk about how being edgy and all this is so important, and they won't fucking make fun of anybody on the right. They do the exact same thing, but they'll be as edgy as they can. Like, I'm about to tell all my friends a real edgy joke. You know, trannies have fucking girl cock. Oh, and they all laugh. Oh my god, so edgy. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan, the king of comedians, has some guy on that does an RFK impression, and after saying 3 words, he's like, "Stop that. That's not okay."
That's
so
my
even
friend.
the same folly that they're making, you're like quoting them as though they're giving you some actual good advice here, but they're not. They don't even follow their own advice on that. Because if you had a really funny edgy joke about Trump, they just get ass pain. They don't like it. They want to hear their own
True,
shit.
and they're probably going to start getting in trouble. In fact, I'm increasingly seeing lots of moderate comedians who are super critical of Joe Rogan because he's not that funny and he's increasingly getting sensitive. So it's coming for them too, their own hypocrisy. I agree that that's too soy. We should be able to make fun of RFK Jr. at any time. His voice does sound fucking stupid.
But not dead kids.
Yes, there's a difference between
Around
making
a
fun of
certain time,
RFK
yeah,
Jr.,
when the kids
who's
are still
alive,
missing,
and a
it's
dead
probably not a good
child.
look.
Unless you can preemptively determine it'll be way funnier than it is offensive. And you
Again,
always
I don't know
constantly
what
have to
tell
be
you.
thinking about this
Wait,
rather than
what the
putting your
fuck are we
energy into
even
convincing
talking about?
people.
Have you never had social interactions where you have to gauge whether or not the joke's gonna land well or not? If you haven't done that before, go outside and make some friends. Everyone else understands that yes, you do a preemptive calculation to figure out whether or not something will land well or not.
Right.
And unfortunately, in the case of Steven's joke, it landed well with his base and certain liberals who are very angry at the hypocrisy of the right, and it didn't land well with anybody else that he might try to build a relationship with later. And in fact, it is the result nuking him from those types of
every single offensive joke ever. It lands well with your group and it doesn't land well with the other group. The only difference is here we're trying to say like, oh my god, like our jokes have to land well with literally everybody or else we're going to be offended over it. But their
That's
jokes
not
are
what I'm
allowed to land
saying.
well with
I'm
their-
saying your jokes, unfortunately, in this instance, have nixed you from interacting with all these people that you should be able to because you're one of the most
But
effective.
Kyla, you would be
communicators on
saying
the left.
something completely different if they had liked that joke. Was the whole point.
Of course, I'm already said it's fucking subjective. Keep the fuck up, soy pill.
No, the point
entire time,
is that
humor
like you
is
can look
always
back and be like, well, that
subjective
one
about the
didn't
target
particularly
audience.
work very
Now, if
well.
what
But
Destiny wants to do is burn all bridges with Republicans and not be able to talk to them, then he's doing it fine. If all he wants to do is galvanize the left, which he's saying he might want to do, then honestly, I have no complaints. If his goal is to talk to the right and to talk to moderates and to pull them to his side, which is what he's good at. By the way, my husband used to be a conservative, is left because of him. Almost like 5 people every fucking Canvas event came out to me who were conservative before they started listening to
Do you think he
you.
started making
that
edgy
is what
jokes
you're
2
good at,
days
Stephen,
ago? Because he's
and I
been
would
doing
be
this
shut
for
the
like
fuck
10
up,
years.
Psycho.
So like
have-
you're just
you haven't
wrong.
been tracking. I'm sorry.
Edgy
He
is the
fucking
problem.
lost. He
Erudite
lost
is
in
pro-edgy.
He lost his election in 2020. Nobody here is reasonably going to say that Trump won because he's mean and edgy. He probably won despite him being mean and edgy. What I am saying here is that if Stephen wants to target a moderate
That's the most
audience,
random thing to assert without evidence about the most edgy guy ever.
it's the most random thing to assert as obviously being the case when we have no evidence. What the fuck are we even talking about right now?
Oh, Destiny,
most
I hear what you're
edgy
saying. I
person.
hear what you're
He is
saying.
the
Wait, but
most
hold
offensive
on.
president ever.
Oh,
And we're
we
saying,
don't
like,
know
well,
if
maybe that
that.
was hurting
Wait,
him?
isn't it possible
Yes, but
that people
Kyla
would
is
like him like
stipulating that
8
there are
times
people
more
who-
if
Well,
he
and there are
wasn't
people who
like
held
this?
their nose. There are people who are held their nose. So you can count the bases of each side. And then there are the people who were movable in the middle. Maybe they all made a terrible mistake in voting for him, but there are people who held their nose in doing so, that it was not the cruelty that they were voting for.
That's my argument, though, is that they can hold their nose and vote for him, and while they're holding their nose, there's a whole bunch of other people who love the smell of the pig shit. Like, that's the problem, is he's able to capture both. But that's because on the right, they'll hold their nose, and then the left will go, oh no, we're above that. And then they're just like...
No,
I have a feeling. I have a feeling.
Like we did, like, oh, Biden, he's not wanting to kill all the Israelis. We're not going to vote for him. That's why they didn't vote, right? It's not because of like, oh, we're being too mean to Republicans, right? That is because we.
No, I'm not implying that Biden left because of edgy jokes or anything. I'm just saying that, or I don't know if that was the implication. I'm just saying that this type of like hyper fascination with if we're being too mean or not is a conversation that only happens on the left.
It's not a hyper fascination. It's not a hyper fascination, at least not of mine. I'm not super overly concerned.
I still can't enunciate your position or articulate your position. Whatever your position is,
Really?
nobody on the right cares about it or talks about it. And they seem to be doing really well politically. So I just don't know why we would have a whatever adjective you would use to describe about it.
Is it that we barely lost, or we lost by a landslide? Which is it? Because I feel the left is saying.
In some ways, I would say we lost by a landslide. In some way, it depends on who I'm talking to.
Interesting. Okay, my argument is that edgy jokes can sometimes be politically ineffective. I think the 2 examples of the fireman shooting and the dead kids joke recently are evidences of political inefficacy. I think it has closed Stephen out from opportunities that he would otherwise have access to.
Is this a personal conversation
and they
about
can,
me, or is it about edgy jokes in general? I don't know what we're talking about.
It's
or
you.
Is it not even
It's
about
you.
edgy jokes?
I literally said these are my
Wait, if
criticisms
this is just
for
a
you.
conversation about me, then the answer is I don't want to appeal to those people. I've said that for like over a year. I have no
And I'm
desire to appeal
saying-
to those people anymore.
Sure, and I'm saying that they could damage relationships with certain people, especially
I'm okay
when
with
you go
people's
scorched earth on their
relationships I'm
response.
damaging. I'm okay with that. If they're gonna make
That's
absolutely
fine.
disgusting jokes, then
That's
that's
super
fine.
disappointing because I think
That's
if you
fine,
got a
that's
chance
okay.
to talk
I'm
to
not
most
trying-
moderates, you'd be
That's fine.
effective. You'd be more effective.
That's okay. I like to do what I like to do, though. That's okay. So
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the whole, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read some of my super chats, especially from the ones who's given me like $100 and shit, and then I don't know what we're gonna do. We might go to closings. I don't fucking know. We'll find out how I feel. Pondering Politics for $100 says, I'm 24 minutes behind. But doesn't the GOP also try to brand itself as a morally superior party? The party of Christ and Christian values, family values, law and order, free speech, freedom and liberty, real America. Why imply that only Dems claim moral superiority? Okay.
The answer is because I think like the Dems claim moral superiority on the things that we actually care about, right? We don't care about like all this religious bullshit, right? Which is why we don't appeal to it. If we think that we're like better on treating people kinder, we care about the vulnerable populations, like we have all these care principles and values, then if we fail to live up to those care principles and values, like for example, being bad faith and not interacting with each other well in the way that Soypill did with Tally, or he's kind of doing with me, I think that shows, for example, a question of like, do you actually believe in these principles? And what I am saying is that somehow the left, despite being better at policy, Joe Biden's presidency was fucking excellent, and besides being, I would argue, more morally upright, objectively, not a single left pundit has been charged with lying knowingly to the public. Despite all of that, people find the left so fucking repugnant that they're voting for Trump instead. And I think that that's a shame. And in fact, other people are just not voting at all. And I think that that's a shame. And I think we need to fix it. And I think that this is one of the small ways that we can improve.
Okay, $100 from Alexander Wynn to say absolutely nothing at all. I love those super chats. It's the best. $50 from Dr. Adam to say, I'm a centrist who loves edgy jokes. Who cares? Rich pricks hoard gold like goblins. Weepy women flood kitchens. Minorities churn flowing garbage like Puerto Rico's mess. Kids sink in Texas floods. Lie scrim. Fate smote them for their parents' sins. Thank you for the $50. 20 euros from Mary Mead Park to say it's good that Destiny isn't friendly towards a right-wing YouTuber. Streamers don't have to be bureaucratic. They're not politicians, and Destiny's right. It's not effective to collab and boost views. A bad influencer.
Okay, the platforming argument, really? Is that what we want today? Good job, guys.
$20, you can say whatever you like. $10 from Optimizing You to say dark humor and edgy jokes work when people think deep down that you're not evil or heartless. The problem with Destiny's jokes are when he defends them. He refuses to show that he has a heart. $10 from Audacity. What is weird about tech bros shifting to the right, specifically MAGA? Oh no, wow, I can't believe social awkward tech bros rebelled against the caring class of HR aristocracy. No way. $10 from the Trib 1 to say the test is uneven. We need education and expert opinion to prevail. To me, the lack of that voice is where MAGA wins. Do you guys think experts would care enough to push aside the way Elon did? $10 from Dr. Adam again to say shaming works on individual stuff, identity, fat, or slut choices, but not collectives. That's why folks dig deeper into ideological crap, never changing, reality bites. $10 more from Pottering Politics to say Trump went scorched earth on his base in a big way in the past 24 hours about Epstein. Long-term effects to his coalition, TBD. 200, whatever those are, sex. I don't know what they're. Anyway, Tag Erlander is a clear example of how democratic stability and social responsibility can counter the rise of totalitarian and populist forces. His pragmatic, humble, principled approach made his legacy. $20 from Lawson Harrison to say, how do you get a nud pregnant? $20 from Tanner Maxwell to say Utah Senator Mike Lee says it's a nightmare on Wall Street in the response to MAGA sycophant and psych assassinating Minnesota lawmakers. $50.
That was a pretty crazy tweet.
Yeah, it is, and I think they're going to suffer for that, but we'll get to
Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
I'm praying. One day it's coming.
Yeah, hold on.
Let's see how Donnie Trump slips out of this one.
No, I got to.
Let's just Moloch. You're right, guys. Let's just Moloch game our way all the way to hell. That's going to be so much better for the democracy.
I actually think it's way better to
truly.
talk about how much more moral our messaging is, while 65 million Americans are being shoved into alligator Alcatraz. I think that's the way better thing.
Hold on, that's going to hurt them. They're
no,
setting up.
you should just.
Who the fuck is standing on the immigrants? Like, what the fuck are you even talking about right now?
I'm talking
You
about
also
the
shouldn't
prisons
talk
that
about
all
how
of MAGA
moral
are
you are.
Yeah, it's
clapping their
really
hands about
fucking
the
bad,
children.
Steven. And I think
Is
you're
it bad for
nerfing
them?
yourself
Well,
on
is that
being more
hurting them?
effective. Yeah,
Yes.
it's really bad. Wait, no, it's not
Okay.
hurting the Republicans because most Republicans don't give a fuck about immigrants. It's fucking horrible. And you have nerfed yourself out of all of those spaces so you don't get to go in there and push back on it. So now other people have
True,
to, and a
because
lot of
me
people are
going in
less.
and gently saying, like, don't you think calling it allocate?
When the fuck did I ever say gently say?
And you're like,
I said,
and
I said you were great with my ring.
I think that it's probably, maybe
No,
not the
this
best
is
word,
such
but
a
it's kind
straw man of
epic and
everything that I've
hilarious.
said. I have
It's
never
kind
for a
of epic and
second said don't be
hilarious.
edgy and don't be harsh and don't be mean. I said have to fucking talk to them. You can't nerf yourself out of relationship entirely. My criticism of Soy Pill is separate, which is why it's getting confused, but I've made it clear multiple times that my issue with you is scorched earthing yourself out of these types of conversations
Scorched Earth like
or
4
edgy
million
jokes.
times, but the problem is the entire Republican
Yes.
Party has been on perma-scorched Earth for 12 years.
Isn't it
and has
crazy
the most
that I've said
political power
scorched
to
earth
show
multiple
for it?
times, but you
Like,
still can't seem to understand my position? So which is it exactly? Have I said it too often, or do you still not know what my position is?
It's the fact
Exactly.
that it's vague, and it seems like you keep
Yes,
jumping between both
I
things. It's
acknowledge
hard
that
to
it was
know.
vague right from the beginning, but just because a concept is vague does not mean that it is poignant or that we can't recognize when something is happening.
You're like a Mott in a Bailey because you don't know where one starts and one ends. It's just both at the same
And
time.
is this the what is a
No, I'm
woman
just
conversation?
fucking
where I'm
with
being
you.
like,
I'm
well,
just
what is
fucking
a
with you,
woman is kind of
Kyla.
abstract and hard to define and hard to
Do
put a
love
finger
that
on.
conversation.
You guys are being like,
Four-dimensional Martin Bailey. Oh, no.
actually, meanness is XY chromosomes. And it's like, it's not. And you're like, well, what is it? And I'm like, well, it's something a little bit more ambiguous that's harder to put your finger on. That's
Kyla,
what we're doing right now.
Well, let me say this then,
Okay,
Kyla.
what
The
we're
point
doing
is,
right now-
the point
Wait,
is
hold on.
because it's ambiguous. Wait, Wick, no, I really want to say this right now. Okay, look, because it is ambiguous. No, Wick, please. Because it's ambiguous, we should spend little to no energy worrying about whether or not this is the one thing that's going to set people off, and instead put that energy into mobilizing our base and the moderates. How about
Wait,
that?
hold on.
Asking
Have
you
I
to only
ever?
focus on this.
Hold on. Have I ever DM'd either of you about this? Have I ever wasted any of
Yeah.
your time, or is it the fact that Wick put a panel together that I came to talk about this? Do you think I'm wasting a lot of energy on this?
Was the question have we ever spent time asking if the left are losing the optics war? Was that the question? Because I feel like
No.
the answer is a resounding yes. I feel
That
like that's
wasn't
like
the
one of the things
question.
we talk about more than anything
That
else.
wasn't the question.
I'm pretty sure we've had an exact panel on like tweets. I think we had these exact panels on my fucking firefighter tweets with Whick. I think like 6 months or a year ago.
It wasn't a
And
panel.
how about
That was
this?
the first footage
Wait,
we
wait.
got about
Crazy.
it.
Let's
Did
build
I
a bridge.
have-
Let's build a bridge.
It
Let's build a
continues to
bridge.
be a
Let's build a
problem.
bridge. Wick, let's build a bridge. Let's never talk about this again once we hang up. Okay?
Of course not. Of course we're going to keep talking about it because it continues to be a problem. It's
Okay.
getting worse.
Okay.
And that it continues,
It keeps making
in my
money.
view, to contribute to the rise of MAGA and the rise of Trump. Because we are failing to provide an actual alternative to the
It's just the lack of examples. It's the equivalent of somebody coming together and be like, I have this hypothesis that actually being tall is a detriment to being really good in the NBA, and we should draft a whole team of 5'6" kings, and maybe they can do even better. Even though all the NBA guys are really fucking tall, maybe that's actually hurting them in the game.
That's
Who knows?
crazy. That's crazy because I'm pretty sure there's an entire like field of psychology that talks about how shame is completely ineffective both at a micro level and at a macro level. There's plenty of studies that I'm happy to show you about how ineffective shame is. What I'm talking about here is that we should probably reduce
Just to be
these types
clear,
of
that's
things.
absolutely not true. You know that shame is an incredibly powerful shape for human behavior. Like, does all shame work all the time? No. When you're talking about stuff like about being fat, these are literally behaviors that are hard to change because
It's also not super effective with policy, typically. If 50,
it depends
again,
exactly on what
if
you're talking
50,
about. It
you
depends on what
can't
you're
shame
talking
51% of the population. You can't do it. They won't move.
You
Their
can't
in-group
shame
is too
Steven out of his
strong.
cool jokes, I guess. So we should
Okay,
stop
well,
trying.
I'm
It's a
gonna
waste of
hold
time.
on. What we're gonna do right now is finish my fucking super chats because I gotta make money. And gang, we are almost gonna break my record again. So if you want to keep giving me money, I think I need a little like $150 more. Give that money to me because I'd like to break the record and save some fucking sanity. Okay, $50 from Grassroots Hegemon to say, I know for me, I voted Democrat only because of Trump. In any other circumstance, you lost your absolute ass in this election. I'm fine with seeing you lose it again. Suits me. Emotionally challenged will always lose 100% of the time.
Tell him to give another $100 and ask him to say what he would do that we need to win him over, and we'll say it right now.
True.
Okay, you know what? Go for it, Grassroots Hegemon. Prove them foolish and ask them the question. Landon Stewart for $10. Why are these supposed moderates calling all the cruelty on the right based and funny? They aren't. Do they really care? Does it really exclude them? How do we know that when even Asmund says shit like black fatigue? $10 from
Did he really
Eternal
say
Kazuma.
that? Did Asmund say black
I have
fatigue?
no
Because that's
idea.
probably one of the most racist, like, recent right-wing memes that I've ever heard of. And apparently there's some sort of, like, level of edginess that will push him and his audience away, which is ridiculous.
If Asmongold wants to come and talk about it, he's welcome to. I just don't know. I don't really watch his content. $10 from Eternal Kasuma to say, if these kids died in the Rio from the barbed wire, Trump and conservatives would have been like, well, better they got taken out there than voting Democrat or ending up at Pizzagate. Ho, ho, ho. Maybe,
Yeah, they're
but
pretty
they would've
fucking evil.
lose.
I guess we should figure out how to win.
Okay. Grassroots Hegemon did give me $100 to ask that question.
Well, hold on. Talking about bad faith or strawmanning, nobody here is saying that we should have a moral position. We're talking about making jokes. Nobody here is saying that we should like actually murder kids. Nobody here is saying we should actually drown
You're right.
people.
That's my
or kill people.
position.
We're talking about making
That's my
jokes.
position. Yeah, my position is jokes are bad. Good job,
Then
Steven.
why are you saying, is our position that we should do anything to win? I don't understand where that position keeps coming from.
It keeps coming from the
Kyla's
fact.
position is that you are extremely valuable, rather, to the movement, and that
That's
she
not a
wants to make
position.
sure that you're going to have. I mean, that seems to be the bottom line of her position. And I disagree with some of the specific examples. So, for example, with Asmongold, I don't think anything that you've said or done is what pushed him away. I think he's probably afraid to speak to you because you're much smarter than him, and it would be embarrassing
True.
for him. And probably
Absolutely.
couldn't hold his own.
Absolutely fucking
think-
true. This
I
True,
think
but
that's
if you
more like
knew
what
if
we're
you knew that you
White
wouldn't hold
Bill,
his
fuck
feet to
you
the
for
fire
attacking
quite
this
so hard,
queen, okay?
and you'd
Fuck
let him
you.
land softly, I bet you if you knew that, like, if you had some social capital with him and he knew that you'd let him land softly for a few times, I bet you he would be more open to talking to you.
You're
Particularly somebody
probably
like
right, and what you just said is exactly the reason why I will never talk to these fucking people again. Is because allowing them to land softly over and over and over again, and only allowing them to land softly, drove me fucking insane. And I will never be a part of that again.
I don't know
Yes.
what to tell you. You were the one good liberal in their mind view, and I know that you resent that. I know that you think that was bad.
It's not that I
but
resent
that's
it. It's that
fun-
when you're
no,
the one
that's
good
a
liberal, it means that they
paradigm
don't view you
shift.
as the liberal. No, it's not a paradigm shift. They go,
Yes,
I
they
like this
did.
because he's
Yes,
not like
they
other
did.
liberals.
Yes,
Okay.
they did view you as liberal. I don't know what the fuck to tell you because I get the feedback all the
Here,
time.
but Kyla, if he's the
Absolutely.
one, if he's the one good one, then why would they vote for them?
You know that I get
Destiny,
100
but
times more
Destiny.
feedback on my own existence than you get on my existence, right?
I just think you're collecting the wrong data. They absolutely view you as liberal. They just do.
People-
Every
hold
single
on.
person
Wait,
says that you're
Kyla.
the good liberal. What
Yeah,
the fuck does
Kyla,
that mean if you're
Kyla,
not liberal?
Kyla.
Hold on. When somebody
Hold on,
says,
hold
when
on.
somebody says, hold on, no, wait, we can apply this to literally any other thing. When somebody says, this is the good woman, this is the good black person, are they saying that like, wow, this is the good minority figure, they must all be like this? Or are they saying this person is exceptional because they're so dissimilar to the rest of the group?
Yeah, like
It depends on what
it's,
your
You're right, hold
fucking
on, Destiny,
follow-up
hold on,
is.
hold on,
For
hold on.
example,
Wait,
wait,
you're
what the
right,
fuck are
you're
you
right,
talking
you're
about?
right.
If your
Wait,
rhetoric,
hold on,
if your
hold
entire
on.
rhetoric is, I'm not the only one. There's tons of people like me that will make edgy jokes and joke around and talk to you in good faith. Have you ever met my friend Soypill? He's happy to talk to these type of people. All of a sudden, now you're promoting other
Soypill
left
is
content
nowhere
creators.
near as
You're getting
base
us
as
more
Destiny.
access, and you're like growing these sorts of things. So yes, it definitely matters. If you went, for example, and said you're the only good liberal, and you went, yeah, I am. Then yeah, I'd say that you're tokenizing yourself and you're being a piece of shit. But that isn't typically what you're doing. And in fact, what we see is people go, this is one good liberal, and their paradigm has fucking broken, because before it was a binary. Before this entire thing was a binary, and if there's one good liberal, there can be two.
Okay, so let me just.
Yeah, I want to hear from Tali, and I still got like a bunch of. Anyway, Tali, go ahead.
Yeah, listen, you're right, Destiny, that you are being tokenized in those circumstances. They are seeing you as the exception. I don't think it's a fair analogy to compare it to black people or women. These are immutable characteristics as opposed to your worldview, something that you can logic yourself into or out of, right? So these things are different. But something that maybe to push back a little bit, they do see you as different from the rest, and you are different from a lot of the rest, which is what makes you valuable. And I wish there were more people like you, because then there are more people who are in the sort of
yeah, but you didn't vote for the Democrats despite Destiny being the one good one. So why does it fucking matter? That's not politically effective. We're not winning you over despite you liking Destiny.
Like Destiny, would you have voted for?
I'm not. Yes, absolutely. If the left was, yes, if the left was
yes,
was
that's
less...
why I'm here arguing that we all need to be making fun of dead kids instead of just me, and then people would stop hand-wringing about it so much, because then conservatives wouldn't attack the leftover. They'd be like, "Oh, those fucking lefties, we're gonna make fun of their dead kids even more in the fucking next time there's a disaster," because that's what they do anyway.
Okay. So Destiny, so the whole thing that I said originally that got everyone laughing it up in arms, that I said I like Destiny and Ben Shapiro, right? And people interpreted that as, oh, you like the cruelty, you like that they're both so loud and mean and stuff like that.
What other overlap do you like?
The point that I was trying to draw is that I see both of you as really smart and competent and able to go into any conversation without any type of preparation and completely handle yourself and speak for your side and your perspective. That is what I think it makes you really so particularly valuable. And again, you have the added benefit of not being an annoying woke scold. That really does
but just to be
matter.
clear,
That's a
unique trait. It's not very valuable in the current political environment, because if I were to ask you to point to other people who are amassing huge value doing that, Republicans don't do that. They don't need to. They haven't really done that. Who in the left? I mean,
they don't.
Pete
They're not.
Buttigieg does it, but I mean, like, what is he politically right now? Like, I mean, like, what?
Well, sure.
Nobody does this. Is that like that's a valuable skill set? It's like a wandering swordsman in an era of guns. It doesn't matter right now. That's not what is politically winning things.
They're not vying for the same people. But what Kyla said before was true is the vague, the general right, not Republicans, not elected officials or something like this, but the vague general right did give a soft landing spot for people who were questioning.
Wait, Tali, I have to ask.
Were deemed as unacceptable.
No, Tali. Did Ben Shapiro push you away when he said Arabs like to live in sewage and bomb crap? Did he push you away when he said Trayvon Martin would have been 18 if he hadn't fucking gotten killed? Like, these things don't matter to you. You don't give a shit. You clearly like both of these people anyway, so why is that at all relevant when these people make horrible, awful, dead kid jokes? Like, this is not a fucking... Who gives a shit?
Is that a... Okay, so first of all, I've never listened to either of the things that you're saying right now.
Ben Shapiro?
Say that you cared about the dead kid joke?
I don't think that Ben Shapiro is a racist person, much like I don't think that Destiny hates
You should
children.
read his books.
No, I don't think Ben Shapiro is racist.
He wants to pardon Derek Chauvin. Do you know about that?
How many
big Republicans? How many big Republicans are hypercritical of Alex Jones for being the Sandy Hook was a fucking staged event guy? And this is
and this is a big problem that I have too. And this is. And there are, again, people in my cohort of people, the disaffected liberals, right, who were wooed by the center right, who are now seeing, oh, the right has some not that obviously Alex Jones is not a new entity here, right, but he has been re-accepted. He has been allowed back into the fold in a way that he really was marginalized previously. And yes, the far right,
wait, just to be clear, he was not marginalized reasonably. He was getting destroyed in court. That's why he kind of took a step back for a while.
Sure.
And what was one of the ways to save him? Wasn't it? Am I making this up? Or didn't Elon Musk himself offer to buy InfoWars, or was it another huge right-wing group that offered to buy InfoWars back from the bankruptcy court to give it back to him to allow him to host it? Like, do you like? This is all I'm saying. The different standards of like who's allowed on both sides.
I agree with you, and that's what I'm saying is that will be a turnoff. Again, it just depends on who you're trying to talk to and who you're trying to win over.
Hold on,
Because those
I understand.
people
No,
are.
but I'm just trying to listen. I love you and I appreciate you. Okay, listen, you're a queen. Okay, but the fact that people like Andrew Tate exist over there, the fact that like it's like you're having a conversation with me.
Disgusting.
But you'll still
but it
maybe
wasn't for
vote
you. It
for them
wasn't for
again.
you. No, that's the point. Wait, but the point is that it wasn't for you,
No, but
right?
It was. It absolutely was. And again, so
You still voted for him.
It was.
But then it didn't matter
Andrew
that
Tate was
much.
not representative of my vote at all.
Donald Trump invited them to the fucking White House, dude. Like, you just don't care. It clearly doesn't matter.
Republicans can have like 10 different
Oh, you gotta
pieces.
go,
Andrew Tate was at the White House.
Once they're done, I have a question.
No, I'm saying that Republicans can have 10 different pieces on the board, and all of them can be, or like 9 of them can be abhorrent. We're like, well, you know, I'm not voting because of that guy. But then on the left, we're like, we have to play the same piece every single time because somebody might turn off some part of the voter base. It's not the same game. It's ridiculous. And the reality is that you just stop caring about it as much on the left. The right want to tag you as much for it, and no one will give a fuck about it. You move on to the next thing.
So I hear you, but again, this is also like part of the conversation that I was trying to have. Is like this is true in certain segments of the right and certainly in the alt media sphere, but those were not the people again. And I don't want to make it all about me because whatever, there are other people like me voting for similar and similarly different reasons. But the people that I was following, that I was influenced by, they were not Andrew Tate supporters at all. They were among the people who were calling it out. They weren't very right wing people. They were the sort of heterodox centrists.
But you're supporting a president who's motioned for Romania to free Andrew Tate. Like these little quibbles over like what exactly you support at the end of the day doesn't matter.
That's true. I thought that was denied by the administration.
Oh,
you know if that's true.
Wait. I don't know. Did they, if they denied it, then they didn't do it because they would never.
If they did that, that would be just absolutely literally despicable. Yes, the man is a rapist.
It wasn't the reason you said that you voted for Trump in 2020 was because of like the woke and like the scolding and the meanness.
For Trump in 2020.
Sorry, 2020. Oh, it was 2024. Sorry, I forgot. You're recently stupid. So you voted for him in 2024 because of the wokeness and the scolding. But now, like this scolding is somehow like also has to exist within the left to make sure we don't tread over some arbitrary line of meanness to other people. Like is that not what turned you off in the first place?
Well, I'm not concerned about arbitrary line of meanness.
Soypil, the scolding on the left is, you're a white man, sit down, right? That's a different kind of scolding. They're not the same.
Okay, so you think...
No, wait.
So you
to be clear, the scolding is also, don't be mean to Republicans, right?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
No?
You have a lot of Democrats right now. I'm in a minority. I'm in a severe minority.
When has there ever been a cancel campaign on the left?
For like 2 years post 2016, the narrative was these are disaffected poor people.
For standing up and holding his cane at Trump during the fucking during Trump's
a Republican-controlled Congress, you mean?
He got censured
by Republicans.
Wick, for 2 years after 2016, the whole narrative was these were disaffected poor people. You can't be so mean to them. They're not all racist. They're not all terrible people. We need to be nicer and reach out to them. Like that was the fucking narrative for like years.
No, it's not be nicer. It's be curious.
I'm not curious. You've told me you have a dumb fucking opinion. I'm not curious anymore, Tali. I don't care. It's useless.
If you're curious, then stop pretending that you were. All you do is disingenuous.
I'm not curious about you because I've heard these stupid opinions before.
If you're so
okay, wait, I'm curious.
Give me a... Why are you so incurious about me, Tali?
After Republicans lost, okay, now I want to be careful because it's really offensive because a lot of Republicans believe they didn't lose the election, but when Republicans lost the 2020 election and then they decided to run the exact same...
to say that Donald Trump lost in 2020.
When Republicans ran the exact same campaign with the exact same candidate against originally the guy who beat him before, what did Republicans change to win in 2024 to appeal to the moderates and the left? What do they do differently?
Frankly, they were the less cringe, less woke side. That is how I think they.
You're speaking in negatives. Tell me what they changed. Did they change anything?
No, yes, I'm speaking in negatives because there were people who voted out of resentment for the left and held their nose to vote for the right, who are not conservatives, who are not MAGA. And again,
resentment
maybe
over what?
Portion of the population, and that's fine. What'd you say?
The resentment was over what?
Left.
What about it?
Over what? Over what? The left, like the direction? Is it Zoolander?
The culture on the left, sure. Yes.
What is the culture on the left that they were so...
Obviously, they were not...
Come on, come the fuck on. Wait, we know this answer, right? You guys aren't it at all. And I'm not saying that you are, but you know what the cringe culture of the left is. Because
it's what the
you
right
don't...
shows you. That's the difference. It's what the
No
right
fucking
shows you.
way.
I'm
I'm
do you think
sorry?
all these blue collar workers are being chastised in their real life by their fellow coworkers about you don't think Leah Thomas
No,
heard her?
no,
Yes,
no,
fucking-
they're on
my
their
HR,
Instagram. Wait,
my
no, they're
HR,
on their
they are.
Instagram. If they ever go to college, they're experiencing it there. They're experiencing it in primary and like
Blue
all
collar
through like
college
public school
goers?
education. And then they're going on their phone and they are seeing it, right? Not just what Republicans want to show them, but leftists are also championing this. You have fought leftists on TikTok. You were canceled in your career. You understand what the cringe is. Now, to be clear, I would argue, and this would be my argument against Tally, is that your principles should matter more than whether somebody is cringe or not. Your principles about what you believe in. Hold on, Tally. That should matter more always than who you vote for. The issue is that that is not true for like 90% of voters. And that's a problem. And so my question to you, Stephen, would be, have you become like more abrasive with some demographics of people because it was making you go insane to be the token liberal, like you said, or because you think the approach will actually be politically effective?
I think the approach to energize your side and to seem like you could actually stand on business for something, which regardless if you realize it or not, that was actually your main complaint with Biden, is that it felt like he wasn't standing on business with stuff. I think that would energize the base more. I think that if Biden, when he had his debate with Trump and he started going senile and instead at halfway the debate, he just pushed the, you know what, you're fucking retarded. And he just did that for a half hour, I think he would have had a better performance and people would have voted for him.
But
100%.
that's substantively, no, you're right. You're correct. But these are not the same thing, right? As when we are not advocating, don't go after Trump. We're advocating, don't go after Trump voters, especially their children, especially
not even don't
making
go
and
after
mocking their
them.
dead children.
Just
That's what I'm
be
advocating.
a little bit more effective when you go after them. That's it. That's all we're asking for. I'm not saying don't make edgy jokes. All right. I'm sorry that your joke
you're not saying anything right now. I don't know what this means. Just be a little bit more effective when I don't even know what that even means.
You can go ham and
Yes.
go crazy. Like if you're talking to the type of people who are calling into the Dean Withers show, go crazy. Make fun of those people. That's blood sports. That's just feeding each other's bases. These are people who are immovable on both sides, frankly. But yes, you and it's not just to you. People, I think, and frankly, Destiny, I think you're good at this. So I don't know if I share the same, I have criticisms, I guess, but I don't know if I share the same criticisms. I do think that generally you meet people where they're at with their energy. I think that if people are being reasonable and open in good faith, that you're pretty good at that. I agree with Kyla. You clearly, and you talked about this openly on your streams, you built up a resentment of going onto all of these conservative shows and stuff and being nice, and then basically they get to frame it, right? They get to frame the conversation.
Tolly, can I ask you something?
No,
Because
let Tolly finish. Let Tolly finish. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm not
He
gonna let
hasn't
it.
got to her point.
Well, yeah, because the point is that Tully doesn't have principles, and the reason that I met you at the point of, hey, how do I convert you? But you
Is that what you get
knew,
from Tully,
no,
is that
get
she
this,
doesn't
no,
have principles?
yes, she literally, because she understood January 6th, she understood all the damage that Trump did, and after all that, what policy am I going to demonstrate to Tully that, oh, this is why you should vote for the Democrats? Look at these hurt people. Look at all these people. No, actually, it's vibes and cringe. So why the fuck should I waste any time? It's completely pointless. That's the point.
You shouldn't. Once again, I don't know how many times I should reiterate that I don't think that the Democratic Party apparatus needs to be vying for my vote or anything.
Okay, but then you agree that I should be mean to you because it's pointless to try to convince you?
Just don't be a condescending
No,
prick,
you don't-
because
why-
maybe
how is
Tally
that
won't ever change her mind. Well, maybe Tally won't change her mind, but maybe a whole bunch of people that would otherwise potentially be warm towards the left is going to get turned off because you're being so smug, right?
there's a lot of people who
fucking
don't like
hate
that
that
shit.
Well, what about
For
your smugness,
example-
Kyla? Is
wait,
your
for
smugness turning them
example-
off? You're being
for
very smug right
example,
now.
Watch the way that Stephen has talked to Tally this whole time and the way that you've talked to both me and
It's a
Tally.
good, classic
They're
good
just
cop, bad
different.
cop routine. It's how you get all the information out of them.
It's not. Everyone finds you detestable when you do it, which is why people hate the
I
fuck
find
out
you
of Dean
very
Withers,
smug
except
right
for his
now,
own
and it's
base.
very. I do think
I'm
it's
not
turning
being
off a bunch of
smug.
left
You
people.
can
You
just
are. You're
use
talking
the
down to
words
me. You're
against
literally
me.
above
I'm
me
being
in the
aggressive
Discord
and
call.
mean. This is not the same thing as being
I don't
smug.
know. This isn't
Smug
convincing
is
me.
sitting
It's
back
not
and
working.
smiling and thinking that you're smarter and then talking down to people. I'm being aggressive and rude to you. These are not the same thing. And in the case of Stephen, when he's been talking to Tally, he has also mostly been meeting her energy and couching a fair bit of his language to try to understand her.
Well,
I'm not saying
Stephen, I
that
think
you
you're wasting
don't
your
get
time.
to- I'm not
Aggressive
saying
and
that you
being
don't get to
aggressive
go.
is okay.
Shut the fuck up. I'm not saying that you don't get to go gloves off on people. I'm not saying that you don't get to go scorched earth. My criticism to Stephen is he's too quick with it and he loses opportunities to go into these spaces where he would be even more effective. That's
Kyla,
my criticism. It's
If you
not
had a
don't make
doctor's
fucking
appointment
edgy
and
jokes.
someone was
Shut the
standing in
fuck
front of the
up.
door
Shut
and
the
wasted
fuck
your
up.
time for
Please
2
mute him.
hours,
I
would you
actually
yell
don't
at
want to hear
him?
his voice right now. I don't want to hear his voice right now.
This is
This
condescending.
is how. This is. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna
I've
pick
been
up on the
nothing but
abandoning
good
your
faith
morals
to
and
you, and I have been
principles.
aggressive and rude. That's what I've been to you, Soy Pill.
Okay, but that's fine.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
part of the reason that
I think a lot of my chat right now is saying you're kind of turning them off. They don't like you. They're not going to subscribe to you anymore. So like, what's
Cool.
the? Why
How
are you
many
doing
people
that?
watching right now? Do you want me to open up
I
and
don't know.
check?
It's 700
They're
according
leftists. They
to
don't
OBS.
vote.
I don't know.
Why should we appeal to people who don't fucking vote?
These people, all my chatters vote
They don't
because they're all
vote.
smart.
They're leftists.
All of them vote.
They don't
Every
go to the
single one of
ballot
them.
box.
Well,
They
Kyla
don't
doesn't
have
vote
any
because she's
power
Canadian.
because they
So
don't
Great.
vote.
I'm really glad that your own side agrees with you. But what I'm talking about is appealing to people who might not vote for you. That's who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Speaking of smug.
Okay, Tali, finish your point, and then fuck this. I'm getting done.
I'll make it quick, and I had this on the last conversation with Whick too, when he was giving the story about his uncle. I think we're straw manning this too much. So being nice is not because if you're mean to someone, they're going to change all their principles and change their vote. I don't know anybody who changed their vote based on who was nice or mean to them before they went into the voting booth. That's not what I'm trying to represent when I say that people voted against the left. They didn't overnight change all of their principles. There are a couple of things going on. People are very resentful of the culture on the left. They feel that it is detrimental to themselves, to their community, to the country as a whole. And so yes, for me, like I said, I live in a blue state. My vote was not going to change the election. People don't have to like that or not, but it is just true. And that was what I was trying to represent with my vote. That doesn't mean that I changed all of my principles overnight. But to Dev's point, if you keep people out and you shut people out, and they are embraced, even if it's by evil, sketchy, nefarious actors, people are going to change over time. And now a lot of my views and opinions have changed over the 4 years or whatever that I've had this ideological shift, but a lot of my core principles have not. I'm still very much dispositionally liberal. And to Dev's point, there are other people that we can point to who were this way 4 or 5 years ago who now are very much more captured on the right. And that doesn't mean that you need to be nice to them and to pander to them. It does mean that you should keep the door open and be curious and talk to people in good faith who are being good faith with you. I think that's a easy bar.
I welcome your vote in
$100.
2028.
$100 from Audacity to say Erudite dressing down and scolding Soy Pill while he wears his silly hat is really fitting. Thank you for the $100. Okay.
It's just frustrating because Soy Pill is such an effective communicator and he is good at what he does. And it's frustrating. It's actually offensive to me, being frank, that you won't just be like, yeah, I am being smug. And I'm being smug.
I'm not saying I'm not being smug. I am being smug, 100%.
And why are you throwing it back at me like I'm being smug?
I think you're being a little smug. My point is, I don't think it's a bad thing.
When have I been smug?
Smugness is a bad thing.
It's just, I mean, it's a little subjective. It's a little bit of a subjective thing. But I think you're being a little smug, and that's fine. I'm fine with it.
With you. No one likes smugness.
Yeah, the issue is that people on the left think that being mean to people is really politically ineffective. And then they do that to themselves and they argue about themselves about it. And then people on the right say that being mean to people is really politically ineffective. But they only say that so that they can convince people on the left that, so that people on the left aren't mean to them. Meanwhile, when they go back to their right camps, they're the meanest motherfuckers in the world. That's why people will pretend to be mad about like dead kid jokes or whatever. And then Alex Jones will literally build a career on questioning Sandy Hook victims in a way that was so fucking traumatizing to the parents that it's what literally drove them to sue him and bankrupt him for $1 billion plus fucking judgment. So somehow we like get mind fucked by people on the right saying, oh no, trust us. Like when you're mean to people, that's really what turns them. But like the Tally is living proof right here. I thought your first vote was in 2020. You abstained voting in 2024. I know you voted in 2024. So truly, there is like no fucking bar for you. Like Trump could have fucking raped the woman right in front of you, and you still would have said, well, I don't know, man. The fucking trans woke shit was like way too much for me. Like if I'm going by voters like that, like what we should do is if we win in 2028, okay, we shut down Alligator Alcatraz and we open Camp Crocodile and we just start shoving fucking whatever Republican we get in there, and then we laugh at it on TV until we win 2032 because they run out of people to vote.
See, I disagree with this completely, and it's because the left and the right do actually operate off of different moral principles. They aren't the same thing. They aren't the same types of people. I totally
disagree. I think they are the same types of people. I think we lose ourselves in a whole bunch of bullshit, like attempts to analyze both sides. I think more or less everybody's pretty fucking similar.
Are you familiar with any of Jonathan Haidt's work?
I don't think they are.
Yes. Listen.
Aren't they on average? Their IQ is also typically lower. Like the right has an average, like slightly lower IQ than the left.
We do gotta wrap it up. So
I just think it's politically ineffective for people whose mind you want to change. If you want to galvanize your base, though, yeah, it is very effective for galvanizing your base. And if that's all you think that we need to do politically, then honestly, that's the end of the conversation for me. But if you want to pull people towards the left, that's actually something that we think that is effective to do. I think that like being condescending and smug is ineffective. I think edgy jokes are effective typically, but they need to hit the target audience correctly. And if they don't, whoops, L, not good.
Okay,
I just
I
want
want
to
to.
talking to you guys, okay, that we need to stand on business and we need to make fun of people on the right more. And I think until somebody creates a successful 5'9" NBA team, I'm going to assume that being tall is probably makes you good at basketball. I'm going to assume that being mean to people seems like it makes you good at politics.
I
So
don't think we have any evidence that Trump is a 6'4" mean boy. I think that we've got a lot of unironic, like the worst set of circumstances. Like fuck, what he didn't die is fucking
so it just
insane.
happened to be. So the fact that he's like the meanest, most divisive person ever is just a coincidence.
No,
This-
Oh,
it's not
no,
a
no.
coincidence at all. That's not what I've said. I'm
It's
saying
not important.
Nope, didn't say that either.
But it hurts him. It hurts him more than it helps.
It hurts him.
We don't have good evidence that with moderates it hurts them. We don't know. And what I'm saying is we do have psychological theory to suggest that it's probably not effective.
But we
right?
have a
That would be-
moderate right here who said that she voted for him in 2024, despite him being the most divisive and mean president of all time.
Because she thought the left was worse.
Yeah,
And
so it
she
doesn't
thought-
matter.
Do we not? Hold
By
on.
the
Do we
way-
not, hold on, stop. Do we not at least take some introspection, some reflection?
wait,
and
I
like,
didn't truly
why
know
is
that. Wait, I
why
didn't know
are
that. Wait,
the
wait, I didn't do
moderates
that. I
thinking
didn't
that
know that.
Trump is better than us?
I didn't know that. Hold on, wait, Tally. So your issue is you thought the left was more mean and divisive
Not
and
more
nasty than
mean.
Donald
No,
Trump?
not mean. It's obviously not about meanness. No. I never made the
What's
point
it-
that it was
what-
about meanness.
Is it about
Which is
being
why,
more
again, I came in
divisive?
and said
He
that I don't
hated the
think- I don't
culture.
think that the
He
left
said it
is
a million
defending-
times.
What
Wait,
about
hated
the culture?
That's a nothing statement. The culture. What does
It's
that
not
mean,
a
the
nothing
culture?
statement, Steven.
is,
I'm
it
sorry
is.
if
What
you
is
want
the
to fall
culture?
into what is a woman argument right now, but I'm sorry, these concepts are vague but still are meaningful. The
What
left
about the
culture,
culture?
the leftist
Hold on.
culture,
Hormones to be a
every
woman, then
single
you don't
person
need
can
this
identify it.
conversation.
Here,
What is
I'll describe it for you. I'll describe it for you. Okay, so you remember, like in your 2022 arc, when you were kind of pushing back on the left a bit, and then they completely fucking obliterated you.
I
Not
remember.
not rhetorically,
yes.
but like you lost you burned all the bridges. Yeah, that's the culture.
Okay, but none of that got me even a micrometer closer to voting for Donald Trump,
Correct.
right? So
Yes,
something
it
different is
didn't. It
happening here on
didn't.
the other
And
side,
all of
right?
us- Right. And so
Yeah,
and all
being
of us are
divisive
different,
can
right?
be
And then-
effective sometimes. And I'm just saying, in the way that you guys are being divisive at times, I think it is less effective. You can take advantage of people's discontent, right?
It's not just being divisive.
Okay, wait. So
Okay,
wait, what
sure.
part of the culture of the left was it that drove you away from? I'm just curious. I need to hear from one of the rare moderates.
This is the problem too, because like nothing that I could possibly say in a sentence or two is going to satisfy anybody, because this is a process that happened over a long period of time. But it's the purity testing and the spiraling. It's the basically anti-racist racism. It's the
Okay, well here, well,
it's
okay. So when you say the purity testing, right? Did it bother you that for Donald Trump, like if you didn't carry like water for all of the insane shit that he was saying, that they would like try to excise you basically from the fucking party, that everybody seemed to fall in line behind like Make America Healthy Again?
because I've literally never been a part of that. That's what I'm also trying to express. It's like you could see my vote as similarly to not voting.
Okay.
Represent me
I
among
got
the
you.
people, 'cause there are also
So wait,
people,
just-
in fact,
just
who
so I
feel
can
like
understand-
me, who just hated Trump enough that they decided to vote against him, but still are completely disaffected from the left. And so their
Okay,
vote is
so
not
if
Hallie,
somebody were to clone Hitler and bring him back to life, and he were to run for a political party, since he hasn't had a party yet, you don't know what it's like. You'd try out the neo-Nazi party just to see what it's like, because the other two have been bad, or
yes, Destiny. I would vote for Hitler. Yes,
Okay.
I'm glad that you're accurately representing the situation.
thank you,
here.
gotcha. Okay, I was just trying to
So-
understand.
So Tally, I mean, before we got pulled into this, you and I were having a side conversation, and I brought up, for example, as one of 1,000 possible examples, because you're right, it is a death by 1,000 cuts thing. There was that, like in 2023-ish, there was that arc where you had trans people claiming they wanted to get into lesbian spaces, and you being a lesbian, that probably bothered you a little bit, possibly. And like it's instances like that, but just so many of them over the course of, say, the past 5 years that probably cause you to turn away from the left. And I understand that. I get it. However, I just don't understand why.
To that, though? What was my response to that when you brought that up?
Well, you said it didn't bother you personally, but that it was like a type of
Yeah,
thing.
I think that's. Yes, I do think that like radicalized some people, but yeah, no, for me, I think that's like very bottom of the barrel. I don't think people are being raped by trans lesbians. Yes, I don't think this is an actual issue. The
Well, sure, but like
more of an
it,
issue,
it is a
more of
type
an
of thing.
issue than
It is in this bucket.
Sure, yes, but it's because of the larger issue. So more of the issue than like trans lesbians on lesbian dating apps is the left wing idea that like sex isn't real, right? And that women and men are actually entirely equal, neck down and basically neck below, actually, depending on who you're asking. Because there are people who will go on to Piers Morgan and stuff, famous people on the left, and will say that yes, actually, you could have a giant fucking man if he announces that he's a woman the very next day playing women's sports. And you can say that these are sort of fringe things, and fine, sure they are. But to me, overall, they were enough to turn me off from the left because again, I think it's detrimental. I think the left is believing things that are fundamentally untrue about the world, and it shapes the way that you want to implement policy. If you have a faulty view of the world, then your efforts to try to change the world are going to
And on that
Just to
note,
be clear, she prioritized all of this over January 6th, knowing all of the facts. Just to be clear.
Let me finish,
First
let
of
me
all, I'm
finish
going to get my $100. $100 to say from Audacity to say, you know what was really mean? Steve's neck game. Thank you for the $100. Okay, now Destiny, then Soy Pill, then Dev.
Do you think that trans women and the understanding what a woman is more of a threat to women than women who are dying of sepsis now because abortion is like outlawed in 20 states or whatever?
So you would have to like I don't think that women dying of sepsis from abortion and stuff is actually a bigger problem as people try to push it to be. But no, I don't think that trans women identifying as women is a threat to women. I don't. I'm not a crazy anti-trans.
Do you think the abortion thing in general is like do you think all the abortion bans are hurting women?
I think that.
Are you enjoying being curious, Steven? Are you learning about the moderate voter right now?
I'm about to kill myself. You're about to see some real neck game with a fucking thick rope. Holy shit. Sorry, I'm sorry.
You guys don't want to appeal to them, then don't.
I don't!
Resentful about them being told that the only way to vote in their interest, the only way to vote in their interest was to vote for basically abortion at any point in time. So I would like a more moderate position on abortion, but no, I don't want abortion to just be outlawed. And
well,
okay, wait,
you voted for it.
Let me build a bridge. Wait, let me build a bridge at least. Wait, what state are you in? Do you say, or is it top secret?
I'm in a blue state. I've said it before, but
okay, that's okay. Okay, I'm just curious. Can we build a bridge? Can you agree with me that they should have forcibly tested all of the dead little girls in Texas to see if there were any fetuses inside the body so we can get an accurate death count? In case like one of them were pregnant, we didn't know. Like they did with the woman in Georgia where she was like 5 weeks pregnant and then they kept her body alive for like 6 months. I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page, right? We have equal harms and everything, right?
Yeah, it would be definitely good to know. Yeah, if any of those teenage girls were pregnant, yeah, that would be good to know.
Okay, Tally. I don't even. Tally, I want to re-ask you. I want to know. Here, let me just re-ask you a question from last week, because I still don't fully understand. I understand the objection to the far left craziness. I don't think anyone here is a far left crazy person. I just don't get why you chose to vote Trump instead of voting for third party or not voting. Why was that the message you sent?
Right. Sure. So again, the only viable third party candidate was Jill Stein. I was never voting for Jill Stein.
You live in a blue state. What is viable about voting for Trump?
Well, that's my point. Exactly. So it didn't matter either way, and I wasn't going to vote for Jill Stein. So
but you'll give him the extra numbers for the person who you apparently vehemently disagree on all of these policies, especially January 6th, right?
I wanted to be part of the trend that we saw in, what was it, like every single district where there was a trend moving to the right. I wanted to accurately represent my movement, which my move away from the left was not towards the Jill Steins of the world. My move away from the left was towards the center, which is in the direction of the right. Some of my views moved more in line with people on the right, but again, I'm still just a fucking centrist. I'm still a liberal. Okay. I don't know what to say.
$50 from the witch's persona to say the panel is missing the point. The right doesn't shame people into voting by shitting on the left. They position the left as doing the shame. Think SJW, evangelicals, etc. Thank you for the $50.
Yeah, but then they do the shaming at the exact same time. Like they absolutely do.
They're just not shaming people for being right enough. They're not doing it. They're not being like, you're not right enough. Shame on you.
They literally excise Kyle, Joe Rogan, Tomi Lahren. Like they do this all the time. What are you talking about?
Bring it back into the fold. Yeah.
Yeah, they are increasingly purity politicking, and it's bad for them.
All three of those things happened before Trump won. Just to be clear.
Well, and none of those things
Tomi Lahren is also falling out again, which is good. And if we imagine what social capital we would have if say, for example, some of our biggest left content creators had built a social rapport with people. Yeah, being nice to people is called social rapport. Okay, imagine how much more effective we could be if they weren't shaming, for example. You know who they're not shaming? The Republicans aren't shaming the middle. Pretty simple.
True. Okay,
True.
gang, this has been, I don't know if it's been productive at all, but it's certainly been profitable. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to give each of you a brief shout out. Tell people where they can find you. $50 from Hope to say it like so Zoomers can understand. Magafieds like Cobra Kai, loud, aggressive, and reckless. The left wins by being Miyagi-Do. Stay calm, let them overreach, then punish the mistakes. You will not beat them at their own game. Thank you for the $50. But give closing statements, and then we're just gonna. I gotta do other things. We're gonna let Soy Pill go first. Go ahead, let Destiny have the last word. Soy Pill, go.
Yeah, so Kyla, again, I know you perceive me as bad faith in this debate, and I promise you I was really genuinely trying to understand. But the problem with your argument, which does make sense to me, is that it is an incredibly vague thing. There are a lot of lines that can't be drawn, and yeah, sure, there are times, I 100%, I would never disagree with the fact that there are times where an edgy joke or a certain kind of behavior is going to turn off people in the middle that we need to win over. My point is that the amount of energy that needs to go into policing ourselves and making sure we don't say the wrong thing in these spaces is completely disproportionate to the amount of energy and the people we can win over just by having better messaging and better policy. And you can look at all of these people that are able to disseminate these ideas and win those people over. I don't want to waste time walking on eggshells. I don't want to waste time on Tali and describing like, hey, I know you have all of these principles, but this one little thing is going to push you over to voting for this other person. I just don't care. It's not worth the time. It's not worth my energy. I'm going to try to get people out to vote who are going to vote based on the principles of what the left is going to deliver. Because if the platform of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris was so fucking good, apparently people didn't know. That's what needs to happen. Not, oh, whoops, I was too mean. Ooh, whoops, I was edgy at the wrong time. That's, I think, completely a waste of time. But yeah, I was not trying to misunderstand you. I genuinely didn't.
Okay, Tali.
Thanks for letting me jump in, guys. Great to meet you, Destiny. Big fan. Good to talk to all of you guys. Kyla, hopefully we'll reschedule soon. And Dev, thanks for chatting with me. I hope we can do it again. I really like talking to you, and I appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
Kyla.
Yeah. So I don't think we need to waste that much time on it. These two will probably both notice that I don't think I've DM'd them about how they've talked to people. I don't think I've done much on wasting time other than being brought to this panel and sharing my position, which is about political efficacy. I think that if you are just conservative fatigued, that's totally fine. And you just don't want to deal with it anymore. I think that's fair because I think Republicans have been fucking horrible. I'm just saying it's ineffective. The right is willing to cozy up to moderates and make them feel safe and warm and happy and pat their back. And those moderates who are oftentimes vibe-based will vote for them. And I think that we need to do the same. And I think that we are losing out on opportunity by not doing so. Not asking for tone policing. I'm not asking for no edgy jokes. Fucking obviously, it's my entire platform. I'm just talking about being effective, and that when we're not being effective, don't cope. If you're just mad at Republicans and want to be mean to them, just say that. That's fine with me. But don't pretend that we're being effective. It's not effective except for very specific individuals. There is times when shame is effective. I do not think that it is most of these times. And if either of you, Soy or Stephen, would want to talk to me about it more, we can, so that it's less quibblesome and we get less bogged down in different criticisms for different people.
Okay. Thank you for
There's a
being
great
here,
book.
Kyla.
I'm going to be super quick. There's a great book about shame. So You've Been Publicly Shamed by John Ronson. Highly recommend everyone in the audience and on the panel read it.
Dev, go ahead.
Thanks for having me on again. It's good talking to you all. Destiny, I know you disagree with my view on this, but I do think it's correct. I think Haidt's research shows it. I think that the right does, in general, value loyalty more than the left. The left values self-criticism more than the right. The right wing is currently fracturing because they view Trump in the Epstein files as this big betrayal, and it's based off of loyalty or violating that loyalty. Meanwhile, the left does way more purity testing than the right because that is a negative form of what criticism is. On some level, I think the right wing just has a natural advantage when it comes to this sort of edgy speech, because loyalty allows them to ignore hypocrisy. And leftists don't do that. Like liberals don't ignore hypocrisy, but right wingers do, because they have different moral values here. Because the left generally is more focused on criticism rather than loyalty, that highlights the hypocrisy. So I think in this conversation, in this domain, the left just always has a natural disadvantage. That's that.
Okay. Thanks for being here, Dev. Talk more next time. You were kind of window dressing for most of it. But Destiny.
It's a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, Destiny.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that there are like these political phenotypes that emerge from people where the left doesn't like loyalty as much as the right. I think that these are cultural values that are driven a lot by our political leaders and by our political commentators. And I think we should drive it a little bit more on the left. I'm not saying we need to be horrible and evil people. I'm just saying that there have been great men in history, okay, who have demonized their political opponents to some extent, and they've done it to unbelievable ends, okay? This guy was the Time Magazine Person of the Year in 1938, and he managed to kill 13 million people because of how strongly he held his convictions and how much he dehumanized him, okay? And even if ultimately Hitler killed himself, I'm just saying there are things that we can learn from these political leaders to unite our countrymen and do great things.
Things we can learn from Hitler. Okay, maybe that'll be a panel topic another day.